There we go.
Okay, perfect, and it's synced. Okay, that's all I cared about.
There we go. Okay, mine's slower than yours. Why?
Is yours not synced?
I don't know.
Behind it. Oh, it's just loading.
Yeah, I know.
It's
it was
loading
just
around.
funny.
Okay, perfect. So it's all ready, and now you can post it places, or I can post it places if we want to.
I would like to. Yeah, I'm just going to post it on my Twitter.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I need to link to your stream. How would do that? Whenever you not stream.
You click the share button whenever you're on it. Copy link.
So here.
Yeah, and then you'll click the share button.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, it's so bad. Okay, and then you'll go to wherever you're trying to post
Copy
it.
link. Okay, sure, reasonable.
I could post it here. I could post it in this group. No, I'm not gonna though.
This thing.
I'm just gonna post it on regular Facebook. Give me 1 second, anyone who's here. Obviously. Let's go to the actual first slides. We'll just have it open on the first slide. Also, because the screen... So there's a bunch of weird stuff I did. I put this here because everything didn't fit right, and if I put this to the full screen, we would cover up card text.
Redesigning. Okay.
So I squished this up.
You squished this. Okay.
Chat goes there. So if you wanted to type something in chat would go here. It pops here.
Sure.
And this is just a label, so people know what we're doing.
Yep, seems reasonable.
Okay, so we'll start here in a moment. Let me just go ahead and post this a couple places. We've got time.
Yes, indeed.
Ding. Post that to the facing book.
Are we going to mostly be talking about limited purposes? Or
Yes.
Okay.
Redesigning is a big thing I'm going to talk about. And then I want you to talk about it limited-wise, because this is designed to be played as a cube, which I'll introduce all the concepts here in a bit.
Reviewing, essentially.
Sure, yeah. And I'll just leave this open over here. Excuse me, everyone. I'm so sorry. I say everyone. No one's here yet. Okay. All right. Perfect.
Limited and overall design purposes.
Yep. Yeah. It's kind of like a mishmash. Like, I had to put something in my head, like, what am I doing with this? And I wanted it to be something usable, right?
Yeah.
So, because I'm going to print it off. And
obviously.
Yeah, but I want it to be something usable. So I was like, well, if I design it for the purposes of making it better than it was, and for the purposes of, cube drafting it. So some redesigns are only redesigns so that they work well in cube, and I will explain them when we get there.
Yeah.
For example, one of the main ones that got redesigned for cube purposes, not because there's anything wrong with them, is the first Zuberas.
Check one more thing.
So, like, the original Zuberas got redesigned so that they would work better in this cube.
Yeah,
but
the original Zuberas were kind of weird.
But the original design was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were way better for constructed the way they were before. So anyway, alrighty. So okay. If you want to see how you are, I can make this a little bit more your way as well.
Sure.
There we go. See, now it's all bright. Okay, this is my brother.
Hello.
Say your name.
I'm Nate.
Cool, perfect. His name's Nate. I'm Johnny. Anyway, the point is, today, as the title suggests, I'm going to go over my redesign of the original Kamigawa sets, okay? This would be Champions of Kamigawa, Betrayers of Kamigawa, Betrayers and Saviors of Kamigawa, and I'm going to be going over all of the cards, but first what we're going to do, the more important part, is I'm going to just kind of explain why I'm doing this, what we're doing here, give a little bit of history on Kamigawa, and then go over the basics of what got redesigned, and kind of overview a couple cards, some philosophy behind it. And once we've gone over a lot of that overview, then I'm going to go into each card individually. And the way that we're looking at this framework is this is meant to be a cube, like a cube for drafting. So the designs are changed in such a way that they are fun for drafting.
Yeah.
So let's just let me just move on. So...
but good this time.
Right, yeah. So this is just a little PowerPoint presentation. I can link the PowerPoint presentation later, but in the description there is going to be a link to where all of the files are. So if you wanted to download them and play it, you can.
Yep.
All right, so Kamigawa, but good this time. This is me redesigning all of it, and him here to kind of give a limited... He's a really, really good limited player. He plays with some of the better limited players in Magic. So he's going to give his take on how good, not only how the redesign works, but also kind of like just his take on it in a limited format.
I've seen some of these cards already, but most of them, this will be the first time I'll see them.
Right.
So this will be a first take kind of idea.
He may say, your design's bad, Johnny, which is fine. He can. It's totally cool. Oh, quick thing. This is for you mostly.
Okay.
Today at work, I redesigned 5 cards before it got live.
Okay,
because
great.
I was like, oh shit, I fucked these up. And it was the shoals.
Of course it was.
They were broken. I made them broken. And I was like, well, you probably don't want to make them broken. So I redesigned them, and now they're just fine.
Okay.
So yes, Champions of Kamigawa, Betrayers of Kamigawa, and Saviors of Kamigawa. Okay, so starting off, we're going to go over the 12 mechanical redesigns. This isn't just the mechanics that were in the block, but these are going to be things I want you to look out for because the redesigns are a little important for most of them except for a couple, but it's to show you the philosophy behind why and how I'm redesigning them. So we've got Arcane, Splice, Bushido, Ninjutsu, Sweep, Flip, Soul Shift, Channel, Epic, Offering. Now the last 2 are new mechanics. One is Forecast, which is from original Ravnica. I've added it into the set, and you'll see why it works so well with what I'm doing. And Venom is a keyworded version of an ability that already existed in the set.
It's the stay tapped ability?
Yep, it's the snake ability.
Yeah,
and there's a reason why I keyworded it as well, so you'll see that as well. Also, there's a gazillion cycles in this block. There's so many. Cycles being a card type sort of thing, mechanical design.
A gimmick, maybe.
A gimmick, maybe, yeah. That is 1 card for all 5 colors. There's a metric ass ton of them in this set, and you will see those as we go along. All right, so we're going to start off with Arcane. So, the original Arcane was like this. It was instants and sorceries that had the subtype Arcane, like Lava Spike here. It is a sorcery for 1 red that deals 3 damage to target player, and it has the subtype Arcane. What this would do is it would, with cards like Baku Altar or Briarnet Kami, you would cast it and it would get triggers off of these because it was a special type. These cards were always cards that cared about spirits as well. So the point was, because in Kamigawa, it's like humans versus spirits. Mortals versus spirits, not humans. Mortals versus spirits. They're having a war. The Great Kami War is like the whole lore. Not going to go into all the lore, but the point is that these represented the spirit side. So the mortals had their instant sorceries, and the spirits had their instant sorceries, and that's what Arcane represents. Ta-da. Well, it's really clunky, right? Arcane doesn't have any mechanical design. It is just fits into weird stuff, and I thought that, as you'll see later, there's a more important reason why I made a change to Arcane. But the main change that I made is I changed it from Arcane being a subtype of instant sorceries to using a mechanic from Lorwyn block, which is tribal, which lets you put creature types on non-creature cards. So what this did is it turns on all of your spirit cards, all the cards that cared about spirits in the whole set, to work with your tribal sorceries and tribal instants that are spirits. And you may say, well, all those cards already said Arcane. Like, for example, Baku Altar says whenever you play a Spirit Arcane spell, put a key counter. So it's like, wait, this isn't doing anything different. But as we'll get into later, this is really important for changing and making a bunch of other mechanics way more interesting. So
it's also just cleaner anyways, because then you don't have to say Spirit and Arcane. All right. It's just my spirits.
And also, yeah, it just feels better. You're like, all of the spirit stuff.
Yeah.
So they didn't actually have this mechanic yet whenever they made this set. And we'll run into that with a lot of this stuff where it's not like they could have done what I did. So I'm like still standing on the shoulders of giants to create this idea, but I just think it's more fun. So anyway, I'll just show you some examples here. So for Baku Altar, you'll see, this is a big thing that you'll see here. Whenever you cast a spirit spell or reveal a spirit card, we'll get into later why that's important. But for now, just know that this is what I've replaced all of the triggers with. If it says whenever you cast a Spirit Arcane spell, it now says whenever you cast a Spirit spell, which includes all your tribals, or reveal a Spirit card. Baku Altar, we're not going to get super detailed yet. We'll get to them later. Briarnet Kami also did another thing. I changed it more. Briarnet Kami added the ability to care about it in a different way. Now that I've changed it to whenever you reveal Spirit cards, now cards that just will reveal those Spirit cards can also trigger. And that adds some more interesting combo potential here. So, for example, Briarnet Kami, it's very similar, except for now I added the extra text that you can reveal Spirit cards from your hand.
How does this work?
So, how this works, it's something that they've done before, but they don't do very often. And you have to keep track of it, essentially.
That's what I was going to say.
But it's also more of a digital thing. You can just keep it revealed.
Digital would be easy. And,
yeah.
And in paper, I think you'd want to keep it revealed.
Yeah.
But, like, you'd have to, like, make sure people know that.
I did want to show this one specifically because I didn't do this very many times. I think there are 2 cards that care about whether or not you've revealed it yet. Because I thought it was, first of all, you don't want it to be a machine gun.
Right.
You don't want to just reveal the same one over and over again.
Right.
And I thought that since this was a custom design, you're allowed to take a little bit of risks that they may not be willing to make in it. And I feel like since you're just playing it for fun with friends, you can go, yep, just leave it revealed.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Sure.
So that's it. That's how I decided to do with that, because I liked the idea of having a activated ability that can trigger all of your spirit stuff. Okay, so the next thing is splice. Now, this is where it gets really important that I worded it that way, but we'll get into that after I explain the old splice. So this is why Arcane existed for the most part, actually. Not why it existed. This is one of the things that they did with Arcane.
This was, so in order to make Arcane make sense and be worthwhile as a subtype for cards, they were like, all right, we're going to do something that needs it to be Arcane. And so they did this.
Splice is an ability that lets you add the text of this instant or sorcery onto another one. Specifically in this block, it was Splice into Arcane, which meant all of your cards of Splice into Arcane can add their text to other cards that are Arcane.
Yep.
Which is really cool. It's a very, very cool design. Designs like this are the main reason why I wanted to redesign this set, is because there were some really cool ideas.
Evermind is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Like, whenever I first saw this card, I was entranced with it. It was beautiful.
Yeah. It's so cool. It's like no mana cost, cool ability. That's cool design. So like there's a lot of really cool stuff going on in this block, but the power level was really low and some of the design philosophy was really awkward, which led to it being less fun to play, even though the ideas were really good. So that's one of the main reasons I was here. So yes, these are all 3 good examples of how Arcane was existing and how you spliced it. But in one of Mark Rosewater's podcasts, he talks about how he actually really would have preferred if Splice had been spliced onto instant and sorcery, meaning you didn't need to have the subtype Arcane for it to work. So clearly, I was going to do that. However, we're keeping that spirit subtype because it works with everything else we're doing still. But here's something interesting that happens whenever you combine what I showed you before with this. The interesting thing that happens is you have to reveal these cards to splice them. That means if I cast Hideous Laughter at instant speed and then I splice my Evermind onto it, all of those cards I showed you before that say whenever you cast a spirit spell or reveal a spirit card get double triggered.
Yeah, they're going to get the spirit trigger from casting Hideous Laughter, and at the same time they'll also get it again for revealing Evermind.
It's perfect. I think it makes you want to do it way more. You're going to want to build into this strategy way more, and it's going to pay you off for being able to save up your spells so that you can splice when you cast one instead of just casting them outright.
Yeah. So often in this, the old limiteds, you would splice incidentally just because you kind of accidentally had it, or you had a broken one like Herobi's Whisper or something like that. That's pretty much it.
We'll get to that one. So Herobi's Whisper is a completely different thing. Hunter Talon Strike is in the same cycle.
It's a good card too.
As it. I reformatted them slightly. Now they all use the Herobi's Whisper text, which is if you control the land type they're from, then you just pay their cost with it. I just thought that it was kind of important. Each of them had a different way. So this one said tap and untap white creature. Each of them had a different way of making sure you were in their color. But I just thought making them all the same.
So this one just taps any untapped. I like this. Yeah, I like this. Make them all, you have to control a basic of a certain type or something typed right.
Right, exactly. So these are all good examples. We're going to get into later more reasons why changing it to tribal is really important, but those are some of them, and also allowing you to splice onto any instance of sorceries just makes the game feel better. You're not as stuffed up, but you're still incentivized to pick spirits because they'll help with all your other spirit stuff.
If they hadn't already printed the text splice onto Arcane, we could just call this text splice.
Yeah, we could have just called it
splice. But they screwed it up for us. So
in the Modern Horizons 1, they brought it back as splice onto
instant sorcery with the splicing skill. Splicer skill? I think that's what it's called.
There's more than one card actually that has splice.
Oh, I just know the one that makes golems.
Splicer skill though, yeah.
I think that's what it's called. I don't know.
Okay, Bushido, another really important redesign. So first I really want to talk about old Bushido, okay? I think this mechanic sucks. It's really bad. It's not interesting. You don't get to build around it, but it took up a whole entire mechanical slot in a lot of the cards. So you have this huge swath of cards that don't really do anything interesting and are just cards that sometimes have bigger stats.
I would say I think Bushido is a fine ability. It just definitely shouldn't have taken up so much design space as it did in this set.
It should have been more like prowess, where it's just
not even that much.
Yeah,
it's because like you said, you can't build around this. Yeah,
yeah.
It's just something that happens to work sometimes, does a thing. It's like a creature with trample. It's like a little bit of something. Not.
Hey, how's it going, Gorga? It's nice to see you. I know you were one to see this, so, So what I wanted to do when I changed first, so Bushido, essentially all the Bushido creatures are just like slightly bigger sometimes, and their rates are terrible, except for the cards like Hand of Cruelty really and the white one. They're fine. Those are okay cards.
There's a couple, not very many.
But cards like Indebted Samurai, that Bushido is not doing anything on this card. It is a pretty mediocre card, and the Bushido isn't helping. This card, if it's a good card, it's a good card because of the second text.
Yeah.
The third card here that doesn't have Bushido, I'll explain. I've actually done a lot of changing vanilla, or what they call French vanilla, cards with some text, but not really any, cards into ones that fit into archetypes better. Because that's a big problem that these sets have. Their archetypes were distributed strangely. There were a lot less cards in certain archetypes than others, and some archetypes couldn't be built around. They were just cards that had certain types of text.
Yeah.
So it was really hard, A, and limited to build a deck that made any sense, and B, in constructed, there were just huge swaths of cards that you just weren't going to play.
Which is usual, but worse in this set.
Yeah, you'll see multiple examples of cards that used to be vanilla or French vanilla that ended up getting text they didn't have before to make them fit into interesting archetypes.
Just to build up archetypes that were smaller.
Right. So, what did I change to Bushido to? Well, I changed the name of it because I thought that, they should get to keep Bushido as this if they want it. I changed the name of it to Honor. And I made it not only a mechanic you can build around, but one that is aggressive, because that's something this block is really missing.
Bushido is even defensive, honestly.
Bushido's a defensive mechanic. Yeah, you're not hitting for more with Bushido. So I made it an aggressive mechanic. So what it is it's Honor. And all it is kind of like Landfall. It is an ability word that says whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, do something. A lot of cards with Bushido I ended up changing into, you just get those pluses from the Honor triggers. So they're aggressive. More creatures you play, the bigger they get, the better you can attack on your turn. Not defensive, because they can't be big on your opponent's turn unless you play something at instant speed. So clearly, you want to tempo out. You want to play creatures every turn, get everything big, everything trigger. Hand of Cruelty is just a good example of one that has the +1/+1 whenever you get one, so it'll be bigger when you play creatures. Great. Perfect. Lets you curve out. Indebted Samurai, I actually used a little bit of its text, the idea of getting it bigger based on your creatures, to inform how I designed its Honor. So he is now a little smaller on his toughness, but he gets a permanent +1/+1 counter every time another creature enters the battlefield under your control. It's an Honor ability.
This card's good.
We're not there yet.
I know. I'm just telling you, this card's good.
I'd actually like to know your limited analysis of the mechanic, though, when I get there. So Indebted Samurai now works this way, and that's to show you the example of I can do other mechanics with Honor now, but I'm trying, at least because the mechanics are not like color pie oriented, they're very weird. It is in 4 colors. There is no Honor in blue, but there's Honor in red, black, green, and white. It's weird. But they work different.
Yeah,
so,
okay, that makes sense.
Red and black.
Some are gonna be combat based, some are not.
Red, black, and white are all aggressive.
Okay.
And they work in similar fields. Black and white are very aggressive, and red does sorts of other like a roundabout mechanics, whereas black and white are usually going to be make my creatures bigger.
Blue might be more like drawing cards or defensive stuff.
But blue doesn't get Honor.
Oh, I thought you said blue was one. It's okay, yeah.
Green gets it though.
Sorry, green. That's
so green is the one that gets to use it the most differently. So its Honor triggers are rarely going to be making their creatures bigger.
They'll be like gaining life.
They're going to be doing other things. Here is probably
venoming something.
You'll see.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
This one fucks. Needless to say, this card's great.
Amazing. Holy
yeah,
shit.
Right. So.
Like, it's actually not, but it is,
Right, yeah, it's
kind of whatever, but at the same time, it's amazing.
Right, exactly. It's really cool. So this is what green will do with Honor. It's going to do a very different thing. Obviously, it's going to have some that just do the normal mechanic, because there's plenty of creatures that had Bushido.
Untap a creature with Honor? I'm just, trying to think about where you're going. I don't know.
There's a lot of other stuff you can do. You can't make creatures with it. That's for sure.
It's
funny. I, did it once and was like, I'm stupid, right? I'm just stupid. No, it just doesn't stop. Unless you say, May. Anyway, so this kind of gives you an idea of what you can do with the new version. What is your assessment on Bushido as a mechanic for Limited in general?
Bushido?
Oh, not Bushido. Sorry, Honor. The redesign here.
Honor. Okay, it's generally going to be really weak, I think, just because you are going to run out of the resources in order to make it happen. Especially cards like Hand of Cruelty are going to be really weak. It'll be a 3/3 for like a half the game, and the rest of the game it's a 2/2. Generally speaking, you play one creature turn on average. So it's usually going to be pretty weak, but you'll have some cards like Indebted Samurai here that are just going to be busted. So as a mechanic, I think Honor is weak. Its design goes well in this set based on things you've told me about how this set works.
Yeah, we'll
so
see.
I'm really happy about it being designed well for this set, but I think it would be a lightly weak mechanic, which is okay.
Interesting. I think that's reasonable. What I was thinking about when I look at, for example, just a card like Hand of Cruelty, is the fact that in a lot of limited sets, a lot of your 2-drops that you fill out your deck with, not your amazing ones, but the ones that you're going to play, the like C level 2-drops, are ones that are 3 power sometimes.
The 3 power sometimes is really good on blocks, though, and this obviously isn't going to do that.
Interesting. Okay, cool. All right, let's keep going. The next one is Ninjutsu, and if you know me at all, you'll know I really love this mechanic. I think it's like one of the coolest design mechanics ever.
Most people love this mechanic.
Yeah, it is top tier. It is in my top 3 for sure mechanics of all time. Maybe it's the best one, I think, of interesting and fun design. It's really fun, very flavorful, very interesting, very unique. And it's just cool. It's just really cool. So, I didn't change it. Both these cards are exactly the same because it's just a really fun mechanic. There is like 1 or 2 ninjutsu cards I did change just so they would play better in the format, but these 2 are good examples of ones I just didn't change because they were well designed and they will be fun to play with as they are.
They were both good last time, so they're good this
both
time.
good last time. They're good this time. However, here's a good example of a card I changed because of some of the other mechanics, because I didn't want just like vanilla creatures that don't do anything, that you're never picking this card. This 1/1 for 1, if you pick it, it's because it's a spirit, but it's still horrible.
Yeah.
It's a garbage card. You're not saving this card. You'd rather pick a different spirit, that at least a 2/2 for 2.
I was going to say, I'm 3 mana 2/2.
Yeah, you'd rather pick a 3-mana 2/2 than this 1/1 for 1. So what I did is I took these opportunities to fill out some slots of things I'm going to need to make these mechanics work better. So for example, Wandering Ones just turns into a Elvish Mystic.
But a spirit.
Just 1 in a blue, 1/1. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. This works well with Ninjutsu. Works well with some other mechanics, but it's important that Ninjutsu gets these.
This card's really good for limited. Sorry.
Yeah, it's really good for limited because of all the things that matter.
Yeah. So it works well with your Ninjutsu. So you can combo this in so in limited you don't end up with a deck that does one thing like you do in constructed.
Right.
Your deck is going to use a lot of the different mechanics throughout a format. So this card, obviously on its own, Elvish Mystic is what it's called? Elvish Visionary.
Elvish Visionary, not Elvish Mystic. Sorry.
Visionary. Elvish Visionary is a pretty dang good limited card anyways, just replacing itself and blocking once. But this card in this set, you can ninjutsu it back to your hand to draw again. And whenever you do ninjutsu it back to yourself to draw again, you get your honor trigger again. So generally speaking, ninjutsu and honor are going to work so well together because it gives you extra triggers and even an instant speed trigger whenever you ninjutsu, because it comes out of your hand just like instantly right there.
And the other decks, it's a spirit. So it's going to trigger your spirit
and
stuff.
and you can do
and if you can
ninjutsu
play
stuff
these
to double
cards
trigger
together,
your spirit stuff as well.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I took a lot of opportunities where there were cards that were just like, you're not picking that card ever, and turn them into ones you're like, actually, this is a nice piece that makes my deck work better. Thing about Ninjutsu is, one of the good things with Ninjutsu and Constructed is putting it with enters the battlefield triggers like Wandering Ones, here, the way I've redesigned it. And the original Kamigawa, including the sets that these are from, I think it's Betrayers that they're from, Ninjas?
Yeah, Ninjas from Betrayers.
Didn't have ETBs like enters the battlefield. There were just none, almost none in the entire set. So these cards were actually worse in that set than they are in mine.
Yeah, generally speaking, it's going to be hard to ETB trigger like ninjutsu with this because you have to go unblocked, but you can make it happen sometimes.
Yeah. Alrighty. So the next mechanic is Sweep. Ooh! Ooh! One of the worst mechanics in the entire block. Oh my god, though, it's horrible.
One of the worst mechanics in the entire game.
One of the worst
Bottom
mechanics
5 in the entire game.
In the entirety of Magic's history. What it is when you cast a sweep spell, it's usually just instants and sorceries. There were 10 of them, I think, 2 for each color.
Not even. There were very few sweep spells.
Pretty sure there were... Well, there were more than 5. There were more than 1 for each color.
Like 7 or something.
Maybe there was a couple colors that had 2, but maybe not all of them.
It was barely any.
White had 2.
Yeah,
White
had 2.
No.
I think there might have been a color without 1.
Green had 2, or no, black had 2.
There were not very many.
They all had 1. Every single one has at least 1. But anyway, it's horrible. It lets you return lands of its type, so red would be mountains and white would be plains, to get bonuses. For example, Barrel Down Sokenzen is 2 in a red, instant. Return any number of mountains you control to their owner's hands. Barrel Down Sokenzen deals damage to target creature equal to twice the number of mountains returned this way. So, if you pay 2 in a red and don't return anything, this card does nothing.
There's only 5 sweep cards. White's the only one with 2.
Oh, the blue just not get one or something?
Yeah, blue just didn't get it.
Well, screw blue, I guess.
Screw blue.
All right. Well, there's more in here. Don't even worry about it. So Barrel Down Sokenzen, if you return 1 mountain, you get 3 mana for a shock that only hits creatures.
It's terrible.
It's so bad. Like, you have to go down on tempo, return these mountains. Now, the reason they did this is because there was a lot of mechanics with caring about how many cards were in your hand.
Yeah.
And so it was like, oh, it's a bonus. You're actually getting a bonus by getting to return these to your hand. But the thing is when you need this removal spell is early to stop creatures from killing you.
Yep.
Why would you want to return your lands? Now you can't play things. You're so far behind when you do that. The only one of all of the sweep cards that could be reasonable is Charge Across the Araba.
Yeah.
And that's because
it wins the game.
Sometimes it just wins the game, so it didn't matter. And it's an instant too. So it's like
And you can return
attack
all of your lands.
Yeah,
It's okay.
Yeah, you just attack, see what they block. If it's going to be lethal for you to return all your lands, you do it and you win.
Yep.
So that was what I wanted to show you those two, so you get an idea of what's going on with the old mechanic. It's horrible, so that's why I got it redesigned. That's why I redid it. This last card here is going to be an example I show you of me adding it to a card that was kind of boring beforehand. My redesign I'm very proud of too, which is why I have, I think I have 10 of them.
That makes sense.
I think I have 10 or 11, because I think there's a 2-color card.
A multicolored one.
Yeah. I have 10 or 11 cards that have sweep, because I think my redesign plays really well in this set. So anyway, let's go on to showing you what my redesign for sweep is. Starting with Barrel Down Sokenzen. So my redesign of sweep is, as you cast the spell, you may return 2 permanents you control to their owner's hands. If you do, copy the spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. So what this means is, first of all, you can cast a spell without needing to return anything, and you get value out of it. Barrel Down Sokenzen, 2 and a red, tribal instant spirit, deal 3 damage to target creature.
Good card on its own.
Yeah, totally playable and limited on its own. You don't need the sweep ability to play this, and you don't need to do anything to get that 3 damage. But if you want to kill a second creature or kill a bigger creature with this, you can return 2 permanents. It doesn't need to be lands. It doesn't need to be mountains. It can be any permanents. What this is doing is it's serving a similar purpose in some decks as Ninjutsu was.
Yeah,
it allows you to return those creatures to your hand to re-trigger their abilities, or you can return lands if you'd like to, but you really do get the value out of it this way.
That makes the Elvish Visionary even better, because that card's going to be hard to get through with if you've got Ninjutsu stuff going on. Just sweep it.
Just sweep it. Just put it back in your hand and deal 3 more damage to something else.
Yeah.
So that's what these all do now. I love this redesign for it. It's very interesting. And can you tell what the inspiration was for it? Where I got the idea?
Nope. I mean, I assume it's Conspire, but...
It is. It's Conspire. Okay. That's where I got the idea. I was like, what if Sweep but Conspire?
Okay, sure.
And I was like, that plays better. That plays more interestingly. And also, it kind of gives you a numbers cap that makes more sense to kind of play around it. It's an on-off switch. You choose whether you want to do it or not. So, Charge Across the Araba did something very similar to this one. I changed
that's strong.
Yeah, it's very strong. So this one, it's a flat rate of 4 and a white to get +2/+1 to all your creatures until end of turn. You can sweep to make it +4/+2. This card is going to just destroy people.
Yeah, this is going to be weaker than Charge Across the Araba used to be. Barely.
Yeah. And it also lets you return your creatures if you want to, but you don't want to.
Yeah, maybe it's even then, because you can do that, you know?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Who knows?
Because then you can be like on blocks. Oh man, so on blocks, they attack you, you make good blocks on this side after they get pumped, and bad block over here, and you just put this one in your hand, and these ones kill that one, and you're like, oh yeah, baby.
Okay. And so here, and then the last one's an example of a card that I added sweep to because it was boring before. This is, back in the day, Removal Unlimited used to be so much worse than it is now.
Yeah.
6 mana for -5/-5 on target creature at instant speed used to be playable. Used to be like, you put that in your deck because you need removal.
Yeah.
So what I've done is I've completely redone it. It's similar. It's still a spirit arcane, spirit card.
Well, this card's good.
But what I've changed it to is 2 and a red. Target creature gets -4/-4 until end of turn. You can sweep with it. Yep. It's a really good removal. Black gets better removal than red, so that's why it look. You compare them to each other, and it's like, oh, this one's better. It's supposed to be that way. That's how black works. And this is a really good card. It works better. The set needed better removal also, especially if I was going to try and make everything cheaper, everything more playable, all the cards work better. You need your removal to also be more efficient as well to keep up with it.
All right, so in the same vein as you asking me to give a general rating on honor, general rating on sweep, this mechanic is busted. I think in a good way, but maybe not,
Hey, that's fair. We got to think about what you're sweeping, like what you're returning.
Yeah. Well, the thing is sometimes, the thing is that it's 2, which helps a lot.
Late
You'll probably
game, it
go
won't
like
matter.
a creature and a land in the mid game. Late game, it'll be 2 lands.
Yeah.
And then what is it early? You probably just don't sweep most of the
Probably
time.
just don't sweep, and you may not cast it, or you just cast it because you're gonna not die.
Yeah, which giving you the option to not sweep is I think what makes it busted, because you can play it in the early game as a really good spell.
Right.
Just 3 mana removal spell, 3 mana removal spell. Like that's fine.
Yeah, and a lot of the designs is if they are a little bit too good in like, well, not too good, but just like a little bit pushed, like in the more broken side of things. It's because I preferred it that way to being unpickable.
Oh,
in a
for
draft.
sure, I agree with that.
You would prefer them to be like, wow, that's so good.
Busted cards are better than shit cards. I like them better.
It just makes the set more interesting. So, all right. So that's sweep. Next one is flip. You can probably see what I'm doing. See it coming from a mile away. What I did here. I just turned them into transform cards.
Double-sided. Yeah.
Also, just a real quick thing. So, for example, Jushi Apprentice, very similar card, but the requirement's lower. We'll see. We'll get into those later. But just to show you, the original requirement is you need 9 or more cards in hand.
Oh, what?
Now it's 6 or more.
Oh, I was thinking 7. But okay.
No, I wanted it to be parallel. So there was a bunch of cards that cared about having cards in your hand. Most of them said 7 or more.
Yeah.
And I turned it down to 6 or more, so it would actually happen.
Oh, so you wanted this to look like it made sense in the category by saying 6.
Yeah,
Okay.
and this one is a pretty good card, actually. It's slow.
Oh, yeah. Old GG Apprentice was honestly a fine card.
Yeah, exactly. So this one just flips easier. The flip side is exactly the same as it was before. So it keeps the same. It's not really worried about it. This isn't really a mechanic too. This one I completely changed how it worked.
Okay, so it doesn't do
old
anything.
version sucked.
The essences were kind of weird.
Yeah, so I just changed some of them. Don't worry about that. We'll be getting into that later.
We'll get that later.
But just to kind of show you, they transform.
Now.
They still transform into enchantments for those ones. These ones still transform into legendary creatures. So it's still the same thing going on, just formatted better. It'll work better. If you print these out for proxy, you're going to have to if you use paper, you're going to have to put them in. When I print them out on cardstock, I'm going to actually print them on both sides. So that's how it's going to work.
You'll figure out one way or another. Yeah.
But that one you don't got to worry about too much. Soul Shift. In what might be the biggest upset, Soul Shift. I didn't change it at all.
Soul Shift is one of my favorite mechanics of all time, actually. I love this effect.
Soul Shift is considered one of the worst mechanics in this set besides sweep.
Oh, that's crazy. I mean,
People
it
think
is
it's
pretty bad.
Horrible.
It is pretty bad. I just really like it.
But why? But let me explain. Actually, I don't need to explain. I want you to tell me, why do you think I didn't need to change it?
Well, because it got a lot better now that we have Arcanes being spirits.
Exactly.
It got so much better, especially because the
better.
thing is that not only do you have more targets because your spells are now spirits, when you cast an instant or sorcery, guess where it goes? It goes to your graveyard. So now with Soul Shifting, you're going to be getting those right back.
Yep, so a card like this is just so much better than it used to be with the same exact text.
It just gets a lot better.
It gets so much better. I did slightly change a couple. For example, Gibbering Kami. I thought having a 2/2 flying for 4 was awkward. It wasn't playing into things you needed in your black decks the same way. You already had some other options for that stuff. So I thought this would work better. They didn't really use Death Touch back then. They didn't have it yet. It wasn't keyworded yet.
Yeah, they used the bad Death Touch sometimes.
And I thought that it would be nice to have a couple more in the set because they work really well in Limited. They allow you to have an answer to giant creatures on your creatures that you can play.
I like this card because it's not good, actually.
Right, but also you're incentivized to block with it, right?
It's
so you'll get your Soul Shift.
Yeah, exactly. It's a fine blocker that you want sometimes. I think it's going to be a late pick. It's an easy one to pass up because it doesn't it's not powerful, but it does the things you need. It's
much better when you have a lot of cheap, proactive instants and sorceries that are spirits.
Yeah,
that's where you're gonna want this. Or if you just don't have much removal, you might need it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, again, I just want to show you an example of a card that used to be just what is this? What are you doing here? That I changed into working in the set. It works in a lot of ways. This card is very good now.
I like this card.
Yep. Now it'll double trigger your honors. And it as Soul Shift, very hard to kill though. It's not going to die very often, but I did give it Soul Shift because I wanted it to kind of work with all of these cards a little bit better, have more purpose. It maybe didn't need it, but I wanted it.
I was going to say, this card isn't going to be all that much better than the old version most of the time, but when it is, it'll really matter.
Yep. When you're trying to go wide.
Or whenever it dies,
Oh yeah, so now that you know some of the things that matter with Soul Shift and the changes, what's your assessment on Soul Shift as a whole, as a mechanic to play with?
I think I'm too biased. I played Soul Shift a lot in Modern
high
Masters
value.
2.
This is your slow.
Yeah.
These are your slow decks.
So I played a lot of Soul Shift in Modern Masters 2, which is not a format anybody would think you should be playing Soul Shift heavily in. I really, really liked it. I thought you could do a lot of dumb things with it. So I value Soul Shift highly. I would play it in the old set, so I'm going to play a lot in this set.
Right.
So I think it's good.
How much do you think...
Improved?
Yeah, how much do you think it's improved since all arcanes are now spirits?
I mean,
instead?
a ton. Like I said, like it gets the double whammy of now you can hit the creatures or the spells, and also spells are easier to hit because they go to your graveyard anyways.
Right.
So it's just a lot better. It's really good. This thing's good.
That's why I didn't change it.
Yeah, this seems really good.
A lot of Soul Shift cards that we'll get to, we'll see when we go through the full list, just got slightly buffed because their rates were so bad. But some of them just didn't change at all, like Forked Branch Girl.
It also depends, like, if you have Sacrifice in this set or not.
I do have a little bit. Actually,
Okay.
no, I have a lot.
Okay,
It is a theme.
That's really good.
So we have Sacrifice, which replaced one of the old bad themes. We'll get to that later.
Sure.
So Channel. All right, Channel is coming in the new Kamigawa as well, but they're only sometimes using it the same way they used to. Channel used to be creatures would have an ability, and then if you channeled, you'd get that ability but better. And Channel would be you pay the mana, discard it to get its ability. So for example, Ghostlit Wander, you could pay 4, tap it, counter target spell unless the controller pays 2, or you could pay 4 if it's in your hand to discard it and counter it unless they pay 4.
Yeah.
I have actually kept it the same as far as what it does, but I rebalanced it completely because it was really wacky.
Yeah.
It was very wacky than the numbers they chose, the mana cost they chose, and it wouldn't play well. There's no way it would play well at the mana cost they chose. So a lot of them got redesigned to where it makes more sense. Here's Ghostlit Wanderer telling you, I've got a Force Spike.
I got a lot to say about Ghostlit Wanderer when we get to it.
Yeah.
Warder. Ghostlit Warder.
Warder, yeah, I said Wanderer too. So Ghostlit Warder, it's now turned into a Force Spike, and this is a similar. It's not all of them are this way when I've changed them, but this is similar to a lot of them where they are 1 to 3, like 1 then times 3 for the effect, and 1 to 2 for the cost. Sure. So because you're discarding a card, losing it in one way, the other way you have
So
it
costs
forever.
you more than it does just the extra mana. It costs you a lot more, yeah.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of how he works. So Ghostlit Wander's like this.
Warder.
God, I'm never going to do it. Jawari is very similar. I just took off the without flying because they kind of stopped doing that.
And you changed the cost a little.
And I changed the cost a little bit. I made him also better stats. He's a 4/5 now, just because that's how we play now.
Yeah. 5 minutes.
It'll play better. Whenever you have a little bit better stats with these kinds of things, they always play better. Stats were really weak in Kamigawa. That's one of the biggest things is the amount of mana you pay versus the stats you got was garbage. So I did a lot of buffing stats, especially even to cards where I didn't change their effect very much. So yeah, Jawari Earth of Flame, I did change the way its cost worked a little bit, just so that it would scale in the proper way because of what you're doing with it. Board wipes are strong. But, kept that the same. And this one I completely changed what it was doing because back in the day we didn't have fight. And I thought that we definitely needed some because it's a very good mechanic.
Shinnen for fight?
Yeah, because Shinnen was...
Life's Roar?
So here's the problem with Shinnen of Life's Roar.
It wins the game.
It either wins the game or it's horrible.
Yeah,
and I thought that those kinds of cards that are super swingy are less fun to play.
Yeah, I agree.
So having one that's like, ooh, it's really good too. Like this card's very good. Like if your opponent just has like a 1 toughness thing or like a small thing that doesn't have much power, you can just get free value, or you can just like deal 2 damage to something to kill it with the front side.
Oh, whoa, it's 2 mana. Okay.
Yeah, this card's very strong in my opinion.
Yeah,
I like it. I think it's fun to play, it'll be interesting, and it gives you that extra later on. You can just have a fight for big stuff.
I was going to say, killing off people's dorks is, I think, pretty valuable in this set.
Yeah, killing off the little dudes is going to be really good for Shinnen of Life's Roar. Let's give you some examples of the channel. Mechanic works exactly the same, but I did retooling on almost every card because it needed it for it to work and be more playable, like more fun to play.
And this one, Channel was one of the best abilities in Limited in the old one, I think.
Oh yeah, tell me, you had something you were to say about this.
Oh no, I'll tell you about Ghostlit Warder later.
When we get to it? Okay, alright, you can do that. Okay. Epic also got a big change, and this is so that it's fun to play with. I think a lot of people who play it, the only one they've ever played with is Enduring Ideal.
Yeah.
Because it lets you play an Enchantress deck that gets all your enchantments out. What Epic did originally, I probably should have said this when we started. Epic originally, how it works is you cast an Epic spell, get its effect, then exile it, and for the rest of the game you cannot cast any other spells, but at the beginning of your upkeep you cast another copy of it.
Do you exile it? I don't know.
Oh, actually, for the rest of the game you make... Oh, no, you don't exile it. It's just there. So... That's every turn you get a copy of it is how it used to work, but you can't cast other spells.
Yeah, it's really weird because logistically, Epic is really weird because you have to just remember that that's what's happening.
It is a little weird, but you also it's easy to remember in the old version because you're not doing anything else.
Well, yeah.
But the problem is then the game got super samey, and you were winning off of playing the same card over and over again,
or you were losing.
You're losing because you're not doing anything else. You have these cards in your hand that don't do anything.
Yeah.
So, and this is a little risky, but what my big change that I did to Epic is I removed the text that says you can't play other spells.
And then you just changed how the work cards worked.
Yeah.
You made them worse, I assume.
Some of them. That's where it gets a little bit dicey.
You just made this one cost more? I can't tell.
Undying Ideal just costs 1 more mana, and now that's it. You don't you can still cast other spells, and you just get to keep doing it.
Sure. I'm okay with that.
You got to remember also, a lot of the way I've designed this is because it's a cube, and you're supposed to only play them with each other. This isn't for constructed play.
Yeah.
But I did think about constructed a little bit. Not really. It wasn't in the forefront. It was mostly limited. But
I have doubts that any epic spells will be playable because they're all gonna be so expensive.
Yeah, but what's really cool about them is there's just 5 of them, and if you get one, you're like, I want to do that.
I want to try it. You can.
Yeah, and I did want to keep a lot of that in this cube, where it's like, I want to try that deck. There's a mill deck in here. You just have to get all the cards for it.
Yeah,
it's not easy to do. So that's kind of like what I want to do. I want to make sure you can have this cool...
There was a mill deck in old Kamigawa.
Yeah, I want to make sure you had all these cool, smaller archetypes that are not very easy to do, but you can do them if you can get the cards for it. Because it'll... Another thing is I didn't want to lose all of the cool stuff about Kamigawa, all the fun stuff. So I didn't want to overly lean into the more prescriptive form of newer limited formats, right? I did still want to give you archetypes you could build into, build around cards, do a lot of that, but I still wanted to be a little bit more freeform than your average set. So these help that. These go, oh, I got like a first pick epic card, I'm just going to build around it.
Can I see the new Undying Flame?
Okay, the new Undying Flame is a little risky here.
All right.
This card's really strong. This card you will put in almost any red deck.
You may play that card until end of turn. At the beginning of the year end step, if that card is still exiled, put it in your grave. What the heck? Why do you have that extra text?
That was on the original one.
At the beginning of your end step, if that card is still exiled, put it in your graveyard and deal damage equal to its value to any target. That's so strong. Oh
now
my
this
goodness.
one,
this card's insane.
This one might be a little bit too good.
Yeah.
And I was as I was redesigning everything, going through them, I didn't get back to this one. I do believe this one should just cost more mana.
Yeah, I was just saying one more mana.
I want it to be these spells that you're like, oh, it's an epic spell.
It's epic.
If I do it, hey doggy. No wait, you gotta give me that.
Sorry, doggo.
No, she's cute. It's fine.
Okay. She gave it to you. Oh, she was gonna.
Well, she wants to fight.
Yeah.
No, I got business to work on, doggy. I can't fight you.
Doggy.
What about Trinia? Can she fight you? Nice try. Now it's mine. Okay.
No fighting.
So Undying Flames probably should be 7 or 8 mana, but the point is that you're still playing the game, you're still casting your other cards, and this card will let you keep casting cards. I like the redesign. I think it's more fun.
Yeah.
It feels like you're playing your big boss creature, except for it's a spell that does your big boss creature stuff. So that's epic. What's your assessment on it? Do you think it's bad, or do you think it's well?
It's going to depend on the card a lot. So obviously here, Undying Ideal I think is unplayable, and Undying Flames I think is unbeatable. So
I do believe that Undying Flame should be at least 7 mana. But yes. Enduring Ideal, I just wanted to go this way.
Yeah, no, I like Enduring Ideal original card text anyways. So
and most people that's the one they like.
Yeah.
So. Okay, so next thing. This is also another small mechanic. There were only 5 of them, just like with the epics, but I want to talk about the redesign a little bit. This one you also probably could see coming. What is offering? What's a mechanic that exists already that's pretty much offering?
Let me read offering. 1 second. You may play it at any
Say it
time.
out loud, yeah.
Okay, you may play this card anytime you could play an instant by sacrificing whatever the offering is, and paying the difference in mana cost. So this is the Eldrazi effect. What's it called? Emerge?
It do be Emerge.
Yeah, okay.
So what we did, we just replace it with Emerge. Because it's going to be easier to play. It's going to be like, you don't, like, having to get that creature type's really hard. And I left them very similar as cards. Both of them are just Emerge now. Just kind of go over that. It's not a very big deal. There's only 5 of them. Not really thinking about it too much, but I just wanted to show that I think that since Offering was the inspiration for Emerge, I wanted to kind of call back to that and make the cards more playable, just in general.
Sure. So it takes them out of their
instant speed.
It takes them out of their patron-esque duties as well, though, which is kind of sad, like flavor-wise, but it's not a big deal.
The point is that they're big, scary spirits you sacrifice people to get.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I mean, in the lore, the only people who get sacrificed are those. But in our game, we're gonna
we want to play. We want to play Magic. We want to play Magic. Okay. Your assessment on it in limited, not super important since there's just 5 of them.
I think it'll be good though. Creature card is put in your graveyard anywhere. Each opponent loses your life. Uses lose a life. When a creature you control attacks, gain life. I expect these cards to be pretty good. Nothing special probably most of the time, but maybe a little bit.
Oh heck yeah, dude! I'll DoorDash some dessert. Are you kidding me? Thank you so much.
Oh hell yeah!
No. I will pronounce his name correctly. Ohashistic. Is that a
I'll
word?
believe you. I'll believe you.
Oh, hushistic. Thank you so much. You're king or queen or non-binary hierarch.
Hierarch, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You're cool. Okay, so next one. Now, this looks super weird, right? It says forecast, but neither of these cards have forecast on them.
There wasn't any in the set. They
Well,
know.
there was.
They
Yeah,
know.
I'm just
They
playing
know.
around. Okay, so there was no forecast in the set. However, I found that because of the change I made before, that if you were here previously, you would have seen that instead of whenever you play a spirit or arcane spell, I have it now saying whenever you cast a spirit or reveal a spirit card. And forecast reveals cards. All of the cards with forecast are spirits, so they're going to trigger them. So for example, I'll just show them both. So for example, this one says whenever you cast a spirit spell or reveal a spirit card, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. All of your forecast things are going to be able to trigger this when you pay their forecast ability.
Yeah.
This gives you extra ways to trigger all of your cards that have this text. It plays into the very slow, value, grindy sort of idea of the spirits. The spirits are a lot slower, and the mortals are a lot faster. You have the aggression from the mortals and the control kind of value decks from the spirits.
Yeah, I particularly like this. So forecast in general has always been pretty weak, and you left it kind of weak, which is good because it gets empowered by whenever you have these spirits in play that have these effects. This forecast is not very weak anymore.
Right, they're very weak whenever you're just forecasting, but very strong when you're getting all these triggers.
Yeah.
Draxion 1, have you seen the new Kamigawa spoilers? They're really cool. Yes. Okay, so I'll talk about the spoilers real quick before we keep going on this. Not talk about specific cards, but I was medium excited for the new Kamigawa set. But then when I saw the theme was like future versus past, with future being artifacts and past being enchantments, I was like, nope, I'm in.
I like that a lot. Enchantments and artifacts are sweet.
I was so worried that they were just going to play into a lot of like cyberpunk tropes. And instead of doing that, they just have some of those, but are more playing into the idea that so much has changed since we were last on Kamigawa, and there's a conflict because of that.
Yeah, I like
love
it a lot.
Big fan.
I also like a lot of the returning mechanics. So like,
Oh yeah, channel,
big fan.
ninjutsu.
Yeah, good stuff.
Love it,
Good
love
stuff.
it.
So yeah. New set looks really sweet. I'm excited to delve into another draft format because I haven't been in a draft format since like Strixhaven where I've done a whole lot.
Oh yeah.
So it'll be nice to actually try again.
The chat is squished. Hold on, I'm gonna
Try and fix the chat.
Yeah, let me fix this chat real quick. It's weirdly
Make it less squished. That's not gonna work.
I know why it's squished though. Hold on. It's because of what I chose.
Can you not unsquish it easily?
No, I could unsquish it. Give me a sec.
I believe in you. Unsquish abilities.
Transform, edit transform.
And then numbers. Size different.
3, 6, 7. I don't know, something like that. Okay.
Okay, and then you just big it.
I can't because it won't like go.
Oh well, then people can't read it, can they?
I mean, yeah. No, you're smart and I'm not smart. Okay, so it's the side. No, where is the? Oh, that's edit transform. Okay, chat box. Oh, are we dropping frames? Yeah, because I'm editing shit. That's
so we'll drop frames for a moment. Sorry, friends.
Sorry about that.
Well, we're not doing anything anyways, so
Wait,
the frames totally matter.
Where's the size option? Font settings. There it is.
You're smart.
Font size. Go to 32. Pog. Done. Pog. It reset though, so someone comment something quick. Okay. But otherwise, let's get back over to here. What'd you say your assessment on forecast was?
So like I said, it's like you said, it's slow. The spirit stuff is gonna be slow. I like this because it left like from Ravnica's forecast, the power level is pretty similar, but after that, the power level increases because of spirit spells being in play. I like forecast in this set. I think it's great overall.
Oops, CPU is pretty high usage over here. Is there anything I can do to lower that?
I don't know.
Do I have a tab open that should be closed?
Maybe. Looks like it.
Oh, there it goes. Drop down to 50. Okay, that's fine. Okay, cool.
It'll do.
Alrighty,
That
next one.
That also looks legible, by the way. Looks
Yay!
squished
Thank
a little,
you.
but legible.
Thanks, have you been in any midnight pre-releases of any sets, or I mean, this set's not out yet, so yes, I've been in tons.
Yeah, we both
used to
done
do
several.
it. Used to do it all the time.
We used to go to one every single set almost.
Yep. We would die, go to it, come back to life,
and maybe do another one on
the next day. Yeah. So we would stay up all night because we were almost always in we were almost always in the top 8, and so we were there till like 4 or 5, and then we go to breakfast, then we take a nap and go to the one that's at like noon the next day.
Yeah, so we take a nap for like 3 hours.
Yeah. We haven't done that in a long time.
Yeah, because I mean, midnight releases aren't nearly as common anymore, and also we just do other stuff.
Yeah, instead we'll go to the midday ones and have a good time and not be super tired.
There used to be a situation in our local area where the prizes for midnights were going out of nowhere.
They were just like it was like an arms race between the different places.
So we had to go to the midnights.
Yeah, we had
Now that's
to.
not happening anymore, so we don't have to.
Okay. So the next thing.
Maybe.
Oh, sorry, I've got to click it.
Okay,
so this is Venom. I'm just gonna go through real quick. What it is a lot of the snake creatures in the original set had this text. Whenever it deals combat damage to a creature, tap that creature, and it doesn't untap in its controller's next untap step.
Yeah.
I have just keyworded it. Venom does the exact same thing, but it's now a keyword. A lot of the cards that have it are slightly stronger, and I don't know why I didn't put it on here. Their theme is hitting your opponent and doing something. Only a couple of the original snakes had, whenever it's just combat damage to an opponent, do something.
Okay.
But I put it on a lot of them. This one doesn't have it. This is just a 2/2 for 2 that has Venom.
I like Venom.
But I added it to almost all of them. Now, there's one that says, like, draw a card. There's one that says make a snake. There's, like, a bunch of different things. They all are, like, if you block this, your guy's going to be frozen, but if you don't block it, I get a bonus. That's kind of how it goes.
That's got to be costed appropriately, I hope. We'll see.
I mean, a lot of their powers and toughnesses are low.
Sure.
Sasuke's Summonings is really strong now. It makes 2 tokens, and those tokens have Venom. You keep finding bottles everywhere.
Good job. You find bottle.
All right, well...
Shh, don't go.
Okay. It's probably not too loud anyway. Oh. Hey, is there any issues with the stream, by the way? I'm getting, like, little notifications that I've lost some frames or whatever, and I just wanted to check in and make sure everything's going okay. Alright, but anyway, other than that, yeah, so Sasuke's Summonings, now the tokens that it makes have Venom as well.
And it's was it 3 mana before?
It was originally 3 mana, it's 3 mana again.
Okay, and whenever a non-token snake enters, you can return it from your graveyard to your hand just like you could before. I like it. Alright.
Okay, so now
Venom I loved anyways in the old sets. I don't think it was particularly good last time. I hope it's better this time. We'll see.
It's like halfway to Death Touch. Because it takes it out of commission for a while.
A turn cycle.
Yeah, but it's not killing it. So
Right.
I wonder what's causing this CPU usage. It's killing me.
Is it still high?
Yeah, it keeps hitting 70 regularly. No.
I'm just sapping it, dude.
As long as the... well, it's mostly because there's a second monitor running.
You think?
Yeah, it's very common, like, whenever I've got another monitor running.
Will we be releasing the revised Kamigawa on Cubecobra? Do you want to?
I should do that. That's genius. You're so smart, Draxion. Okay. Currently, I have, in the description, there's a link to the Google Drive folder with all the image files. But yeah, I should do that. You're smart. I don't know
how good Cubecobra is with cards that are... What do you call it? Revised. I have someone calling me, so I will answer.
Oh, yeah. So we'll take a break before we move on to white.
The cards, yeah.
I'm going to unplug this thing.
Yep, sorry.
Because this is draining CPU. All right. He's going to take a call for a little bit. But, okay. Real quick. How does Cubecobra work? I've never used it before, but I absolutely would love to kind of add this. It is 617 cards, so it's kind of a massive cube, but I had to do the entire block. I had to do all 3 sets. So you just play them all together. They kind of have more stuff going on together than they had before, but like there's more themes you can actually build decks around than they used to be, so it works a little bit better, but yeah. And you'll see that as we go through. Because the next stuff we're going to be doing is I'm going to go through all the white cards, show you all the redesigns. But what we did before, what we're doing for the first sort of like 50 minutes, is just going over the ideas, the basic mechanical redesigns, and kind of why I did this. But then after, a little bit here, we're going to be going card by card, every single card. And also my dog is going ham on that Coke bottle over there. Because she loves chewing on bottles. That's like her thing. Right, Navi? No, she's not going to tell me nothing. She's not going to tell me nothing about it. Yeah, I'm very interested to do Cubecobra. How does Cubecobra work? Can you use it to play stuff, or is it for, like, printing off? What is it for? You know what? I don't want to, like, pull up anything right now. Actually, I'm going to pull it up on my phone. That's what I'll do. I'm going to pull it up on my phone and see how it works real quick while we're still waiting for Nate. Okay. Oh. One sec. Right. Okay. Let's go over to... Oh. Yeah. But yeah, any questions about the set so far for anyone who's been watching since we started talking about everything? I'm free to answer any questions before we get started on the whole 617 card list. Some nuts. You can input cards into Cubecobra. I'm not sure how to input custom cards, but I know you can tag cards and organize them by color, type, and mana value. You can draft with it with bots on the client. Wow! That sounds really sick, actually. Okay. Usually I just, I've printed off, custom card stock cards. I have, on the floor over there, I have one of those cubes. Hold on, I'm gonna grab it. We got time, so... One of these big boys, these big cubes. This has my custom card set where I designed all the cards in it. It's actually not that great of a... It's okay. It's fun, but the power is super imbalanced in it. But it's a fun little set. And all of the cards I designed are in here for that. I have another custom card set I've been working on that's a way better designed and way more interesting. But yeah. Is JIT as busted? Or JITE? Yes, JITE, as we'll get into later, it's at the end of all this, but I didn't change JITE at all. JITE has the exact same text. There are certain cards that I felt had enough clout in Magic that I didn't really want to change them, because if you ended up playing this cube, you want the good cards to still read like they did before. You still want cards like JITE and Divining Top to be the cards you remember. You don't want them to just be like, ooh, it's rebalanced and now it's not good. No, it's a cube for fun. Have the powerful cards be powerful. So if you get JITE, you're like, shoot, yeah, I got JITE. I'm going to crush people with it. So I kept it the same for sure. And I kept that one the same as well. I'm trying to think of the other ones. I kept a couple others. Other really powerful cards the same. Azusa is the same, although Azusa's not that great in Limited. So she's the same, but probably not that good. We'll get into a lot of those later, though. Now we're waiting on him going to the bathroom. Can you believe this guy? Can you believe this guy? It's making me wait. I can't believe this. Here, I can do the little thing. Hold on. Be right back. Oh, hey, I can mess with this page. Well, since we're waiting on him. Put this over to the side here. Be right back. I don't have a drop shadow on this, Steve. What's Steve? What is Steve? I don't know what Steve is. Explain yourself. I've never... It's something that I probably just don't understand. It's a meme that I'm not cool enough to understand. Steve. I'll wait. I'll wait for you to explain what Steve is. Jeopardy music plays in the background. Hey, Nate.
Hey, what's up?
What's Steve?
What's Steve?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
So, Draxion asked if JIT is as busted, and I said yes.
Steve is Secure Tribe Elder.
Oh, Secure Tribe Elder is exactly the same, yeah. Didn't change Steve at all. It's in a list of cards that didn't change at all because they were good.
Yeah.
Where did the name Steve come from?
STE. Secure Tribe Elder.
Oh, whoa.
What happened to your light?
Why did it go out? What was this plugged into? I don't remember.
I don't know either.
Well, now it's pitch black. You can't see me. I am a ghost.
Can you turn on the overhead so you can see?
Yeah. Real quick. Wait, no, wait.
Nope. No.
It should be back here. Oh, you unplugged one of the cords.
Somehow? Can I figure out
Yes. Yeah, turn it on now.
how? Okay, figure out how I did that.
How did you do that?
Where are the cords? I could not have done that.
You could not have done that.
Maybe you did. Maybe you shorted.
No. I've done this plenty. It shouldn't have shorted. Ah! Go turn off the light.
Pressed a button, maybe.
I did. I'm stupid. It's blinding.
All right, cool.
Wait, that's way brighter than it's supposed to be.
Nice.
There we go. Much better. Holy shit! I almost died.
I also think I'm more visible. I think it's a tiny bit brighter. Nice.
No, fuck.
No.
Oh, more? Oh.
Yeah, I'm more visible.
But I'm so white, Nate.
Haha.
Always been true.
Just like these cards.
All right, white cards. Yeah, let's go. All right, we're going in alphabetical order, I'm pretty sure. No, we're not. Are we? I don't remember.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. All right. This is going to be all the cards from all 3 sets.
So over 600 cards.
Right. And in the white...
Oh, in the total, yeah.
Yeah, it's not organized by set, so remember that. First card. All right, Nate, you read.
Aether Shockwave. It's 3 and a white instant. Choose one. Tap all spirits or tap all non-spirits. Creatures.
How was this in the original format? Do you know? And how do you feel about it from the original format?
This is the original?
Yes, this is the original one.
Okay, this looks good. This is sometimes one-sided tap all stuff. Other times it's in their end step tap all creatures, and you untap and kill them. This is one of those you win the game cards, and otherwise it usually doesn't do anything. But it can also be a fog effect, essentially, like save you for a turn. So this card seems... So for 4 mana, that's a little high, but since it has the win the game capabilities, this card was playable.
Okay. Here's the redesign.
White. At an additional cost to cast it, you may reveal a spirit card from your hand, which we want to do all the time. Tap a creature. If you reveal the spirit, tap all creatures you don't control instead for 1 mana. Or if you revealed or control a spirit. This card is broken. Like, way too broken.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we wanted.
All right.
Alrighty.
Because it does all the things the other one does, but it does it the way you want it to every time instead of not.
So, I want to talk about this card for a second, because this card probably is not very balanced, but there's a reason why I wanted to talk about this one. Stop for a moment to talk about this one. This is the first card I redesigned in the entire set. And what I was doing with this was... Shut up, Christian. You don't even know anything about Magic.
That's why he's snoozing.
Then you can just go to a different stream. I love you, but you're killing me. So this one's probably not correctly balanced, but most of these cards, I promise you, are. But what happened here is I was testing out what you would do with the new mechanics. And this is when I came up with the idea to turn arcane cards into tribal spirits, and then this would allow you to reveal them, and sort of it plays off of the old like dragon text where you could reveal or control a dragon to get bonuses. It just so happens that the bonus was really high, and I wasn't exactly sure which way to do it.
Yeah, I think that this card could... So I'm calling it broken. This card is extremely strong. It's too strong. But if you were to have this effect at like 2 mana, it
the
might
tap
be
part
okay.
would be really bad though.
Right, that's fine.
So you only play it with spirit stuff.
You only play it in spirit decks.
Right.
You'll still cast it when you don't have spirits sometimes.
Right.
But
Understandable. So don't let this be a precedent for the rest of the cards. Okay, here we go. First Bushido card that isn't from the stuff we were showing before. Go ahead.
Araba Moth Rider is a 1/1 for 1 and a white, flying Bushido 1, human samurai creature. This card is very bad. It hits for 1. You could play this with ninjas and be happy, but it's in white, which isn't a ninja color, so you have to try really hard to make that work. The Bushido doesn't matter at all. It never
Bushido
interacts.
never matters. So, in the redesign, it's incredibly similar.
Yeah, it's so similar. This card, again, like we said, it works well with the ninjas, but this time, instead of the Bushido ever matters...
Read it first.
Sure, whatever.
No, you're fine.
It's a 1/1 that has the honor ability that whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. It's flyer for 2 mana. It's the same stuff, except for we got honor +1/+1 instead of Bushido +1/+1. The honor is more reasonable. You're actually going to have it trigger more often. And then the ninjutsu is where this card's still most useful, I think. So again, this card's probably not that good, but it being flying with the honor ability makes it better.
Mm-hmm. All right, and so the redesign here, clearly I just want to put replace Bushido with honor, and I wanted this one to just be sort of like a beat stick if your deck can consistently enough make honor matter. Otherwise, this won't be a very good card for you.
Yeah.
That's true with a good number of the honor cards, where they're not going to be as good if your deck is not just playing creatures, 1 or 2 creatures every turn.
I think this card is most playable in a ninja deck and second most playable in a boring honor deck, you know?
To clarify, ninja deck. I think
ninjas, I should say.
No. What I want to say is we'll see this later, but it's more about decks that will make your creatures enter the battlefield again.
Yeah.
So there's ninjutsu that can let you return them. There's sweep that'll let you return them. But there's also a couple other cards and mechanics that we'll see. Not mechanics, but just like themes of effects that'll let you trigger your honor more. Like tokens.
Yeah.
And like blinking.
Like Sosuke Summons, we already saw, does work into the honor effect quite a bit.
We saw the spirit who can make spirits when you forecast or whenever you cast spirit spells.
Yeah.
You're going to end up hybridizing a lot of human and spirit stuff, which is not thematic, but plays way better.
Plays way better, yeah, for sure.
All right.
All right, Blessed Breath was one of the better like idiot instants in this format. It's white for an instant arcane, splice into arcane for white as well. Target creature you control gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. These kinds of cards stopped being made because they were actually just very annoying to deal with in limited.
Oops.
Oh, okay. Well, I like them.
Me too. Remember, I'm here trying to keep some of the life force of older Magic in this.
Yeah, and
I don't want to replace
exist
everything.
sometimes.
Yeah.
They just have made them a lot less common. But I like this card, and I liked it before, and it's really strong with the Splice on Instant or Sorcery. We'll see how strong, like whenever we look at the full set, but and whenever we play, hopefully.
Yeah, so if you can't tell, the only difference here is it's now a tribal instant spirit, and it says Splice on Instant or Sorcery. The rest of the card's exactly the same.
Yeah, it does the same thing, but instead of only being arcane, you can get anything.
It's because it's a strong effect, going back to God's Willing in Theros.
Yeah.
These are just good effects, and every time they come back, we use them because they're good.
They're always good.
All right.
Bushi Tenderfoot is a 1-mana 1/1. Whenever a creature dealt damage by Bushi Tenderfoot, whenever a creature dealt damage by it this turn is put into a graveyard, we get to flip them. The other side is a double strike 3/4 Bushido 2, which would be pretty good. It's just hard to kill people with a 1/1.
Yeah. 3/4 double strike Bushido 2. The Bushido 2, I mean, it's fine. Like
it's good on a double striker.
Yeah, on a double striker it's a little bit better, but it's also just like
meh.
It's better on first strikers, right?
Yeah.
Like, Bushido is a lot better on first strikers.
It mostly means people can never block you. It's so weird because like whenever Bushido's good, it doesn't happen.
Right. Bushido's good because it makes your creature unblockable. That's why the mechanic is nonsense, because it's just like a version of evasion that's just like a lot of extra text.
And it does do something else as well. Unblocks is when Bushido is actually really, really good because they can't avoid it.
It's evasion that makes you do a bunch of math.
Yeah.
And that's not as fun.
Most of the time.
Because evasion should be simple and fast to understand, and having an evasion that makes you have to do a bunch of math before you even know if it's evasion is a really awkward and slow and not very powerful.
Yeah, Bushido makes you do more math than other abilities would. Yeah.
So my change?
Whenever a creature dealt by it this turn dies, transform it. Now it's
Very
a 1/2
simple.
instead
so
of 1.
now the important thing here is that you don't need to put other cards with it for it to flip.
Yeah, because you can kill a 1/1 with it.
And that's you're generally still going to want to put cards with it, like equipment.
I was gonna say this is good with like Shinnin of Life Shore.
Yeah.
Just discard to fight something.
Yep.
And then
Yep, that's what you're going to want to do with this, is you're going to still want to do the same things you did before, just made it a little bit easier to sometimes just get that flip, because otherwise you're never flipping it.
Yeah.
The flip side, of course, is very similar.
3/4 double strike, honor, whenever another creature enters, it gets +2/+2 until end turn. This card's great, yeah.
Yeah, seems really good. If you flip it, you're having like this 5/6 double strike every turn.
Yeah.
Really strong.
Yeah, for sure. The card's really good if you can flip it, so you just build to flip it. Cage of Hands was amazing in the old set. Absolutely incredible. It's a pacifism effect that you can move where it goes. 2 and a white for enchanted creature cannot attack or block, and then 1 and a white to return it to its owner's hand. So you put it on something in the mid game to make sure they get rid of it, and they play something better, and you're like, all right, 5 mana, now we get rid of that thing.
Yep. The new version,
Looks the same.
it's exactly the same.
Because I love Cage of Hands.
I just used the current formatting with Aura and Enchant Creature the way we do it now.
Yep, I like it.
But it was a good card. It works well. It's fun and limited. We like it.
Cult of Glory is 1 and a white. Untap all creatures you control. Samurai you control get +1/+1 until end turn. This card sucks.
Not only does this card suck, but before I get to my change, because my change is I made it a completely different card. I took out all Samurai stuff from the set because none of it was very good.
And there wasn't very much of it.
And there was not enough of it for it to be worth me trying to go, here's a tribe, Samurai's going to be a tribe.
Right, exactly. This card doesn't make you want to play Samurai. Like, it's not enough. It's just not enough.
So I replaced all Samurai stuff with just general creature stuff. But the redesign here is nothing like this card because I wanted these cards.
Oh, okay. It's a flicker, yeah. It's just 1 and a white instant exile up to 2 target creatures you control. Return them to the battlefield with their own control. Yeah, it flickers 2 creatures. I like this card. You know, this kind of flicker effect is always good whenever you have a heavy set, and as we've discussed, this set is pretty heavy. I've put a lot of and also Honor is an ETB, so like it helps with Honor, which is where white is going to be pretty heavy. I like this card. I don't know if it's amazing. I think it's probably actually pretty weak. Low pick rate, low play rate in limited, but I like it anyways, and it's going to be good when it's good.
Sounds good. That's exactly what we want. little closer what we want.
Candle's Glow is 1 and a white for an instant arcane. Prevent the next 3 damage that will be dealt to target creature or player this turn, and you gain a life for each damage prevented this way. Splice an arcane 1 and a white. This card sucks, but it's a cool combat trick sometimes. It's pretty bad.
There's a lot of preventing damage that they still did back then. They don't really do this anymore because it's a little bit complex for how little you get out of it.
Yeah, you have to think real hard to make sure that this card's any good for you, and it still usually isn't any good for you.
Much like Bushido, it's just like a mechanic that makes you do a lot of work for nothing.
Yeah.
And so preventing damage, I just took out of the set almost completely.
Yeah, preventing damage should be a pretty rare thing.
This is another example of that card, though, before. I wanted to add a... White gets a couple of these.
Okay. So it's another flicker, it sounds like. Candles Glow, white for an instant tribal spirit. Exile target creature you control, then return to the battlefield under its owner's control and splice for 1 and a white. I like this a lot. This card is very good in my opinion. I know that this is so similar to the old one.
But the splicing...
So the thing about this is that you can do it over and over again to the same target. Whenever you have one card in play that you really like and it has a great ETB, the other card does it once and also flickers something else maybe. This card is just going to do it over and over again. Like every time you play an instant sorcery, you're going to get to do it. And even if you don't have an instant sorcery, it only costs 1 white to get your good one rather than 2 mana like the other one.
Right, exactly.
Celestial Kirin. The Kirins were a cycle of legendary creatures that were spirits in the old set. This one is 2 white for a 3/3 flying. Whenever you play a spirit or arcane spell, destroy all permanents with that spell's converted mana cost. This card's got a lot of weird combos that you can do with it in like EDH mostly.
You can play the
Zero Mana
Ugin
Spirit,
Scion or whatever.
And blow up everybody's lands.
Yep.
It's really cool. But not a good card overall. This card.
So, one thing I want to say before Nate reads off this and talks about it is the old Kirins, not all of them said this, which is very strange. Some said whenever you play a spirit or arcane spell. Some said just when you play a spirit.
Yeah.
I made them all just when you cast a spirit spell. I didn't even give them the extra text that I have on the other ones because most of their effects were kind of powerful.
Yeah, most of their effects are pretty good for whatever you're doing. This one, you just changed to do the exact same thing, right? Yep, it does the same thing as this one, but it just says spirit
I say
spell.
non-land just in case.
Just in case, yeah. So we can't cast our 0 mana spirit spells that aren't in the set, but you know.
Yep, and they all say spirit. Now, another thing I did with all the Kirins is I made them all 3/3 flowers for 4. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to equalize the sort of access and mana costs so that the mana costs didn't completely throw them in weird directions on how good they were.
Yeah.
A good example of this will be the green one we'll get into later. The green one was garbage because the mana cost was ridiculously high when you have this amazingly powerful one at only 4 mana. It didn't make any sense.
I actually don't think this one's that powerful, by the way.
Yeah.
Because it's not a May. You have to like be really careful
You
with
can
what
kill your own
spells you're
stuff. True,
casting.
true.
You're either locking yourself out of casting spells or you're destroying your own stuff half the time.
This one's not like crazy good, but the effect is a powerful
yes,
effect.
It is a powerful effect. And a 4 mana 3/3 flying we like anyway. So
Yeah.
I would pick Celestial Kirin. I would usually play it. It's just not great, you know? I don't know.
Totally. All right, we've seen
Charge,
this one
we
already.
know this card's broken. The old one. New one. Sweep. We also talked about it. Also very strong.
Yep.
Great card.
So this one was good in its old limited format, even though the old limited format was very awkward and weird and hard to win with. And the new one will do similar, but it'll be more aggressive.
I could talk about it, like actually read the text since we're here.
Yeah, just in
At least
case.
the new one. I'll read it on the new one. So it's 4 and white for a tribal instant spirit. Sweep. Our new ability of Sweep is as you cast this spell, you may return 2 permanents you control to their owner's hand. If you do, copy this spell and you may choose new targets for the copy. As he said, it was based on Conspire doing that. This one, creatures you control get +2/+1 until end turn. So if you sweep it, they get +4/+1 at instant speed. That can either just kill your opponent or win a combat pretty easily.
Mm-hmm. So this is a high pick.
Yes, this is a high pick. We like this one. We like this one a lot. And also, this is one of the few sweep cards we will usually not return creatures with, but
we'll return lands almost every time.
We want our creatures to have the +4/+2, you know?
Mm-hmm. Unless we have like artifacts or enchantments that are good to return.
Or we just had a ton of mana this turn and we just played a creature, you know?
Yeah.
We'll return that
the
one.
good ETB. We just
Yeah.
All right, next one.
Terrible card. 2 and a white, destroy all enchantments, clean, fall, sorcery, arcane. We hate this card.
Yeah, what do you
think?
think?
All my homies hate this card.
All my homies hate this card. What do you think I changed it to?
I assumed you would just completely redesign it, but maybe it's destroy all something else. So destroy all spirits, maybe. I don't know. Destroy target artifact or enchantment for 1 and a white, tribal instant spirit. It's just a
disenchant.
Just a disenchant. I like that.
We picked those. Yeah,
I like
and
disenchant.
and it's just a spirit disenchant.
It's a late pick, especially I think in this set, creatures are going to be much more powerful than their counterparts.
Oh,
but I'm
totally.
not certain of that.
I thought that it's important to have these kinds of valves. So if your opponent has a crazy good artifact,
You just
you
side
at
in.
least could side in if you picked it.
Yeah. And it being a spirit's nice.
Yep, exactly.
Cowed by Wisdom. White, enchanted creature can't attack. For an enchanted creature. Enchanted creature can't attack or block unless its controller pays 1 for each card in your hand. This card is very awkward. I don't remember playing this card. I don't think I did.
I didn't change it.
Very interesting. I don't have a clue as to whether this card's good or not. I would expect that it's not.
Something I didn't say when we were going over forecast. Because there are cards that want you to have a lot of cards in hand, forecast is good.
Yeah, you want to keep them in hand so you can keep forecasting
but
them.
You still
and
get
they also
value
help
out of
your
them.
value on your hand size. And obviously, we talked about, sweep is really good. And you're also gaining. Usually, whenever you ninjutsu something right, you're gonna gain something out of the deal. So like you're keeping the same hand size, but you gain something.
I'm gonna talk about the hand size mechanics real quick here because I didn't go over them in the overview because they're not like keyworded or anything like that. But the white. So in the original set, all colors had cards that cared about having more cards in your hand.
Yeah.
And that didn't make sense to me because they had cards that didn't play well that way. So what I did is I changed blue-white to care about having more cards in your hand and red-black to care about having less.
Yeah.
And I did specific numbers that cared only about you and not your opponent because according to a lot of people who played the limited sets back then, it was not fun to have to compare your hand to your opponent.
Yeah.
And what you would end up doing is not playing most of your lands until you could make sure everything you had was turned on. All of your good stuff was turned on.
A lot of the old cards didn't just say, based on your hand size, do this thing. They said, if you have more than your opponent, do this thing.
So all those cards got turned into different ones. In blue and white, they got turned into if you have 6 or more cards in hand. In red and black, they got turned into if you have 1 or fewer cards in hand.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this card's probably not good, but I'm not certain of that. And you definitely have ways to mess with it to make it a little harder on them. But I don't know. I wouldn't want to play this card.
Totally understandable. Yeah. I thought there's also some designs like this that I thought didn't need to be changed because they kind of do work.
What you want, they kind of do what you want.
Yeah, and they might be a little bit on the weaker side, but they still kind of do what you want.
Yeah.
There are also permanents in play that you can be able
to return. Yeah, it's a 1-mana permanent you can return for your sweep just for free. That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Curtain of Lightning. Lightning, sorry. Curtain of Light. Very interesting card. I really love these cards.
Love this design.
1 and a white instant. Target attacking unblocked creature becomes blocked to draw a card. So this card had some odd situations you could do. So you could let someone ninjutsu their card and then cast Curtain of Light on the ninja, and then it wouldn't get its
trigger
because it wouldn't deal any damage. Because unblocked creatures becoming blocked means they don't deal damage to you unless they have trample.
Right.
So this card also drew a card right afterwards. It's just really cool. I assume you kept it the same and turned it into a spirit. That's it.
Yeah. No, not at all.
Oh, nothing.
No. I kept cards that weren't spirits as non-spirits.
Okay. It just looks like a spirit.
Keep the balance
spirits. Never mind.
No. Yeah, it's keeping the spirits out.
Okay, never mind. Okay, yeah, I like this card. I like
just
this card a lot.
Reduced it by 1 mana.
And change the text to make
it make more sense. Like you can cast it whenever they're not attacking.
Oh, nice! I do like that. So you can just be 1 mana, draw a card. That's it.
Yeah, as long as you still have to have a creature in play to target.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and it can get countered if they remove this creature somehow, like sweep. I don't know.
Yeah, like sweep has the speed. Oh dang, you don't draw. Oh dang. It seems just as good as it.
Yeah, I love this card.
Fun card. It'll work good.
I really like its interaction against ninjas.
Yep.
All right, 3 and a white, legendary enchantment. Legendary creatures you control get +2/+2. This card is stupid. There was Legendary Matters, very small sub-theme in this set, which was weird because it was a legendary-based set. Its sub-theme in the set was really small. This card wasn't any good.
It was so expensive. So even if you were the guy at the table who could get the legendary creatures deck, you weren't being paid off very well for help.
Not well enough, I should say.
Not well enough.
Like, if you got a legendary creature deck, like 10 of your creatures are legendary, and you cast this and it bumps 2 of your creatures, you're pretty happy. But like you had to work really hard for that.
Yeah. So I decided it should work better.
So it's just a lot cheaper. It's fine. Yeah.
I couldn't make more legendary creatures because I'm keeping the cards of the set. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to say, if you pick this card, you're gonna get paid off for following suit. Just like some of the other cards where it's like Enduring Ideal, where it's like what you're trying to do here is make it to where if someone picks it and they can play the deck, they're getting paid off properly.
Yeah.
But I thought that in this situation when you have this type of card, I'm not being paid off by changing this into a generic limited card.
Right.
I think it's better to make players feel like if they can get the deck that it is, they're being rewarded.
Yeah,
and that's
sure.
what I went with.
That's fine. Also, I don't fully understand your rating, your rarities yet, but I assume that at rare there might be multiple copies of this in the cube.
No.
No.
The rarity was at first what I was doing is the rarity denoted how many copies were in the cube.
Right.
Now it's a one of each in the cube.
Okay. Sure.
So the rarity doesn't mean anything.
Okay, sure. That's fine.
But it did for a while.
This card just seems probably still bad, but like you said, it's better whenever you do actually try.
It was one of the cards that there were like this. There's a couple of cards in here that I chose to be cards you don't pick super often, but when you do, you're trying to do a thing.
Oh, you actually didn't point out the nerf to this card that you put on. So the art is zoomed in and it looks worse.
Yeah, that is a nerf. Yeah, for sure. So the reason why all the arts are slightly zoomed in, some of them are zoomed in different rates and different angles, is because the way I put the art on here to get it, because a lot of them I couldn't just find the art itself. I had to take the card image from Gatherer, or not even Gatherer. I used Scryfall because it has better card quality, image quality. Yeah. Downloaded that and then fit it into the frame.
So that's a lot of these cards have nerfed that way.
Yeah, a lot of cards have nerfed art. Sorry. All right.
Descendant of Kyomoro is a 1 and 2 white 2/3 creature, human soldier. As long as you have more cards in your hand than each opponent, it gets +1/+2, and whenever it deals combat damage, you gain 3 life. This is a great example of the kind of card we were talking about, where you continuously compare your hand size to your opponents. This is also before Lifelink came out, so this was how they were doing it instead. They were like, whenever it hits something, you gain 3 life. Sweet, because that's usually what my power looks like.
Yeah.
It's awkward.
Slightly worse lifelink.
Yeah, this card was whatever. If you built the deck to do the thing, then it did its thing well, better than most other cards, because it's a 3-mana 3/5 with lifelink.
Quote.
That's pretty good, but
yeah,
still bad.
All right, so the change I made was to fit it into the other archetype. You don't have to care about your opponent as much. You just care about yourself keeping cards in hand.
Oh, it turns into a 4/4 instead of a 3/5. I like this card way better. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it gets lifelink, of course.
Yeah. And it's, 2/3 for 3 is also, existent. You can play those and it won't be terrible. So
but
even if you
this
don't
is
get
not
it right
super
away.
a card you really, because it's 1 white instead of 2 and a white. So if your deck doesn't have the capacity to put cards back in its hand or draw extra cards, not likely you should play this. You probably shouldn't play this. But if you can make this a 4/4 lifelink, a 4/4 lifelink is really winning races.
Yeah. You don't want to play this
stonewalling your opponent.
You don't want to put this in your deck as a vanilla. You don't want to put this in your deck if you don't have a high chance of getting that second ability. But when you do, it really pays you off.
So you better have like Ninjutsu, Sweep, or Moonfolk, which we'll get into later.
I wouldn't be even that high on Ninjutsu for this. Although Ninjutsu does do some of that work.
It's more like the blue-white slow deck, not the Ninjutsu one.
Yeah.
So the blue-white, forecast, Moonfolk, Sweep, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right.
Bushido 1. Okay, so 1 mana 1/1 for Bushido 1 human samurai creature. This card was actually fine because it just blocks well in the early game. It's a 2/2 on blocks for 1 mana. That's so good. But at the same time, 1 mana 1/1 sucks. So it was weird. It was good if you had.
It's good in a control deck.
It was good in a control deck. It was also good as a 1 mana 1/1. 1 mana 1/1s were a little bit better in this set because ninjutsus were relatively cheap. So if you had a ninjutsu card that had 2 mana and you were on the play, you play this on 1 ninjutsu, you're down 2.
Ninja the deep power. Just hit him.
Good stuff. But most of the time, this card's still not good.
So the redesign now.
1 mana 1/1. Human Samurai. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield you control, honor makes it get +1/+1 until end of turn. Similar, pretty bad, but it does the other things that we just talked about. It does good. It's good with the ninja stuff, and its ability even plays into that instead of being crappy Bushido. So you're playing the ninjas deck. All right, I'm gonna return creatures to my hand pretty often, right? Guess what? That means I get more ETBs. Yay!
You're not gonna want to play this card unless you are always curving out.
Yeah.
Because you need to be pretty aggressive. You need other 1-drops, and that means you're probably the only deck this is probably going to be good in, once you see a lot of the other cards, you'll see this, is the red-white deck. That's the deck that likes this.
Hyper-aggressive.
Maybe the green-white, because green-white has a lot of tokens.
That's what I was thinking.
But red-white is very fast, has enough 1-drops. If you can get consistent 1-drops and consistent 1/2/3s, this might be good if it's always a 2/2 or a 3/3 attacking. Otherwise, if it's ever a 1/1 in your deck, except for maybe turn 5 and on, then it's probably not good.
Yeah, we've had cards like this in other formats with other text. There's a 1/2 for 1 that whenever you play an enchantment constellation, it gets +1/+1, or you give something +1/+1. The card was very good in its respective format.
Yeah.
So you can make this card very good depending on what's going on.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, just checking my phone real quick. On to the next one.
Iganjo Free Riders is a 3 and a white, 3/4 flying. At the beginning of your upkeep, return a white creature you control to its owner's hand. So this is a weird card I didn't know was in the set.
There's a cycle of them.
Yeah, I think it's partially to try and keep your hand size bigger on your turn for the effects that you have, like our 1 white friend we had earlier. So you can attack with it for its 3 damage, and then you can play your creature back into play or whatever. But the thing is this is best with TTBs, and the set didn't have very many, so I don't know.
Right.
Card's bad. It's 3 mana 3/4 flying, and so they're trying to put a downside on it. I'm sorry, 4 mana 3/4 flying. So they're trying to put a downside on it because at that time, 4 mana 3/4 flying is amazing. like really good.
Yeah.
So that I understand, but I don't like it. To begin your upkeep, return a creature. Same thing. Okay, but 3 mana. 3 mana instead, so it's a lot stronger. We've had Esperzoa style cards where they have the drawback to return a thing to your hand, and if they're cheap like this, they get a lot better as long as you have reasons to like them. So this one, you're going to want ETBs that do something that are cheap, if you can. Or just like cheap creatures that don't do anything is also okay if you like a 3/4
flying that you really, Yep.
Exactly. Yeah.
I took off the text returning white creatures.
Oh, sure.
It's just any creature.
Yeah, why not?
That way it just plays better in your deck. It's like making it be a white creature really... It really plays poorly.
Yeah, I hate the color restrictions on those. They did that a lot in this set, I think, and I hate the color restrictions on all those things.
There's a lot of stuff like that I removed it so it'll play better. You're playing your blue-white deck. Now you can return your wandering ones to your hand.
Yeah, I like this card. This is definitely the kind of card I would play with. That's like I'm crazy about ETBs and flickers, so this is the deck I'd play most of the time.
Probably. Sounds right.
If I can draft this, I will.
Okay, good. I can't wait to print this off.
All right. White, 2/2, 8.5 tails is a legendary creature, Fox Cleric, that has 1 and a white. Target permanent you control gains protection from white until end of turn, or 1 target permanent or spell becomes white until end of turn. So it was just a way to kind of, you could, depending on how you played with 8.5 tails with enough mana, you could get your whole team through by turning all their guys into white and making all your creatures permanent, or all your creatures protection from white, and just jam. Or you could like make some crazy blocks with it. Putting an 8.5 tails on the table and having untapped mana usually just wins you the game in limited. It's extremely strong. You made it even better. All right, cool. white for a 2/2 legendary creature Fox Cleric that has white. Target creature you control gains protection from white until end of turn, or 1 target spell or permanent becomes white until end of turn. I am not happy about this. I think the card was broken before, and you just made it a little better.
Yeah, yep. The only slight change, you can't target permanents, but yeah.
Okay, sure, yeah.
That doesn't really matter now. All right.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't matter.
How would you change it then?
For this set, I might not. I like 8.5 tails. It is just broken and limited. I think I probably just would have kept extra 1 mana on its first ability.
Sure, that makes sense. Totally.
Yep. Empty Shrine Kanushi is a bad blocker that kind of works pretty well in that limited sometimes and sometimes doesn't. It has protection from the color of permanents you control.
So it starts off with protection from white.
It always has protection from white because it's always white because there's nothing that removes colors in these sets. And then if you have more colors, so there's like there was a really bad multicolor deck you could build in this set, or in this block or whatever, that you could build and have Empty Shrine Kanushi be a really good blocker or a good enabler for Ninjutsu because it can't be blocked. But most of the time it just didn't quite line up, so it was a great board card is what it was. Like a really good board card for the mirror style.
Totally.
Okay, white, 1/1, Honor. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, target creature you control gains protection from your other choice until end of turn. So this is really weird and hard to build around and really good at the same time. You have the ability to flicker your creatures to be able to get good protections from spells that your opponents are casting if you need to. But generally speaking, this is going to be mostly a hard to make work, but really good when it does, aggressive card. Because you're just going to play your creatures, you're going to give your other ones protection from whatever your opponents have and slam.
Yep.
And with it being only 1 mana, 1/1 is why I don't think I like it that much. But at the same time, the Honor decks want to play a lot of cheap creatures for that purpose. Yeah. So I could see this being really good. I could also see it being medium. It's definitely not trash.
Yep, cool. That's what I saw it as. Saw it as a way to get through, essentially. Yep. It'll break board states, and if you happen to be a ninjutsu deck, it can allow you to do a ninjutsu easier by giving something unblockable, essentially.
So it doesn't actually, it's weird with ninjutsu, because the Honor happens when creatures enter the battlefield as well. So you can make some attacks that one of your guys is evasive, one of them is not. You have Empty Shrine Kanushi in play. They block the not evasive guy. You ninjutsu, and then you get an Honor trigger to give your non-evasive guy protection from their blocker. So it doesn't die, yeah. Yep. It's really interesting.
Yep.
During a deal, we know what happened. Okay, it's a 7 mana epic spell that searches your library for an enchantment and puts into play and then shuffles. The new version is going to be an 8 mana epic that does the same thing.
The difference is different. Old epic meant you can't cast other spells for the rest of your game, and new epic still lets you cast spells. Just a more fun thing to do. Like it's very unfun to not be able to cast spells in your hand and only be able to do one thing for the rest of the game. It's not as fun.
Old one was unplayable and limited, new one's unplayable and limited, but either way, you could try to find a cool Shrines deck or something.
It's not as punishing. And here's the big difference. For limited, neither is very powerful in limited, especially with Enduring Ideal. But the major difference between the two is you're not as punished if you want to play that deck.
Yeah.
If you open pack one, pick one Enduring Ideal, and you want to go into an enchantments deck and just pick as many enchantments as you can, you're not as punished when you finally cast your Enduring Ideal, because you can still cast the
your
cards you draw.
removal or your
removal.
blockers, because you're probably going to be wanting to be a slow deck if you're trying to cast this 8-mana sorcery.
Yeah, you're not going to only have enchantments.
So whenever you draw your non-enchantment spells, you're still fine to cast them. You know?
Yeah. Yep.
Ethereal Haze is a 1-mana fog. It's instant arcane, prevent all damage that would be dealt by creatures this turn. It's Holy Day, but arcane. Fine. Not good.
Same card.
Same thing. Not good usually, but like you want fogs in some formats.
It's also a spirit.
You can... The thing about Fog in Limited is that whenever your opponent attacks with all their creatures for their lethal attack because they just finally made sure they had enough to get through, and you fog, you win the game usually. That's what
Otherwise,
it does.
it's not doing a lot unless you can repeat it as well. That's another option.
And in this set as well, the way you've designed it, seems like casting spirits for no value will still be useful sometimes. And that's what I think you're going to use this for most of the time.
Or you can reveal it from some of the reveal guys, because it is a spirit.
It just being a spirit might be good
enough. It's
enough.
not amazing, but it does its thing where you need it to, and that's why.
Yeah, and like I said, fogs can be very good in Limited. They win the game sometimes, you know.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, Faithful Squire.
I'll flip it whenever you get to that.
1 white for a 2/2. Whenever you play a spirit or arcane spell, you may put a key counter on Faithful Squire. At end of turn, if there are 2 or more key counters on Faithful Squire, you can flip it.
And the flip side is?
Flip side is a 3/4 flying. Remove a key counter from this. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to target creature this turn. What do you think of this old card?
What do you think of it? Did you play it?
No,
you didn't play
think
Betrayers?
So. Well, I played the sets, but I just didn't play that much of it, so I didn't. I don't know. I haven't interacted with all the cards. I've probably played like 4 drafts of the set.
Totally. In Limited, how do you
cast them? You get 2 counters to flip, and it turns into a 3/4 flying. That seems good.
So it's pretty bad on the front side of it. 1 white for a 2/2.
But then you just cast 2 Spirit or Arcanes, and you just flip it right away, right?
Yeah,
whenever you cast, put a counter. Yeah. This card seems good. It's 3 mana for a
3/4 flying.
For a 3/4 flying that you have to wait a turn or 2 for. And then it also has this amazing other ability to prevent all damage that you dealt to target creature twice at least. Because if you also like cast your spells at a wrong time,
you can choose not to flip it too if you want to cast
it's a May
more.
flip.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's also not until the end of turn that it flips. So you can like cast 3 in a turn and then flip at the end of turn. It's all good.
And have a bunch of counters.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
So I kept it close, but
now it's better statted. It looks like so 3 mana 3/3. Cast a spirit spell, put a key counter. Beginning of your end step, 2 or more key counters. Flip it into a
important thing to mention, by the way.
Okay.
The key counters.
Yep.
It's only when you cast, not whenever you reveal.
Oh, sure.
A lot of the stuff that says whenever you cast a spirit spell, it also says whenever you reveal. These key counter ones, because their effects are so strong, don't let you get triggers off.
Okay, so the key counters and the Kirans, neither of those do that. Is that it in the whole set?
That's it. That's
okay.
it.
Okay. So
all
if there were others,
the,
they would be hard to keep
value...
track of. I feel like, and that's what I would be worried about: is whether does my thing work whenever I reveal or not? And
right.
then you look at your card and you read it again, and you're like, oh, it doesn't actually.
Very
trigger.
Specific ones because these were so powerful.
I think that is still bad design, even though I think I'm okay with it. You know.
Thanks, Nate.
No. It is like this is something they talk about whenever you have 2 very similar mechanics. When it's just casting, or whenever it's casting and revealing, you read your card and you read it again, and it doesn't do what you think you said.
Right? No, I know for sure.
It's really rough. So I'm just
unless I just messed up on this, what I put in here, and the other one does. We'll see. We'll get there.
Okay, we will. Okay. It's a 4/4 flying this time that remove target creature gains indestructible. Okay, I really like that.
Very similar.
Indestructible versus prevent all damage are different. Indestructible is usually better, the vast majority of the time better. And so this card is very strong.
They just don't do that much anymore, so we went with this.
Yeah, I like this decision better. That card seems maybe too strong. 3 mana 3/3 with a very high upside. But probably not way too strong. It'd probably just be. Depending on how good the set is, pack one, pick one-able, and it would be like just a really strong uncommon you're very happy to have.
All of these guys who flip into these legendary spirits are like this. They're pretty powerful. They're things that lead you. They lead you towards them. They say, hey, you need to be playing spirits, but you're getting super paid off if you do.
Yeah, super paid off is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Final Judgment was one of the only board wipes in the format for a long time. Maybe the only one in this set, or it could be 3 sets. I can't quite remember. 4 white sorcery, remove all creatures from the game. It means exile. It's the same.
Very
we
similar.
Made it cheaper. I like this.
Cheaper. Just works better. Gonna be more playable. You're gonna pick it because you're like, ooh, I'm doing the thing.
Yep.
It's perfect.
You're sorcery. You're either control deck or honestly just board wipes are almost always good and limited. So Final Judgment is just gonna be almost. Always
if you're ahead, you don't need to cast it because you're ahead, so you're doing good. If you're behind, boom.
Exactly. Like you don't need cards to be good when you're ahead. You're ahead.
Exactly. Exactly.
Genju of the Fields, white enchant plains. I loved the Genjus. They are very hit and miss. I don't know what else to say about them. This one is Enchant Plains 2. Until end of turn, Enchanted Plains becomes a 2/5 spirit with lifelink, essentially. It's still a land. Whenever Enchanted Plains dies, you may return Genju of the fields from your graveyard to your hand. So
you lose the land, but you keep Genju.
Yeah, exactly. So every time you get this one into combat, you know you're not losing this effect. You're just going to have to move it if you die.
There are 6 Genjus, 1 for each color, and a 5-color one.
This is one of the better ones in Limited because it's extremely good defensively, and that whole format is defensive, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I redesigned the Genjus completely, but kept some of their spiritual...
I'm ready to see it.
Yep.
All right. So, enchant permanent you control for 2 and a white, aura. Enchanted permanent loses all abilities and is a 2/5 white spirit creature with lifelink. So, the same size and stats, everything there. Whenever enchanted permanent dies, return it to its owner's hand. So, instead of returning Genju over and over again, you just don't lose the old permanent.
Yeah. And you can put it on any permanent.
I was going to say, you can put this on your opponent's stuff. Or no, you can't. Okay. Enchanted permanent
you control.
Okay, so you can't put this on your opponent's stuff, so it's not able to, like, turn off their bomb. But, you can turn anything you have into a 2/5, and we're looking at a set that's most likely very heavy with dorks that either have ETBs or their tokens or whatever. So this turns a dork into a 2/5 lifelink that also comes back to your hand. This could be okay. I expect this card to be bad. Auras are usually pretty bad, but the thing about this is that it gets rid of the problem that auras usually have. Whenever you kill the thing attached to it, you get 2 for 1. It doesn't completely get rid of that. If they respond to you casting this and destroy it, you're still 2 for 1. You get screwed. But also a 2/5 just isn't that good in my opinion.
Sure.
I think this card's probably weak.
I think this is one of the weaker Genjus.
Yeah.
It's trying to play in a similar space as all the other cards here that return stuff to your hand. And when I'm playing in that space, because I thought it keeps with some of the themes they're doing, I want to make sure that instead of doing what they do, where you're just constantly losing tempo and value, instead I wanted to make sure that, just like with this and with the way I did sweep, that it's returning something to your hand, but it's keeping... you're not losing as much as you would otherwise.
Yeah, you can build decks where Genju the Fields will be good, and I think it'll be the same decks where all the Genjus will be good, because I assume they all have the same effect where Enchanted Permanent dies, return to your own owner's
These
hand.
two, the top and bottom text are exactly the same on all the Genjus.
Yeah, so I expect that this would just be, you'd be like, I'm looking for a Genju because I got this 1/1 draw card, you know?
And there's just 5 of them, so if you're trying to do that strategy...
And we see the fields? All right, let's go.
And we're in white right now, so we're seeing all of the cards that care about putting cards back in your hand and letting you re-trigger all your other stuff. Blue has a lot of that too. When we see the other 3 colors, we're not going to see.
I'm pretty excited for black because I know there's Oni, and I want to see what those do.
Okay, so yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there.
It's a distant future.
All right, let's move on.
All right, Ghostlit Redeemer is one of our channel friends. It's white for a 1/1 spirit. White tap, you gain 2 life. 1 and a white for its channel cost of discarding it, and you gain 4 instead. Wow, I hate gaining life. This card's pretty bad.
So what I find interesting about this card is, it's when you compare it to a card that's very similar to it that has been in more recent sets, it's actually a little bit better than some of them.
Yeah, better than Soulmender.
The only thing is, well, Soulmender didn't cost mana.
Yeah, it's still better.
Yeah, I agree. This is still better than Soulmender. What's really interesting is that, obviously this is really bad in this set, because Soulmender is white for a 1/1 tap gain a life. It was only good because the set cared about gaining life.
Yeah.
There are no cards in this block that care about gaining life that way. But I found it interesting that the rate, like white tap gain 2 life, that's a pretty high rate.
For gaining life, that's not what we're used to, it's true.
Right, but otherwise this card's horrible, like in Limited.
I mean, gaining life is just mostly not what you're looking for in Limited.
Right.
And we kept it similar, so it's 2/2, 1 and a white. So it's better stats, I like that. It's 2/2 for 2.
2/2 for 2 is the bedrock of a Limited deck.
Yeah, kind of. It depends.
Sure, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. So 1 and a white for a 2/2, white tap you gain 2 life, and channel is now gaining a 6 instead of 4. This card's almost as bad, but it is better. This is definitely this is a filler. This is our favorite stuff. This is filler in a Limited deck. You need shitty 2/2s for 2. You need shitty 3/3s for 3 are great, like really good.
Yes.
You need something to happen in the early game. No matter what kind of deck you are, you need to be able to block. You need to be able to attack. You need to be able to have something on the board.
2/2s for 2 and 3/2/2 3s for 3.
Yeah, as
you're
going to
have those.
They're bad cards that you just have to have in your deck.
And there's going to be plenty of those in this block, but they still, just like newer sets of Magic, they still serve some purposes. They're just not as good at serving those purposes as other cards are.
Yeah, I assume this happened because you're designing a whole set. So I still don't like this card.
Yeah, sure.
Just because white tap you gain 2 life is either going to be extremely annoying or useless, and that's how repeatable game life effects are in Limited all the time.
Totally.
But that's fine. It's
Fair
like
enough.
we said, good chaff.
Yep. I think a lot of times I was also going, can I
Keep this
can I
similar.
can I keep this similar and make it work in space it needs to? And if that includes it being better chaff, because if you see, the thing is just like there's like these cards that are just like 2 mana 1/1s and 3 mana 1/2s that are just that's so bad. Like the stats just don't work.
So if we can just pump the stats and that's still playable, that's sweet.
Sweet. So we're just trying to fit some things into that space as well. So not every card is going to be like, bam, I need that card in my deck.
Right.
But I didn't want any card to be like, there's no situation in which I'm picking this.
Right, yeah.
That was the goal. Never make sure every card that there is a situation in which you are picking it, even if it's chaff to fill out your curve because you don't have enough 2-drops.
The cards that I think will be most likely, like closest to I'm never picking this, are going to be the mythics.
Yes.
Like during ideal style. Like I don't know if there's any mythics in this side because there wasn't at that time. I don't know how you did rarities.
Yeah, so the rarity system was all weird. The only reason I chose epics to be mythic was because I thought they were epic. Anyway.
Because they're epic.
Yeah, but most things is just the 3 rarities. It don't really have many mythics, and things that are rare were rare before, and that's because they would have been only 1 copy if there were multi-copies. But actually, it's just there's 1 copy of everything.
Yep.
617 cards. Okay, so we can move on from this.
Ghostly Prison. Everybody loves Ghostly Prison.
Can you guess?
So it's 2 and a white. Enchantment. Creatures can't attack you unless their controller pays 2 for each creature attacking you. Ghostly Prison's a great card. I don't know.
Damn, that's crazy how it didn't change.
Okay, cool. So it's a great card. I didn't mean it was something good for Limited.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy this card in Limited. I don't enjoy this kind of effect in Limited.
Mm-hmm.
It's extremely taxing on a player.
Am I about to change Ghostly Prison, though, Nate?
No, I'm not telling you to. I'm just telling you that I don't like this card existing. But you are going to pick it. It is really good in your control decks.
Mm-hmm.
It's just annoying.
Yep, and I think that it is important to recognize that there are some effects that are going to feel that way in most Limited formats.
Yeah.
And I decided that keeping the history of some of the ones from this block was more important than making everything a flat, like this is how it works.
And I mean, this card also is just like, when you know it's good and it's not too good,
kind of exciting.
Why would
to
I
pick
change it? Yeah.
It's also exciting to pick really powerful cards.
Yeah, for sure.
And obviously, sometimes those cards are not going to be as fun for your opponent to play against, but...
Oh, and then whenever the card's bad, it's really bad.
Yeah, exactly. In newer formats, the cards that feel this way are not cards like this.
No,
they're generally
siphon
bombs.
Cards. No, they're the cards like this, in my opinion, are the dumbass enchantments. Like 3 and a black, every upkeep you siphon.
No,
those cards are so bad,
they're great.
Except for they're broken. It's so
Whatever,
annoying.
you're wrong.
And that's how this feels. Okay, whatever. Hail of Arrows is X and white for an instant. It deals X damage divided as you choose among any number of target attacking creatures. Okay, this card's only good when you're getting attacked, but man, is it good.
Boy, is it.
Yeah.
We didn't change it.
Yeah, it's good.
I liked this card. I thought even if it isn't like powerful on rate, the fact that it's so flexible, can hit so many things, it's okay if the rate's worse because that's strong.
This is particularly good against ninja decks again, because they're going to be making bad 1/1s that are either have evasion or they just have a good ETB. And well, you're just sitting here and they decide they can attack so they can do their ninja thing. And before they get to the part where they're like unblocked and stuff, you just kill them all.
Or you let them pay the mana to put it into play and kill the ninja.
Sure, you're right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the other way better because it's cheaper.
They're both good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. They're both good. That's the thing. Yeah, they're both good.
Yeah, it just depends. Yeah.
Hail of
Like,
Arrows,
do you want them to
great
put back
card.
in their Wander to their hand to draw more cards?
I'm not going to do a letter system, by the way, if you hadn't noticed.
No,
Screw
I'm
that.
not doing letter system.
Screw that. I'm just telling you if I like it or not.
Yeah, totally. We
Hand
can
of
probably
Honor,
guess.
the hands do the thing. The
Yeah.
hands were good in standard, and they do the thing, and they're doing this, and they're doing the thing. They're good in a curve deck, and they're really not otherwise.
Yep, it's a 2/2 for 2 protection from black. The new version just has the honor, so it gets +1/+1 whenever another creature enters the battlefield.
Instead of Bushido.
It's fine.
Yep, it's fine.
It's fine.
Harsh Deceiver. The Deceivers were pretty cool, in my opinion. Is that what they're called?
Yep, they're all called Deceivers. Yep.
I liked them. They're not easy to understand, but I think that because... Okay, I'm just going to say the cards were text first. 3 and a white, 1 and 4, Spirit, with the ability, 1, look at the top card of your library. Just look at it.
Huh.
And then 2, reveal the top card of your library. They get to look at it. If it's a land, you get to untap Harsh Deceiver, and it gets +1/+1 until on a turn. Play this ability only once each turn. So I'm assuming what's going on here, we're going to play pretty similarly, but probably better effects, because Revealing Spirits is sweet.
Yeah.
We like Revealing Spirits.
Yeah.
So what do you got?
How did you feel about this card from its original, though?
Untap Harsh Deceiver. This card was...
It's like Vigilance almost.
Was giving it Vigilance and turning it into a 2/5. It was weak, but not shit. I don't know. It was hard to it's hard to evaluate, in my opinion, just because it didn't have any
Not
way
very powerful, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it was very good, but it was okay. Okay. 3/1 instead of a 1/4, and it gets flying. I like the flying. That's exactly what I was going to say I wanted on the other card, was flying. So it's you may look any time without paying any mana. I like that ability much better.
It's just so awkward.
Yeah,
to be
paying 1 mana to look is really, really awkward.
Yep.
So just look anytime, love it. 2 mana, reveal it. if it's a spirit, untap this guy, gets +1/+1. Okay, so the thing about both these versions that makes Harsh Deceiver pretty good in its format is that you can fireball with them.
Yep.
You can just reveal the same card over and over again because it's right there.
Yep.
So if you have 10 mana, we can give this guy +5/+5 and untap it 5 times.
Absolutely true.
Untap it 5 times.
But and you already mentioned this, but here's where this card is way better in this format. The Deceivers, as there's only 5 of them, like I said, there's a gazillion, cycles in, but there's one for each color. The thing about this is all of the cards that say, whenever you cast a spirit spell or reveal a spirit card, work with this. So if we pay 10 mana to give this +5/+5, we also get 5 triggers of those cards.
Yeah, so even though the old card was mostly good for its firewall potential, the new card is really good for its firewall potential, and it's got better stats, and, there's this thing, that the whole entire set now has this ability that works with revealing when it didn't before. So this card is just a lot better than the old version.
Yep.
Like a lot better. This card is amazing.
Still gotta invest a lot of mana, but wow, you're getting paid off.
Yeah, and I mean, when you don't invest mana, 4 mana for 3/1 flying is not the worst thing.
You can look at the top card of your library at any time, too.
Yeah, just helps you plan. I don't know.
Helps you plan a little better, yeah.
Yeah, this card's great. Heart of Light is 2 and a white for an enchant creature. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to and by enchanted creature. It's a pacifism effect that doesn't work the same way.
It's a much weaker pacifism effect. Lets them still block.
Yep.
And the guy doesn't.
Well, no, you can also use it on your own guy for an infinite blocker.
That's true.
It's got its uses. I've liked these kinds of effects in the past, even though they are not good. They are not good.
Mm-hmm.
Make it clear, these are not good.
True. Yeah. No, these cards are pretty bad usually, but we kept it.
Prevent all damage dealt to and by enchanted creature. So I particularly like Heart of Light at 2 mana in this set better because of sweep.
Yep, because of sweep, you can return it back to your hand.
So you do it to your own guy for an infinite blocker, and you can return it into your hand, to make their bomb not kill you anymore. You can do the opposite, get rid of their medium-sized creature, but now they have a board state you need to start blocking. You bring back the Heart of Light and cast it.
Draxion, yes. So cubes can be any size, and you just take the number of cards you need. Like, you probably already know this. So yes, this is all 617 cards would be in the cube.
Yeah. And so you just shuffle them all together and cube draft them.
A lot of the designs were changed to work better together too, so that all the sets work well together. Back in the day, you would draft all 3 sets anyway.
Yeah.
But I made it closer together so that the draft works better and the cube works better.
I've been very happy with the change of drafting to being 3 of the same set and only drafting big sets. It's just made drafting environments much more fun.
Yep, absolutely.
Hikari, Twilight Guardian. 3 white for a 4/4 flying legendary creature spirit. I like that. I know it's old, but that card's good. Is there more text? Oh
yeah. Oops.
Whenever you play a spirit or arcane spell, you may remove Hikari from the game. If you do, return it to play under its owner's control at end of turn. So it slow flickers. It slides.
Yep, it slides itself to save itself from stuff.
Yeah, whenever you play a spirit or arcane spell, so you can do it at instant speed. Yep. All right, 3 white, 4/4. Do the same thing. Exile target creature. Okay, so 4/4 flying. Whenever you cast a spirit spell or reveal a spirit card, you may exile target creature. If you do, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next step. So it does slide as well. I am not a fan of putting slide and flicker in the same set.
Understandable. They've done it before. I'm doing it. I like it because I like it for this card specifically. It had it, and the way it works, I like it this way because now it's offensive too.
Yeah. So you're able to target your opponent's stuff with this one, just like you were able to with Astral Slide, which made that deck amazing. You can board wipe your opponent for a turn and then hit swing in for the win or stuff like that. All sorts of stuff.
I think that's a pretty good example of things that I wouldn't do if this was me literally designing for WotC.
Yeah.
If I was working at WotC, this would be Blink.
Yeah.
And maybe it would be Blink and it comes back tapped.
Yeah, Blink comes back tapped is a great way to do a flicker effect that's still offensive like slide effects are.
But I went with Slide because of the ways that helps you like in board wipe scenarios.
And it's also what the old card did.
It's also what the old card did. So there is going to be some of that stuff that I probably would not have done if I was designing it for WotC, but I wanted it because I liked the way it played differently.
Yeah, this card's amazing. Yeah. This card is easily pack one, pick oneable. Best card I think we've seen so far.
Awesome.
Number 1 best card so far.
Cool, sick, awesome.
Hikori Drust Drinker, very rude. Everyone hates it in Commander.
Yeah.
2 white, 2/2, legendary creature spirit. Lands do not untap during their controller's untap step. But at the beginning of each player's upkeep, they get to untap 1. So it winter orbs everybody. 2 white, hey, it looks like the same, except for it's 3/3 instead of 2/2, right? 2 lands. They get to untap 2 lands. Not as mean. Not as mean.
Not as mean.
Okay, sure.
Any feelings about this Unlimited?
I don't think Hikori was playable in Limited. I think that current Hikori is probably not playable in Limited. I don't know.
Totally cool.
It's better.
It's just too famous. I wanted to not change it too much.
Yeah, I agree. Hold the Line, 1 white, white. Blocking creatures get +7/+7 until end of turn. Instant. Very, very cool card. I hate it. It's terrible.
It's so bad. But it's cool.
It's so cool.
See, that's the thing, is this block was really trying to design an interesting space and using the newer design sensibilities they had from that time, where they were getting better at making things understandable, even though they didn't do a perfect job. They're getting better at things. Oh, that's cool, Draxion. The VOD will be on the channel, so you'll be able to see it if you want to.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be editing this down into a video, which will have the VOD in the link as well. The video will just go over a lot of highlights and over the basics of it.
So with Hold the Line, the problems with Hold the Line is the idea is you want to Regeki your opponent. You want to like have like 4 creatures on your side. They have 4 creatures. They go in for the swing because their attacks are advantageous, and you just screw them over and kill all their creatures with a crazy block. In actual limited games, that just doesn't happen.
Never works that way. They're not going to attack until it's like
this
card's bad almost.
This usually kills 1 creature maximum.
Yep.
It's really rough.
And it's only on block, so it's like kill target attacking creature that you blocked.
Yeah,
it's
you blocked
very
for 3
bad.
mana. Really bad. Okay, 1 and a white, instant creatures you control gain indestructible and can block any number of creatures until end of turn. So this is very different. This is only really good when you're way behind, and even then it's kind of like a fog. This is...
But you can use it not when they're attacking. This can protect from removal.
Okay.
So it's
I like that
flexible.
a little better. Yeah, it's a little more flexible that way.
It's like, what's the one in a green card? The Heroic Intervention. Doesn't give hexproof, but instead of hexproof, you get the blocking text.
I think this card's mostly bad, but it does do the thing.
Yeah.
So you could play this card and it wouldn't be total trash. I would try not to.
Yep, and I wanted to keep the spirit of Hold the Line a little bit with the way it works. That's all. Yep. But something that you would use more, that would be a lot less situational.
Yeah, you can
I did that with a lot of cards too, is I took cards that were just so situational and tried to make them less situational while keeping their spirit.
I am sad though that this does not beat the board wipe. This looks like it's supposed to beat board wipes. It doesn't beat the board wipe. The only board wipe's Final Judgment, and it exiles all our guys.
Dang, what did you do? Oops.
Conduit of Cleansing Fire, 3 and a white. At the beginning of your upkeep, you gain 2 life for each shrine you control. I fucking hate this card. Sorry.
Oops! Made it 1 less mana.
I hate it still. It's so terrible.
So with the shrines, because it's a whole ass cube and there's only 5 shrines, you're really just not going to see more than one almost ever.
Yeah.
So I made them all to where they keep the same text, but I changed some of their costs so that if it's the only Honden you get, you still might play it. This one is still kind of one of the weakest ones. It's only good if it's stupid good. Otherwise, it's really bad.
Yeah, this is good at the same time as our idiot 2-mana 2/2's
2-mana game one life. Yep, it's the same thing. It's in that ballpark.
And that card's a creature. This one's not.
Yeah, but so they can't kill this one.
Sure.
You don't gotta pay mana either.
Sure, it happens every upkeep. Sure, Johnny.
So that's why it's reduced on mana, because it's like, okay, if it didn't have the shrine text and it was just an enchantment that gained you 2 life every turn, what would we pay for it? Probably 3 mana.
I just wish you did something different.
I wasn't gonna. Their shrine's too famous.
They are pretty famous.
But I did want to make sure that we're playing limited with 617 cards and only 5 shrines.
They're slightly better, yeah.
Slightly better. Oh, I think I only changed 2 of them. The rest of them are exactly the same.
There's a couple of them that were good.
Yeah. So they didn't need to change.
Yeah. Horizon Seed, 4 and a white for a 2/1. Whenever you play a spirit or arcane spell, regenerate target creature. All right. All my homies hate regenerate.
We do.
So I don't think we're regenerating anymore.
We've already seen this card, actually.
Yeah, I know, you told me, but I didn't look at it.
You did the right thing, John. Nate, Johnny. You're Johnny now.
I'm Johnny. This card wasn't good, I don't think.
No,
I think it was really, really bad. So the thing, and the regenerate effect at sorcery speed on your spirits wasn't useful. I think this card's bad.
Yeah, the idea that they probably had was regenerate the creature, attack with it so that if they block it, you can trade and keep your creature. And then if you played an arcane instant, you could save it with an instant.
Yeah, arcane instants look a little better, but at the same time, it's on the board. They know if you have untapped mana, you might be able to do it, so they're not going to waste their removal spell
anymore.
You're
paying, this is the thing about this set, you're paying 5 mana for a 2/1.
Yeah.
That does nothing when you first play it.
Alright, so I'm expecting we're getting indestructible to something, maybe? No, we're doing completely redesigning. Alright,
complete redesign, yep.
Alright, 4 and a white for a spirit, 3/4, or 3/5. Forecast, 1 and a white, reveal this, make a spirit, a 1/1 spirit. Doesn't have flying because that's the thing in this set. Our spirits don't have flying. They're colorless idiots.
That's true for Neon Dynasty as well.
Yeah. Whenever you cast a spirit spell or reveal a spirit card, create a 1/1 spirit like we would with the forecast.
Yep.
I love this card.
Yeah, card's really cool.
Make a 1/1 every turn for 2 mana. I can be down for that. And then whenever it's
trigger
in play,
all your honor and shit.
A 5 mana 3/5 blocks forever, and we also get to do all the 1/1s off of the spells we're casting. I love this card. This card's good.
Yep, really liked it. I turned it from a just what the fuck card to a yeah, I'm picking that instantly.
This is not a high pick, actually. I think this is a medium pick.
Because you want to have the...
I mean, there's just better cards, it seems like, in this set.
True.
Like, this card's pretty good. It blocks well. And that's mostly what it does. It also does the honor triggers pretty well.
Make a wide board, so if you're going to pump or whatever.
Yeah, it could be amazing.
But it is a 3/5 for 5, so it's less aggressive.
Yeah, exactly. I think most of the time this is just a good card.
Cool, perfect. Yeah. Awesome.
100 Talon Kami is a 2/3 5 mana flying soul shift for 5 mana. Yeah, this card's bad.
Was it bad back then too?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It flew, I guess. We just gave it +1/+1 and it got a lot better because soul shift got a lot better.
Yep, soul shift got a lot better, and 3/4 flying for 5 is okay.
Off rate by a little.
It's okay.
Yep, it's okay. Yep, I like this card. I like this card a lot. Soul shift's good. You know.
Soul shift's good now because you can get back instant sorceries. Hooray.
Yep. Under Talon Strike is sick. This card is so sweet because it gives first strike on blocks. This card does the thing that Prismatic Strands does in Pauper. If you've ever played with that card. No.
That's okay. I get it.
White, instant arcane. Target creature gains +1/+0 and gets first strike until end of turn. I switched the word gains and gets, but if you didn't listen. Splice into arcane, tap an untapped white creature you control. So the main thing you would do with this card, block with something while you're tapped out, and tap it to splice this onto whatever you're not while you're tapped out, while you're low tapped. You cast something to do something, you tap your guy, so you don't have to spend extra mana to get it first strike, so you like
free.
2 for 1 them, yeah.
Yep.
Amazing. But not that amazing. 1 mana to do it is also okay. What's okay?
I'm just checking the stream to make sure everything's
cool.
It's good. Everything's good.
All right, cool.
We kept it very similar.
Because this card is actually pretty weak, even though I just said it was amazing, by the way.
But it's cool you can do that.
It's just so cool.
This is better.
This one's better, he says. All right, 1 and a white now instead of 1 mana. That sounds worse. Tribal Instant Spirit. If you control planes, wow, more subject.
I know, it's getting worse. How's it getting worse?
It keeps getting worse. Target creature gets +2/+2. Oh, there it is. It gains first strike until end of turn. Splice onto instant or sorcery instead of arcane, and you still tap the untapped creature, but it doesn't have to be white.
But it doesn't have to be white.
Yeah, I like this card a lot better. It does the same kind of thing. You splice and get bigger, though. Instead of being +1/+0 first strike, it's +2/+2 first strike. Love that.
Win way more combats this way.
2 mana +2/+2 first strike is a normal combat trick.
Yep, in white.
Limited. We like those. They are always fine.
And we have the added text of Spirit and Splice.
Yep, so it got a lot better. So I think this card's just a average combat trick for this set, and I like it.
Yep, me too. I think it'll play well. It won't be a high pick or anything, but if you're going, oh, I'm aggressive, so I want combat tricks as my interaction,
This
boom,
one's a great
here we
one.
are.
Yeah.
We saw this already earlier.
Indebted Samurai, yep. 3 and a white for a Bushido 1, 2, 3. And whenever a samurai you control is put into a graveyard from play, you put a counter on this guy. This card was not great.
It's just
pretty weak
not
overall.
enough samurai support. So
you're not going to build a
getting
samurai deck is the thing.
That's
you might have some samurai in your deck, but like you're not going to have a samurai deck.
And so the card's bad, generally.
Yep. New one I think is awesome. It's a 3 and a white for a 2/2, and honor. Whenever the creature enters the battlefield, you control it gets a +1/+1 counter. So it still does the counters from before, but we get it at a much higher rate.
And we get it on any creature, not just samurai, and it's when the ETBs instead of dies.
Tokens as well.
A lot of stuff going on. This card is a lot better.
Yeah, this card is just real good in my opinion. It's I don't know if you guys have ever played with cards that are
Cathar's
like
Crusade.
I'm just talking about
Sweat.
creatures that do get bigger over time, like the Unruly Mob style cards. Those ones creatures have to die,
but they're still
2
really
mana
good.
1/1, and that card's amazing.
Yep.
And this card is just that, but like doubled and way better because it's
Costs a lot more mana, but damn it, it's just better in a lot of ways.
Yeah, they're a really good card. Really good card.
Yep.
Indomitable Will. I've heard of this card. I've played with this card.
It's in a lot of sets.
Pretty cool. 1 and a white. You may play it anytime you can play an instant, and creature gets +1/+2. So the last time this was printed was in the most recent Theros, I think, and it was amazing there because Flash gives you Constellation
triggers. Yep.
So sweet. And then Flash is also going to give it the ability to win win combats. So you didn't change it.
So we didn't change it.
Yep. Still a cool card.
It's not super strong in this set, but I liked the card. I thought it was kind of iconic because it's been reprinted so many times in sets where it's more interesting.
Yeah.
So I just thought I'd keep it. It's probably not that strong.
Yeah, I would probably have hoped for something different, but it just still does what it does.
It's one of those situations where it's really hard to choose to change it because of the history that it has.
Yeah, and
so it will be weak most likely, but it's okay.
It has some good stat lines for it in this set, I think, like flyers, but like a 3/1 flyer turns into a 4/3. That's a lot better. It interacts with other creatures a lot better with that extra toughness.
It's more likely to play like a medium combat trick, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm thinking a low pick combat trick, but it's also still a combat trick.
Right.
If you're still aggressive, this could be really good for you, and it also does still stick around. It's an aura, you know.
The previous one was probably the previous combat trick was better, but this one, it sticks around, so it's gonna.
Yeah, it could be good. Okay, 2 mana, 0/2, Bushido 2, Human Samurai, Inner Chamber Guard. This card, it does what Bushido was supposed to do, I think.
Blocks really well.
Yeah, blocks really well, and that's it. I think that might be what Bushido was supposed to do, because that is what it did.
Yeah.
So it does that, I guess. It's fine. It's not good. New one is a 1/1 instead of a 0/2, which I like. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. This, in an honor deck, is going to be a pretty good attacker. And that's pretty much it. So this is going to be, for a curve out deck, this card might even be like a 3rd, 4th, 5th pick. This could be really necessary for your honor decks to actually function.
It's
so well.
As opposed to some of the other honor cards we've seen before, it's the real on-off switch. It's really like you need, like, if you're doing it, it's rewarding you. But
if you're not, it's
when
trash.
you're not, it's absolute dog trash.
Yeah, most of the other ones are like just below rate, whereas this one's very below rate without the honor. So I like it a lot, but it's probably only good in one deck, you know.
Yep.
All right, 3 white for 2 and a. It's an Innocence Kami. It's 3 white for a 2/3 spirit. White, tap target creature. Whenever you play a spirit or arcane spell, untap it. This card is expensive, but the set was pretty slow, so I think it was pretty good at the time. You always tap 1 creature, and sometimes you tap 2.
Yep.
I don't have to pay the white anymore. It is a 2/4 instead. It is 2 and 2 white instead of 3 and 2 white. And then it changes the way that we do the spells, because, you know, we change how we do the spells. I think this card's great. Like, really good, actually.
Yep.
Like, we've had some expensive tappers recently, because it used to be tappers were mostly very cheap. We've had some expensive tappers recently in Limited. AFR had one. And they've been weaker than the cheap ones, but still very useful.
Yep. This one, I think, is a little bit stronger than what we've been seeing, just because it doesn't cost mana to use.
Yeah.
And you can repeat it, so it's got a lot of text going on. So I do believe this will be powerful.
Yeah.
But
I think actually,
still
particularly in the very aggressive decks, I like it.
Yep.
Because you can tap down. Like, the big thing about tappers always has been.
Yep.
The big thing about tappers has always been you can tap a creature on their turn, untap, tap another creature on your turn, and then attack. Well, this can do that and more.
Tap an extra. Yeah. Yep. And it can attack. It's another thing. Yeah. It could attack when it taps as well.
Right. Because you can cast a spell and then attack with it.
I bet you can't guess what I did with this one.
Isamaru, Hound of Konda, is white for a 2/2 legendary creature hound. Probably kept it the same.
Damn,
How about that? It's a cool
sick.
card. It's iconic.
Actually, I nerfed it. I took off his flavor text.
Wow, big nerf.
That's huge nerf.
All right. Kabuto Moth.
Oh, how good is it?
Isamaru is fine. 1 mana with 2/2. It's only good in the honor deck, but, you know, we like it in the honor deck.
Yep.
2 and a white, 1/2, flying. Target creature gets, or tap, target creature gets +1/+2 until end of turn. Kabuto Moth was actually a really big staple in the Limited of this format. It was really awkward.
Yep.
I hate it.
It's a weird card.
It's a really weird card.
So, something that Mark Rosewater goes over a lot in his podcast is that this kind of effect is no longer put at common for a reason, because it makes combat math impossible.
Yeah, that's
because
the big thing about
instant
this card.
speed giving pumps means any one of your creatures at any given time can have +1/+2.
Yeah, so this card was really good because of that. So blocking whenever you had this card in play became like you couldn't lose half the time, and then you could also attack with it, and it would trigger your ninjutsu stuff, or you could just like make great attacks with it because it's flying. You know, it had all the things you needed for that Limited, but that Limited was also bad. So. Flying Vigilance now for a 1/1, 1 and a white. Another target spirit gains +1/+1 until end of turn on tap. So it only hits spirits. So it did get nerfed. This card is worse than the old version, but I do quite like it. Being 2 mana for a Flying Vigilance 1/1 works with our ninjutsus. You know, still all that stuff.
And you can attack and pump another spirit, but
it does say another.
keeps
So
it to
can't become a
spirit though.
2/2.
Yeah, it keeps it to spirits. Makes it fit into design spaces better, in my opinion.
Yeah, this card has chances of being better than old Kabuto Moth because it can be 2 power on attacks. You know. Because it attacks and taps to give your other guy +1/+1.
Yep.
But mostly I think it's worse. But that's okay.
Yep, exactly. Yep. Yeah, what makes the original one good is the shenanigans that happens.
Yeah.
Poor Isamaru.
Yeah,
Thanks, Trent.
Okay, 1 and a white for a 2/2 spirit, sacrifice Kami of Ancient Law, destroy target of enchantment. There have been a lot of riffs on this card since it came out.
This is the first one.
This is the first time this kind of card was ever made. A disenchant on a stick that you had to sacrifice to make it happen. This only hit enchantments. There have been a lot that hit both, or just artifacts now.
But the card was good.
The card is just good. That effect is just good.
It's a 2/2 for 2, and it has great flexibility of killing things that you normally can't kill very easily.
Yeah, and nowadays these cards get worse because, well, 2/2 for 2 is worse than it used to be.
Yeah, exactly. But we didn't change it. It's a spirit.
like it.
You can get it back with Soul Shift. That's cool.
That was what it was good for in the old set too. It was a good Soul Shift target.
How many enchantments are you trying to kill per game?
That's the problem. Is I don't
One,
think there's that
right? So you kill one enchantment, then
And
get
now
your
we got a
creature
2/2.
back.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
So it'll be just as good as it was before, probably.
Yeah, probably similar. Maybe a little bit worse because 2/2 for 2
2/2
is
is not
worse.
as good, and a lot of my other stuff is buffed. And,
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll see. Kami of also.
Yeah. Is that true? Is that
This
true?
card is so bonkers. This card has just too many combos, especially with Soul Shift effects. In limited, so I told you fogs are sometimes just game winning. This one is not, because they always know it's there. Whenever you play it, it's in play. They got to deal with it. But it still does slow the game way down if you need it to. It can cause combat tricks to be terrible. You just sacrifice this to remove their combat trick, because you attack into their combat trick, they block, they combat trick you, and you're like, I'll lose my 1/1.
Just kidding.
I'll lose my 1/1.
Yeah. And it's a 1/1
Yeah.
for 1. So it's cheap. You Soul Shift it, play it again, or you return it with sweep.
Easy. Getting Soul Shifted easy is super nice for it. Returning it with sweep will be great.
So I didn't change it.
All right, yeah, this card's good. I like it.
Yep.
Kami Goldstone, you showed us what the changes earlier, but 3 and a white for a 1/7 with no text, Spirit.
Oof. Big stone wall, clearly, but not very good.
Yeah, we like blocking in this set, and it blocks.
This
I guess.
set, yeah, back in the old one, there was a lot of slowness. You were trying to gum up the ground, make nothing happen for a long time, and this could do that.
And then draw your Moloku, you know.
And draw whatever your bomb was, whether it's a dragon or a Moloku or whatever.
Yeah.
Or your Moloku.
Or your Moloku.
It could be your Moloku.
Or your Ubisoft shit.
Or your Jite, yeah. Jite. So anyway, it's big change time.
Big change. So it's still a 4-mana 1/7 Spirit. It just got more text.
A lot of it.
Whenever it enters the battlefield, you create a 1/1 Spirit token. We like ETBs. It's not a super high impact one for 4 mana, but we still like ETBs, especially since 1/7 isn't that bad. It's just bad. Soul Shift 3 on it as well, even though it won't die very often, is just more addition. This card doesn't mesh with itself very well, but it has a lot of branching paths that it can take, depending on what deck you're playing.
Yep. Yes. Just post the link to the deck list in the Discord, and I'll look at it later.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. So I thought that, I think this card works well. It's interesting, but it's also like awkward in a fun way. And as we'll get into later, there are sacrifice ways. So you can sacrifice your Soul Shift. So if you're worried about not being able to have a 1/7 die,
This is another one I don't think was especially well designed, but I don't think it's bad design either. It's just something.
Sure.
It's just something. Kami of Tattered Shoji is a 4 and a white 2/5 Spirit. Whenever you play a Spirit or Arcane spell, it gains flying until end of turn. That's why it looks like it kind of has flying, even though it doesn't.
Yeah.
All right, this card sucks.
Yeah.
It's 5 mana 2/5. Like, ugh. And it only has flying when it attacks. Terrible. We got it.
All right, here's our first multicolor.
We gave it a second color. Oh.
Okay, so in this set, or in this block, there are, for every color combination, there are 2 cards that were changed into it. So one from white, for this one, got changed into blue-white, and one from blue got changed into blue-white.
And that's true for every color combination.
That's true for every color combination. So there are 20 more multicolored cards than there were before, and they are all sort of there to build out the some of the themes. They're not as close to signpost uncommons as normal sets these days have, but they are kind of built to work with the major themes still.
Just because there's too many themes, I think, to get a signpost for this set, because it's too big of a set. The original block did not have any 2-colored cards at all.
Yep,
It had one 5-colored card as its multicolored card, and that was it.
And no other multicolors.
So this will be a lot more interesting, in my opinion. I love multicolored cards.
So let's go over this board.
All right, 3 white and a blue for a 4/4. That says whenever you cast a spirit spell or reveal a spirit card, return or target creature you control gains flying until end of turn, not return. Okay, so you get flying on something.
Yep.
It can target itself.
Yes.
Yes, it can target itself to give flying to anything instead of just getting it for itself.
Yep.
It can target one of your friends, whatever.
Yep.
Forecast is white or blue. Reveal it. Target creature gains flying. Does the same kind of thing, but you can only get it in your upkeep, so it's pretty weak, that forecast.
Yep.
So you're mostly only going to use the forecast
to trigger
if you have
all of your
other creatures that have the whenever you reveal a spirit card thing.
And it's cheap to do, so that's where you're using it.
Mostly.
You don't care that much about the flying, though it'll be helpful sometimes, but the flying, or it's mostly supposed to be a very cheap forecast that you can use without cutting into your mana for the turn too much.
It's 5 mana 4/4, gives flying to things. This card's great.
Yep, can give itself flying. Perfect. You're going to like it.
Yeah. Kami of the Honored Dead, the 7 mana creature. 5 white, 3/5, Soul Shift 6, and flying spirit. Whenever Kami of the Honored Dead is dealt damage, you gain that much life. So it has a weird gain life effect
Yeah,
that it
like
wants to get
reverse
hit.
lifelink. It gets hit and gains you life.
Which you like, you block like a 10-10 or something, you gain 10 life and you get to Soul Shift 6. Sweet. We paid 7 mana for a 3/5 flying. We don't like doing that. The Soul Shift effects, by the way, the reason they did a certain way, the numbers, if for almost all of them, all but one, I leave all but one.
All but one.
Okay, the big one, your CMC up in the top, for you guys, up in that corner, would have to be one more than your Soul Shift cost. So you can only bring back things that were smaller than you. They didn't want you to be able to bring back, like, have a loop of 2 of the same card or whatever, or one of the same card or whatever. So they made sure to Soul Shift all the way down only.
Yep.
Which I think was a poor way to design that. They could have gone with another. They could have figured something else out.
No, I actually like this. I prefer you can only go downward.
It just sucks because in order to get a good Soul Shift, you had to make a 7 mana 3/5 flyer, in their opinion.
You could have just made this card better.
Yeah, you're right.
So here we are.
Right. So we made it better.
It is the black-white multicolor card.
All right, so it's still 7 mana, but this time it's 5 white and a black for a 5/5 flying and lifelink. So the thing, but it also still gains life when it gets dealt damage too. So you're going to gain a lot of life when this is in combat every time. And Soul Shift 6. So this card is 7 mana for a 5/5 flying lifelink. It really depends what kind of deck you're building. Slow decks will be pretty happy to play this. I don't know how slow black-white is in this format, but Soul Shift 6 is obviously huge as well. I don't know. This card looks like it would be low pick rate, high power.
Yep. That's what I think of it as well. I think that what it's doing is it's not actually that great unless you are the slow deck. Like, it's not just like, because like you could play a tempo aggro whatever deck with a 7-drop that ends the game. This is not that. This is not ending the game unless your opponent cares a lot about racing.
Yeah, that's what I was say. Is like this card gets you back in the game instantly.
It's like Baneslayer in that way, right?
Yes, exactly. It just happens to be 7 mana instead of 5, so it's kind of rough. Actually, pretty rough in my opinion. That's why I'm like saying pretty low pick rate. You have to be able to slow the game down a lot.
It's you want to get here against those aggressive decks, and if you're not against an aggressive deck, it's a little bit worse. It's just a worse card in that situation.
It's also a trigger on the deal damage to itself. So if they are going to deal you lethal and the lifelink on it isn't enough to save you, you still die.
Yes, you still do.
That doesn't matter whether this card's good or not. That's just something to take note of.
Yep. All right, I think we got over that.
Kami of the Painted Road, 4 and a white. This is the one I think it is. 3/3. Whenever if you play a Spirit or Arcane spell, it gains protection from the color of your choice until turn. Yeah, this card sucks. Like real bad. I don't want to talk about it. It's just bad.
Yeah,
it's just bad. 4 and a white for a 4/4 now. With forecast 1 and a white. Reveal it from your hand. Target creature gains protection from the color of your choice until turn. Love that effect. It is just really not as good as it looks though.
Yeah.
Which I love.
It's forecast. Sorcery speed.
Sorcery speed.
Makes
only in your upkeep. Like yeah. But whenever it's in play, you can do it same effect anytime you cast a spirit or reveal a spirit card. So that's more what you want to do with this card. You want to play it. It's a 5 mana 4/4. That card sits in play. It's okay. It's pretty nice to have a 4/4 in play unlimited. We've got a few of them in this set though. I think.
Totally.
And then whenever you instant speed cast something.
Oh, the mana curve is I did the math.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you can. So the program I use, Magic Set Editor, you can actually like math everything out. It's really great.
Yeah, so, cool. So whenever you're going to cast your instant speed spirits, you're going to be very happy with being able to protect stuff. Again, though, like we were talking about before with one of the other effects, they will know you have the ability to do it, so they're less likely to just waste removal whenever you have open mana, but it's still strong to threaten that in limited. That's a just good thing to do. I like this card a lot.
Totally. It's a good card.
Kami the Palace Field, 6 mana, 5 and a white for a 3/2 flying first strike Soul Shift 5. Again, one of those high mana so they can get a big Soul Shift, weak flying creatures that is just like, I don't know, real bad. We just made it better somehow. It gave it another ability. Oh, 5 and a white for a 3/3 this time, flying first strike Vigilance Soul Shift 5. Still very bad in my opinion.
Yep, I believe that.
It got slightly better. I never want to.
First strike blockers are good. First strike blockers are always good.
Especially like at 3 power. You know, it's fine.
Yeah.
The Vigilance is nice. The Vigilance is what makes it. Flying Vigilance is just a really good combo because you're able to like get in there when they have a good board and they can't always get back on you because you can block with the Vigilance creature. I do like it. It's still not good.
Yep, totally. Yeah, and I'm fine with that.
Yep. Card sucks. Kentucky Wars Wage, 1 and a white for a 2/1. This card is iconic as heck. It is not good in Kamigawa.
I'm not going to collect it. I just couldn't change it.
All right, whatever. All artifacts have an upkeep cost of paying 1, or you have to sacrifice them.
I do think that this one was one that you could argue I should have changed.
Yeah.
But it's like one of like 3 cards from this block that sees fuck tons of play.
Yeah.
It was hard for me to justify changing one of those cards.
Yeah, you're never playing this card in limited if you don't have to. Like it's a 2 mana 2/1, and in that format
I will tell you,
playable.
Most of the artifacts are good now.
Yeah, but like all they have to do is pay 1 to keep it. Like they're gonna if it's good.
Sure, no, you're right.
It's just terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can always take this out of the cube if you think that it's not worth putting in there.
Yeah.
But when I was going through and redesigning everything, there are cards like this that I didn't think deserved redesigns. So, and that's where kind of that conflict comes in, where it's like, I'm redesigning this to be a cube, but some of these cards don't deserve redesigns because they should stay the way they are. So I didn't redesign them.
I think they were aware of Mirrodin when making this card and decided they just wanted a Mirrodin hate card essentially, so they put it in the set.
Yep.
You know, whatever.
It works.
Kentaro the Smiling Cat is a 1 and a white legendary creature human samurai 2/1 with Bushido 1. You may pay X rather than pay the mana cost for samurai spells you play, where X is that spell's converted mana cost. So you are able to cast samurai spells for colorless mana, or any mana.
So it's mana fixing, essentially,
mana fixing
for
on
samurais.
this card with a 2/1 Bushido 1 for 2. This card's fine. It shouldn't be a rare.
Samurais, though, like, no one's playing them.
Again, samurai is the only way it helps. Like,
You just, I mean... So anyway, we changed it.
Alright, 1 and a white for a 2/1. Honor. Whenever another creature is battlefield under your control, add a colorless mana to your mana pool. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast creature spells. This card is very good. I don't know what else to say. Like, this card, I think... So...
Still got the honor trigger, still...
It does the same as the green one we were talking about earlier.
Yep.
It's not as good as you would hope for an honor trigger, because making mana after you pay some mana to put a creature into play is weaker than it could be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like there's a card from Kaldheim. It's a legendary creature. Can't remember her name. Bergie. Whenever you cast a spell, you get a red.
You get a red after the spell's cast.
Yeah, it's just in context. It's rare that it comes up that it matters, and you're happy to have it.
Yeah.
So the honor on this creature, I think, will do that a lot as well. But it is mana fixing, so it helps with a 4 or 5 color deck, or 3 color deck even, if you need to. So.
I think a lot of times the honor abilities that make mana like that, like the green one before, are going to only be good early whenever you can add steps to your curve out. If it actually
on
works
turn,
out.
like you play this on turn 3, and then on turn, or you play
or
this
if
on
you're
turn
comboing,
Yeah, you make some
like
weird
make a
combos.
bunch of tokens or something.
This you play on turn 2, and you play 2 more 2-drops on turn 3 is a possibility.
Yeah.
And in the honor deck, with how many cheap creatures it's going to have, it might be okay, but it's just rarely going to come up, I think.
Right. Yep.
All right, Kitsune Blade Master, 2 and a white for a 2/2 first strike Bushido 1.
Sure. I mean,
it's terrible.
As far
better than a lot of the other ones.
It's better than a lot of the other Bushidos because it's got that blocking first strike that gets bigger.
Yeah, and it also attacks like better than some. I don't know. It's not one. It's not a 1/1. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Now it's a 2 and a white for a 2/2 first strike with honor. When a creature enters the battlefield, it gets +1/+1 until turn. Which we had a bunch of Bushidos just turn into honors, the same effect, and I have been okay with most of them. This one I'm also just okay with. A 3/3 first strike on attacks is pretty alright. Lestar's hits for 3 damage, and theirs didn't.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're being aggressive. But, first strike is a powerful blocking ability, so I didn't want to go too hard on it.
Yeah, and again, so I think a lot of honor effects are going to be pretty interesting with Ninjutsu. I particularly like this one. First strikers you're not happy to block them half the time. So this one can get through and turn into a ninjutsu even without any honor triggers. Whereas also you can ninjutsu your other guy whenever this one's blocked. Put it into a 3/3. Hey, look at me.
Got him. Yep. It'll play really well that way.
Yeah. Kitsune Bones Setter. 2 and a white for a 0/1. Great. Tap.
Thanks, Kamigawa.
Prevent the next 3 damage that will be dealt to target creature this turn. Play this ability only if you have more cards in hand than each opponent. Man, this card is so much of a nightmare.
No.
First off,
this is
it's
not
a 0/1. It's a 0/1. Great. Cool. It prevents damage to our creatures.
We've been over why that sucks.
So it's not gaining us life either because you can't target to yourself.
No.
And then you have to compare your hand to theirs to make it even happen. Man, there's so much wrong with this card.
There's so much wrong with this card. And also, it's like instant speed, so it makes all combat awkward if it is active.
Yeah, if this card's good, it's really annoying.
Yeah, it's so awkward. So anyway,
Not that. Okay. 2/3 for 2 and a white. 2 and a white now as its activated ability as well. To return target creature from that creature card that died this turn from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate this ability only if you have 6 or more cards in hand. Being expensive is good because this effect can be extremely
very
strong.
powerful. Yep.
Especially, I'm gonna like the situations where you're sitting at like 7 cards. This isn't gonna be common, but I'm liking it.
Totally.
You do a slam attack. You lose your second best creature because they can block it, right?
Yeah.
You just play this and bring it back.
Yeah.
Like they didn't even know it was in your hand. Like you're just like.
Boom boom.
But then also when this is in play, they know to block and attack differently.
Yep.
Which is, I think it'll make games pretty complex whenever you have 6 cards in hand.
To note, more stuff we haven't seen yet. Black and red decks have sacrifice synergies, so you can use this in those if you're playing those.
Sure. I like that a lot. I think that card's probably not very good.
Oh, totally. Yeah, it's a 2/3 for 3. It's just doing that.
Yep.
Just have an extra text on your 2/3 for 3.
You want to start reading them?
Yeah, absolutely. So Kitsune Dawnblade is a 4 and a white for a creature. Fox Samurai 2/3 has Bushido 1, and whenever it comes into play, you may tap target creature. This card is in. It's bad and better than it looks. So it's really bad, but it's also a little bit better than it looks. There's a reason why they put it at 5 mana instead of less. For its time, it's because being able to tap stuff immediately is a strong aggressive play.
Yeah.
But it's way overcosted. Even if it was a 3/4 for 5, it's still just like, ugh.
Yep.
It probably actually saw play a little bit, but for the most part, it's really bad.
Yeah, it did, but it was bad.
New version?
New version is 2 and a white for a 2/2. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, tap target creature you don't control. So this is the same thing, but way better because we're getting it every time we honor. Mm-hmm. This card is maybe busted. Probably not. Probably just very good.
Yep.
We've had cards that whenever they attack, they tap things, and this is probably going to happen just as often. Mm-hmm. You'll tap the thing every turn whenever you play a creature, but you do have to have creatures to play to make it good. So there are just the main thing about this is there will be turns where you'll play 2 or 3 creatures somehow.
Tap more than one
and
thing.
you'll just go jamming.
Absolutely, and you don't have to attack with it, so it's not putting itself in vulnerability.
Yeah, this is slightly high pick rate. Pick 4,
I like it.
Probably.
Yep. Turn this bad card into this good card.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Kitsune Diviner is a 0/1 for white that has tap target spirit. Less situational than you might think because of how many spirits are in the set.
And how good spirits were.
Kind of annoying that this card is either pretty darn good or pretty darn trash.
Yeah.
And I hate that kind of design because cards that punish your opponent for playing a certain way aren't fun whenever the card is like this. It's just not fun when it's like this. It's fun whenever it's like a sideboard card that you can like work properly, not whenever it's I don't know. You'll see. Anyway, instead I changed it to something very similar. But I made it to where it's not punishing you when your opponent doesn't play spirits. So it's a 1/1 for 1 that has tap target spirit, or 2 and a white tap any creature.
All right.
That way, yeah. Yep, you like this card. It's probably it's as playable as it looks, honestly. If you play these kinds of things.
So like you're obviously if you're playing against spirits, it's amazing. The tappers are always good when they're cheap. But then pay mana to tap creature is also okay. Usually at 1 or 2 mana to tap it. At 3 mana, it's a lot weaker. Like a lot weaker.
Yep.
But it being still useful is pretty big. I think this card is low pick.
Yeah.
And sometimes amazing.
Could be a sideboard card in that way.
Could be a
but I didn't like how I don't know. I don't like I don't like the old style of designing them that way. I like the new style of this way.
Yeah, 1/1s are better than 0/1s do.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Who knew?
Kitsune Healer, 3 and a white for a 2/2 that has tap, prevent the next 1 damage that would be dealt to target creature or player this turn, or tap, prevent all damage that would be dealt to target legendary creature this turn. This is doing 2 things. It's a legendary thing, or it's preventing this damage. We hate preventing. Here, all my homies hate preventing damage. So obviously the card I have isn't doing that. And also this is a good example of another card that has really low power and toughness for the cost that you're paying. So instead, it is now 3 and a white. Actually, you should read the new ones. I'll read the old ones.
Okay, sure.
Let's do that.
3 and a white for a 3/4. Whenever it enters the battlefield, another target creature gains indestructible until its turn. You gain life equal to that creature's power. I like this card a lot. The indestructible thing is pretty weak because it's obviously usually going to be sorcery speed, almost always. You do have the flicker abilities that we have around that we can make it happen at instant speed sometimes and be really tricky and cool. But most of the time, you're just like making sure this guy can't die in a combat, which mostly doesn't do anything. The gain life is good. We like gaining life sometimes whenever we're on a 3/4 for 4, especially. This card, I'd say, is very weak, but not like as in you designed it wrong, not as in it is bad, as in I'm just not picking this very often.
Exactly. It's really only giving you the ability to attack. But
this is filler.
It's where it shines is going to be where you're racing, where you and your opponent are both thinking you're both the aggressor, and this is going to do really well in that
And we
situation.
attacked with like our 4/1 that's now indestructible. We're like,
Game 4 live. Now the race is all mine.
Yeah.
Kitsune Lore Weaver is 1 and a white for a 2/1 that has 1 and a white. It gets +X/+O until end of turn where X the number of cards in your hand.
+O/+X.
+O/+X. Oh my god. So this card's really bad, but in its limited, since it was a 2/1 for 2, it was probably playable because it was like sometimes not dying to combat. It's probably a decent blocker, like so many cards were trying to be.
That's what I'd say. Yeah, it was pretty bad, and you just have to play it sometimes.
Yeah. Back then, 2 power 2 drop is kind of. If you were looking to do anything before the late game, you would play cards like this.
And threat of activation is really nice. It can attack into a 2/2.
Yep, and your opponent's like, well, I can't block that.
Yeah.
So, but the new version
is a 1 and a white 2/2 for that has as long as you have 6 or more cards in your hand, creatures you control get +0/+1, and have vigilance. It's a pretty good payoff for having 6 or more cards in hand, especially since I still think it's going to be pretty tough, even though we have ways to make it happen. We still have to try.
Yeah.
Pretty hard. So vigilance on all your creatures is really useful. The extra +0/+1 will definitely matter, especially on a 2-mana 2/2. I like this card a lot.
Yep. I wanted to fit it into sort of the surviving with toughness thing.
I think it'll be usually filler, and when you're playing a deck that feels like you can usually get to 6 cards in hand, it'll be pretty good.
Yep. All right, the Kitsune Mystic was a 2/3 for 3 and a white Fox Wizard. At the end of your turn, if it is enchanted by 2 or more enchantments, flip it, and it turns into Autumntail Kitsune Sage, which is a 4/5 that has 1 move target enchantment enchanting a creature to another creature. Lets you move around all the stuff on the battlefield with auras. The thing is there were some auras, like an okay amount, but really not enough to make this actually work very often.
Yeah, I don't think it looks good at all. I think I would just never play that card if I could avoid it. The new one is really pretty. I like this all blued out.
Shut up.
Just sorry, the arts are funny this way.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 and a white for a 2/3 vigilance Fox Wizard. At the beginning of your end step, if it is enchanted by 2 or more auras, transform it still. So I'm kind of wary on it because it's still kept that, even though auras aren't that common.
Yep, but we did it just because it was similar to some of the other cards. Can I do this?
Yeah.
And then your payoff.
Payoff is 4/5 vigilance, Autumntail Kitsune Sage. 1 and a white as an ability to attach target aura card in a graveyard or on the battlefield to target creature. That is better.
Turns on your aura removal. Makes you want to play your aura removal.
What aura removal?
Cage of Hands, or the blue one that keeps things tapped, or...
Okay, so like even if they sacrifice them, then you can bring it back, I guess. Usually it's staying on the battlefield, though.
Yeah, well, you can move it to bigger stuff. Just that kind of thing. But if it went away, you know...
Yeah, this card I still don't like.
No, totally, yeah. I think it just was one that I was like, I think that it's interesting if you can try and let it happen. The thing is it's like, the other option I have for this is lean into a different archetype, but I have plenty of things for a lot of those other archetypes. Yeah. So letting there be enough of these kinds of cards in there makes it a more interesting format to play.
Yeah, and like you said, something that's very funny about this card is you can enchant Kitsune Mystic, the small version, with a removal spell if you need
and then
to.
It
and
flips,
then move it right afterwards.
And then move it afterward. Yep,
yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, Kitsune Palliator, 2 and a white for 0/2. God, they do this. They be doing this.
They hate us.
Tap. Prevent the next 1 damage that we dealt to each creature and each player this turn. This
What?
Card, it's so
The card
weird.
is so bad!
Why did they do this?
So it prevents the damage to
The
their guys
dudes
too.
Yeah.
I hate this.
Why do they play? Why do they make these cards?
I didn't know this card existed.
Yeah. So this card, not interesting, not playable, not good, annoying because math. So instead we made it
2 and a white for a 2/1 flash. Whenever it enters the battlefield, all permanents gain indestructible until end of turn. So we're still helping their guys like we would have in the first place.
Yep.
So it's kind of a combat-based fog sometimes, and at other times you were supposed to stop board wipes. You're supposed to stop board wipes, but you don't.
Because of the one board wipe. But it stops removal still.
Yeah.
The idea was that I wanted to... First of all, I wanted to feed into the idea that this was going for where everyone gets the same buff, so it's not
Right.
One-sided. And what it will do in combat then is make it to where you're not winning combats, you're just not losing shit.
Yep.
That's the idea.
So a combat where you, I think this is going to be best usually in a combat where you're
chump blocking.
Either your opponent is supposed to be board wiping you with their attack, they think, and then you just not, or you're on the attacks yourself and they don't have as many creatures to block you, so they're going to try to eat 1 or 2 of your creatures with bigger blocks, and you're
and
like,
you
no,
just care about
but I
getting
still
through
get
some
through
of the
for
damage.
like 3 damage.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah,
Seems
it's
decent, not high pick,
playable,
but
yeah,
playable, yeah.
It's fine.
Kitsune Riftwalker is 1 white for a 2/1, protection from spirits and arcane. Actually sure this was pretty good in its limited, but again, like a lot of other cards, it was a horrible or great situation, because either a lot of your opponent's deck couldn't touch it and you were just getting in while they were sitting there doing nothing, or you have this 2/1 for 3 you played and you are sad about it.
Yeah, you definitely said it right. Yep.
I'm sure you picked it actually though, but it's just bad. I don't like this kind of design.
There were quite a bit of cards in that set that were like the best things out of the board.
Yeah.
And this is one of them.
Yep.
So now it's 1 and 2 white for a 2/1 protection from spirits. Whenever it enters the battlefield, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end turn. We got a good ETB for our honor effects, as well as for our ninjas and all that other stuff that we've got to return our hand. The sweep. This is great.
It works in a similar space as me buffing the stats of a lot of cards, because a lot of old cards were like, this serves a single purpose. And I wanted to turn those into cards that served more than one purpose. This is surely an anti-spirits card, but it's actually, you just never would just pick this anti-spirits card in this current version of it, but you would pick a board pump card.
So this card's, in my opinion, in this set, pretty good. Like, 5th, 6th pick without the protection from spirits. And the protection of spirits might be unnecessary, and I might not like it.
Fair enough.
Just like feel bads. I don't know.
Totally understandable. Totally
good card though. Good card.
Yeah, I mean you can see why I kept it though.
Yeah.
But maybe it shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Totally. Kyomoro, first to stand. 3 white for a star. The power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in your hand. As long as you have 4 more cards in hand, it has vigilance, and as long as you have 7 or more cards in hand, it has lifelink. Or well, not really. Whenever it deals damage, you gain 7 life. It's a good card. This is the kind of card you wanted in this limited because you wanted a big hand.
I had one in my pre-release. It was really good.
Yeah, it just does its thing. There is one of these for each color, but I changed a lot of them.
Kyomoro first to stand is now 2 white for a star, whose power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in your hand. So we're still in the same area.
Yep.
As long as you have 6 or more cards in your hand, it has vigilance. But if you have 7 or more, it's got lifelink. Baby.
So what we did here is we took away a mana and made it harder to get the better stuff on it. Just because like having a lot of cards in your hand is decently easy in this set without, and the changes I've made have made it easier to do it without losing.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make it easier to play this card though. 5 mana is kind of annoying, but just make the abilities harder to get to.
So I think this card is worse than the old one. I know the 4 mana for the star is much better than the 5 mana. I actually just lied to you. It's better. But I think the 4 to 6 change is huge, actually. I think not getting vigilance as early is huge.
Yep, I did that on purpose.
Yeah, it's going to be like a 4/4 most of the time. 4 mana 4/4 we love. We love it limited.
Yep, and if you can do the thing to get more cards in your hand, it's bigger and good.
It's bad in aggressive decks. That's pretty big, actually, because white's pretty aggressive.
Yep,
so,
that's on purpose.
Yeah, that's all I look at.
All right, Kanda, Lord of Aganjo, is 5 white for a 3/3. Vigilance. Bushido 5. It's got vigilance though, so it actually makes more sense in this card, and it's indestructible. So this is the point of Kanda. It's actually kind of flavorful too. Is you just keep attacking and always fighting, always blocking and always attacking with this card. Every time it gets in combat, it's winning and it's never dying, and that fits because this guy is like a warmonger and he's always going to battle with things and trying to kill people, and
yep.
He's the bad guy of the set.
OG Kanda, if you ever landed it, was really freaking annoying. Really hard to deal with, completely like the worst. I did a flashback draft of this at one point, and somebody landed a Kanda, and I was like, well, I guess I lose. It doesn't actually work that way, but like for that match it did.
Yeah.
New one is now 1 less mana. It is 4 white for a 3/3 indestructible vigilance, so still the same keywords there. And its honor is +5/+5 instead of its Bushido. Now that is very strong.
yeah.
But at the same time, not that strong. Because the Bushido on blocks being an 8/8 meant they could never attack. That was what made Kanda so annoying. So you could not attack with non-flyers.
Because they would all die.
And that is not the case for this card. It does not. It blocks as in it chumps well, as in it doesn't die when it chumps.
Right.
It just gets in the way. But it doesn't kill things as much on blocks anymore. Because generally speaking, honor is just going to be on your turn. But it attacks really well because now it can hit for 8 damage or more instead of just 3.
Yep.
This card's also 6 mana. I think this card's pretty good. I don't think it's a bomb. I think it's just pretty good.
It's pretty good. There you go. Yep. That's what we wanted out of it. Kanda's Hatamoto is 1 and a white for a 1/2. Bushido 1. So sometimes a 2/3. As long as you control a legendary samurai, it gets +1/+2 and has vigilance. Again, it's doing that legendary thing.
Legendary samurai.
Yeah, it's very specific. This card's bad. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's just bad. It's so bad. Like, okay, to be fair, in the limited format, it blocking as a 2/3 was probably fine.
Something, yeah. It's
so
something.
you put it in your deck, you played it. But again, there's just so many situations where no one's attacking, and that's the big problem with this format. There are so many situations where no one's attacking because every mechanic is I am good at blocking.
Yeah.
So so we redesigned it.
Now it's 1 and a white for a 2/1. That if you have 6 or more cards in your hand, it gets +2 and vigilance, so it becomes a 3/3 vigilance for 2 mana if you have 6 or more in your hand. And it has honor, the normal honor ability of +1/+1 whenever a creature enters. This card seems sweet. It's really good on attacks once you have the 6 or more, but in order to trigger honor, you have to be doing not 6 or more.
It goes in two different ways.
Yeah, I think this card doesn't ever do both.
Right.
It often does one or the other very happily, Turns into a 3/2 per creature you get bigger. That guy for 2. Great attacking on the honor deck. I think this is probably not very good in the 6 or more cards deck, but it is still playable. It's good filler in that deck, whereas it's a good card.
Early blocker as a 2/1, but then maybe in the late game you got a 3/3 Vigilance.
Exactly.
So we like that.
Yeah. 3/3 Vigilance we're happy about. And then the honor deck, I think it's a great card.
Yep. Lantern Kami is white for a 1/1 flying spirit. They had a decent number of 1/1 spirits because the idea was you would cast them for cheap to trigger your spirit triggers, but they were really bad for the most part, and this card's no exception. They were almost all pretty bad. You played them when you didn't have enough spirit or arcane spells.
At this point in time, Flying Men was really good, actually. So a 1/1 Flying was actually playable.
Oh, right. Ninjutsu, of course.
Yeah, not only the Ninjutsu, 1/1 Flyers were not common, and as you said, everything's good at blocking, so we can just sit and actually attack with this 20 times.
Wow, really? I thought this card was bad in the format.
No. This card was just dependent on what your opponents had, but generally, I think I would play this card.
Fair enough. Well, the new one is slightly different.
Oh, it's Healer's Hawk.
Yep, we just made it.
But it's a spirit!
But it is a
So
spirit.
it's 1 mana, 1/1 Flying Lifelink. I like this card. Healer's Hawk is good and limited when you're hyper aggressive. This card's probably good when you're hyper aggressive. Or maybe there's spirit synergies you want to do with this. I don't know. You can play
There's
it.
a decent number of spirits that can pump other spirits and do that sort of thing.
Yeah,
so.
this card's just playable probably. Which is funny because it's just strictly better. That card, I think, was usually played when you picked it, maybe half the time, maybe a little more. And this one looks like I'll probably play it less than that, but it's still good.
Yep, totally understandable. Masako the Humorless is a 2/1 for 2 and a white that has flash, and it lets your tapped creatures block even though they're tapped. Really cool design. I loved this design. It's fun, and you can only really do this design once in the history of Magic because there's nowhere else to go with it. It's just my tapped creatures can block.
Yeah.
Really cool. Love it. So we kept it.
Yeah, I like it. I like the flash on it.
Just made it a bigger creature.
It's
so
super awkward that
as
it was
bad.
flash with a 2/1, honestly. It didn't block well on its own.
No, yeah.
So flash blocking to eat something at a 3/3. This card's very strong.
Yep.
Even without the tap creatures can block, flashing in a 3/3 to block is great. But it's even better whenever you have just attacked with your 6/6 last turn or whatever, and then your opponents don't realize you're going to eat a bunch of their creatures.
Another thing is, if you see the drastic changes in power and toughness, a lot of times it is rarity based as well, where a rare is supposed to be better than other things. So I did that. So you've got this 3/3 for 3 that has good text.
Yeah.
It's because it's a rare, and otherwise, if it was not a rare, it would not probably be a 3/3.
Yeah, we'd take this card. Packle Pick would probably. This card's great.
It's very, very good
Very good
rate,
card.
letting you do combat trick shenanigans
Yeah.
too. It's a very good card. Mending Hands, white for an instant. Prevent the next 4 damage that will be dealt the target creature or player this turn.
I'm so done with this.
Stop it, Matt.
so done.
White has... Oh, God. Oof. Okay, anyway, so just know this card was bad when it was there. It'll always be bad. These cards suck.
Yep.
Preventing damage is not worth it. So instead we got...
1 and a white, instant. Return any number of target creatures you control to their owner's hands. I do not think this card will be good, but it does do the thing.
It does the thing, and that's where we're going for it.
So it can create your hands. It can make your hand size a lot bigger. You can get honor stuff, and it does actually save creatures. We've had effects like this that had usually draw a card attached or something like that, where you bounce one of your own creatures and then draw a card. It was used to save your own creatures from big removal spells. They play a removal spell on your best creature in play. You're like, I'm willing to pay the extra mana to recast it later, as long as I get to have it. So I'll return it to my hand with this Mending Hands effect. I think this card's bad, but it does serve its purpose.
Perfect. Michiko Kanda, Truthseeker, 3 and a white, 2/2. Whenever a source an opponent controls deals damage to you, that player sacrifices a permanent.
This is a commander card.
Yes. Yep. It's kind of annoying.
This thing.
The way it works is a little annoying, but I do like that it has a white design space that they don't use enough.
Yeah.
That punishes opponents for hitting you
Yeah.
in a way that is around taking damage, so that they still probably want to hit you sometimes.
Yeah.
So I like it. Very small creature.
And it's flavorfully pretty cool because she hated what her dad was doing.
Oh yeah,
so she's obviously clearly
that
anti-war.
sword behind her back is for Takeshi Kanda.
Yeah, so anti-war person here.
Yep, anti-war. She's the opposite of him. She's trying to stop people from attacking.
As you can tell with her ability, she says, "Hey,
it's
please
really
don't
cool.
attack me."
She's really cool. It's really
yeah,
good.
it's cool.
The new one.
New one is now a 4 mana 3/3, 3 and a white for a 3/3. Whenever a source an opponent controls deals damage to you, draw a card. So it moves more in the new white source, white play design, whatever of drawing cards whenever certain things
opponents
go wrong.
do bad stuff.
Yeah, they get to choose when you draw, but it's whenever they would want to do things. So
I felt like this played better than making them sacrifice permanents, because the thing about sacrificing permanents is it's either nothing or it's really broken. So I'm okay with it being designed that way, but I thought this would play better.
Yeah,
That's
this card's fine.
It plays into having a big hand, and we wanted that. So
I wouldn't pick it highly because it's too reliant on your opponent to do specific things. Like, they will stop attacking you with 1/1s once this is in play, which isn't that big of a deal for either of you.
Right.
But it's not bad. It's definitely fine.
Totally. Next one is Moonlit Strider, 3 and a white for a 1/4 spirit that you can sacrifice to give target creature the protection from the color. To give target creature protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. It has Soul Shift 3. This was a line of cards that you could sacrifice that had Soul Shift, so you could get their ability and the Soul Shift anytime you wanted.
Yeah, this was one of the cards that was reprinted in Modern Masters 2. I played this card in that format because I like the Soul Shift deck, and this card did its job pretty well comparatively. You could get in for a couple of damage. Thief of Hope was necessary for that deck to work right. It Soul Shifts and sacrifices and drains life. It's a fine card. For the time especially, I think it did well.
Yep.
Now we have 3 and a white, 2/4 instead of 1/4. Like that better. Whenever it enters battlefield, exile another target creature you control, then return it to the battlefield under your control. So it flickers something whenever it ETBs. It does sorcery speed of Restoration Angel. And it still has Soul Shift 3. This card seems fine. Yeah, I'd play it because I like both these effects. I like Soul Shift, I like Flicker. I don't know how good it actually is, though.
It's fine. It's the only way to Kiki-Jiki in this set. But I wanted to make sure there was
one. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you can Kiki-Jiki come out.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, we know what you're doing, yeah. Well, I mean, if both cards are
I got them both. Don't worry about it. I got them both.
Okay. This card's probably pretty decent. Decent is what I would say.
It seems playable, yeah.
Moonwing Moth is 1 white for a 2/1 flying that you can give toughness for white. It's
butt breathing.
Fine because it's a 2/1 flying, and in the format, a 2/1 flying for 3 was going to work. It was going to get there. Flying creatures can get there.
It means it doesn't die to blocks most of the time either, because you have the threat of activation of butt breathing, unless it's like a big creature. They're like, you're going to pay 4 mana.
Yeah, so even if you're playing against the blue decks that all had tons of flyers, you were still probably safe.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yep. New one?
Now we have 2 and a white for a 2/1 instead of 1 white. Flying, 1 and a white, return it to your hand. Lets you, pretty expensive, go towards the honor effects if you want to. Yeah, I think this card's bad.
Yep, it's just trying to play into those strategies of retriggering your honor, making your hand bigger if you really needed to, and saving itself. But otherwise, not super exciting, just serving a couple purposes. Again, it's probably filler.
Yep.
The next one is Moth Rider Samurai, 3 and a white for a 2/2, flying, Bushido 1. I'm pretty sure this was fine back in its day too.
Oh, yeah, this is fine.
Because Bushido did mean that you had a more survivable creature, and flyers really mattered. Like being
flyers
able to
mattered so much, and this one could block really well and attack okay.
So you're blocking your opponent's flyers that are all probably 2 power. And
we blocked that 2/1 earlier.
Yeah, so
all
we're fine.
2/1s.
So this is probably pretty decent during its time.
3 and a white for a 2/1 flying. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn with its honor. So instead of Bushido 1, we have honor 2. So, but we took away 1 toughness. I like this card. I think flying with honor being +2/+2 is very strong. Yeah, I think this card at 4 mana is very medium.
Cool.
I would like to play with this card, and it would win games pretty handily. But it's 4 mana, not very big on blocks.
Yep. It starts off pretty small.
Yeah, it's
not good at blocking. Yeah, definitely really bad at blocking.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, cool. Sounds good. Myojin of Cleansing Fire. 5 white for a 4/6. It comes into play with a divinity counter, and as long as it has that divinity counter, it has indestructible, but you can remove that to destroy each other creature. Now, real quick, I didn't change the Myojins, any of them except for 1, because they're very iconic, and they're decently powerful effects for the mana you're spending, so
yeah,
they're
I like
fine.
Myojins. I like this one in particular.
Yep, so this one works really well. It's very powerful. You destroy all their creatures, and then you get a 4/6 left behind. That's great. If you return it to your hand, you can do it again.
Yeah, because exactly.
You do have to cast it.
We have so many ways to return stuff into our hand. This seems really good.
Yeah, so this card's very powerful. So I didn't think changing the mana cost or even power toughness was warranted. Just leave it as it is.
This card actually got better somehow. No, maybe not.
Sweep and there's a reason. There's a lot of reasons why it's better. Sweep lets you return it instead of just lands.
Your sweep lets you return your other creatures as well before you blow this up.
Yeah, and also Moonfolk can return any permanent now. So
yeah, but the main thing that I think is worse about this is that it costs 8 mana.
Yeah, which matters more.
Before it wasn't so big of a deal. You could get to the late game and you slam your Myojin, kill all their stuff, and start attacking with the 4/6 for 5 turns you win the game.
Yeah, but
Whereas
that's not happening.
Not really a play in this.
Right, for sure. Yep, and I think that's good.
Yeah.
All right. The next one is Nagao, Bound by Honor. 3/3 for 3 and a white, Bushido 1. So this is actually a pretty darn good blocker for its time. Whenever it attacks Samurai you control, get +1/+1. That includes itself. So this card was really good, actually, for its time.
4 mana. It's 4/4 or 5/5 on attacks. Legendary. It blocks as a 4/4. This card's good.
It gives your other Samurai, if you have them, +1/+1 to attacks. This card was actually legitimately pretty good in its time. So you probably decently high pick, though it does maybe lock you into playing one of the few medium aggressive, not even aggressive, just like decks.
Attacking decks.
But the one I made
is now 2 red and a white for a 2/2.
This is one of the multicolors.
Whenever Nagao Bound by Honor attacks, creatures you control get +1/+1 instead of just Samurai. It's everybody.
Any of them.
I like that. And then Honor. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, it gets another +1. This guy gets another +1/+1 until end of turn. This is just a go wide strat. This is kind of a.
This is all attacking now instead of before where blocking was good too.
Yeah. This is a signpost, actually, unlike some of your others.
Yes.
For sure. You want to be building around this kind of card. This is the kind of card you want to see whenever you start playing red-white. You're like, yeah, I got a Nagao, baby.
Yep. Looks good. Yeah, that's all. You're going to pick him. All right. Nico Onna. 2 and a white for a 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, destroy target enchantment. Whenever you play a spirit or arcane spell, return it to your hand. This card is doing a couple things in limited, actually. The destroy target enchantment is side text. In limited, what it's doing is it's letting you cycle and play a bunch of spirits over and over again to get a bunch of triggers on all your cards that say whenever you play spirit or arcane.
Yeah, there just weren't that many good ones.
Yeah, that's true. So we didn't change it, though.
Yeah, in our new one, we have a bunch of good ones.
And we did change the trigger. The trigger is now when you cast a spirit spell or reveal a spirit card, it'll come back to your hand more often. You're probably not destroying very many enchantments with it, but you are re-triggering all your stuff. It's slow and mana-intensive, but again, having these kinds of engines is how the slow decks win.
Yeah, I think this card's pretty, fine. And whenever it's in that deck, it's really good.
Yep, for sure. Opalai, Konda's Yojimbo is 1 white for a 1/4 defender that has Bushido 1, so pretty good blocker, but can't attack. Tap, next time a source of your choice would deal damage this turn, deal that damage to this instead. Awkward. It's saving you from damage, but it's a 1/4 blocker, so it's just weird. You can pay 1 and a white to prevent a damage from it. This card just doesn't make... I don't know what's happening.
It costs a lot of mana to make combat better for you on mostly blocks.
Mm-hmm. Super defensive, again.
Yeah.
Lots of mana, lots of awkwardness, just defensive. But
it can be aggressive. It's hard.
I did keep it defensive though.
Okay. 1 white for a 0/2 instead of a 1/4 defender. No Bushido, obviously. Tap the next time a source of your control of your choice. It's nice. Next time a source of your choice would deal damage this turn. That damage instead dealt to Opalai, just like it was before.
But it could prevent it from anywhere, not just to you. It protects your other creatures. It protects everything. This one can't do that. Right?
Next time a source of your choice would deal damage.
Just kidding. Hey, I'm stupid.
Okay. The main change here is instead of preventing 1 damage, we give it a +1/+1 counter for 2 mana.
Yep.
Which is extremely strong, even though it's just defender. So the thing is that whenever you have mana make it give me counter, usually like that card's busted in limited because we just smash them for a fireball effect.
Yeah.
This one can't fireball, but it can get way bigger. It can make your other things easier to attack through because they can't get hurt if you tap them properly. And like, there's a lot of good options on this card.
And I thought that, since we turned so many defensive cards into aggressive cards, it was okay to have a defensive card like this.
Yeah. And it's good, like obviously amazing to block with this card.
Yeah, and I thought this was
still very expensive though, mana-wise. I don't think I would pick this very highly.
No, I don't think so either. Yeah, no. All right, next card. Otherworldly Journey, 1 and a white. Remove target creature from the game at the end of turn. Return it to play under its owner's control with a +1/+1 counter on it.
There was a slide!
There was a slide! Yeah. It's an arcane spell. Lets you re-trigger your ETBs. Your enters battlefield effects, and it gets a +1/+1 counter on it. It's an arcane spell to trigger all of that. It was probably okay.
I don't think we changed it very much, I bet.
We didn't. We changed it very not.
Yep, we just flicker instead of slide, and it's only 1 mana.
Yep.
And now it's a spirit instead of arcane, obviously. Yeah, I like this card. This card's really good.
Yep, it'll see play. It'll be good. It'll do what you want it to do. Nice card. Oyobi, who split the heavens, 6 and a white for a 3/6 flying. Whenever you play a spirit or arcane spell, put a 3/3 white spirit creature token with flying into play. This card seems nuts, by the way. This seems like a bomb, like a stupid in its format. Like first pick, this will rock your opponents.
Yep. Absolutely. It was 7 mana, which sucked. It just meant that you had to find a way how to survive the early game, and then it's a 3/6 flying, and you also get more flyers.
You get 3/3 flyers from the trigger. That's nuts.
Bad design to make spirits of 2 types. You know, this one's a 3/3 flyer, but there's other spirits that are colorless, do nothings. 1/1 ones. You know, I hate that.
That's not bad design when your set is mortals versus spirits. You can have more than one spirit
dude.
type.
Bad design.
You're wrong, actually. Anyway, we didn't change it. This card's nuts.
Card is not so. I think it's bad now, though.
Yeah, so 7 mana in our change where we've updated everything is so much more than it was back then. You were getting to 7 mana to cast your spells in the old set. In the new version, you got to be working hard to get here, but that payoff is still huge. Yeah. It's just so much harder to get to.
Yeah, I think this card is now not high pick. Well, no, I shouldn't say not high pick. You just have to be playing a deck that can do it.
You got to make it happen.
It's tough.
Yep, you got to make it happen. It's good when you do. It's a big payoff, but so much harder to do now.
Yeah.
So. Next one is Patron of the Kitsune. 4 white for a 5/6. Whenever a creature attacks, you gain 1 life. That includes your opponent's creatures. It's a legendary spirit, and it has Fox Offering, which means you can play it at instant speed if you sacrifice a fox, and then you can subtract that fox's mana cost from this one. So, like, if that fox costs 2 and a white, this would now cost 2 and a white. Kind of cool design. Really, you didn't actually have to be playing foxes at all for this to be a fine card. 4 white for a 5/6 that whenever a creature attacks, you gain 1 life.
Yeah, this card's just really good.
It's just really good. But you can play it at instant speed by sacking a fox. Wild. But we did change it.
New one has Emerge. We have 4 white for a 5/6 still, but Emerge is the old Eldrazi text that would let you sacrifice creatures to reduce its cost. So it still does that.
But it only reduces colorless mana.
Yep, so you can go sacrifice a 6-drop here, even if it's 5 and a white, and you Emerge it, it still costs 2 a white to cast Patron of the Kitsune with the Emerge effect. But it still has whenever a creature you control attacks now, you gain 1 life. Because the other text is very annoying to deal with.
It's not fun. It's very punishing.
Yeah.
It's like giving all your opponent's creatures -1/-0 when they hit you.
I think there's a card called like Curse of Ravens or something like that. That was in one of the most recent.
Whenever they attack,
sets.
you drain 1.
You drain 1. It was so annoying.
Yeah, so that effect's
so
annoying. So we switched it to just be when you're getting aggressive, you get some life back. It's good. I think this card's fine as it is. I changed all the offerings to Emerge. We went over that earlier, just so that they'd be easier to play. You didn't have to have foxes.
I'm super into playing a 4/6 on turn 4. And that's what they were going to do with this most of the time, I feel like.
Yep.
Or 5/6 on turn 4.
5/6. Yep, absolutely. That's what
Really
you're going to do. Really good card. Pious Kitsune. 2 and a white for a 1/2. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a devotion counter on it. Then if a creature named 8.5 Tails is in play, which it's a legendary creature we went over earlier, you gain 1 life for each devotion counter. And you can tap to remove a devotion counter from it to gain 1 life. This card's annoying and not good.
Yeah, a whole lot of work for nothing.
Yeah, it's just not doing anything. Too bad we didn't change it very much.
Okay, now it's 2 and a white for a 1/1 instead of a 1/2. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a devotion counter on it, then gain a life for each devotion counter on it.
It's like a threat, but the other way around.
It feels like an enchantment though, which is kind of annoying.
But we wanted to make sure. Well, obviously, we were keeping sort of in line with the old design, but instead turning it into a threat in a way, but not a threat to kill your opponent, but something that they need to deal with. Otherwise, you're not dying.
Yeah.
And
at a certain point, this gains too much life.
Right, but it's a 1/1 creature, very easy to kill. That's perfect.
I was about to say, I don't think this is even that threatening, because if you get to a point where this is too much, you can still just eventually kill it, and it just takes you 10 more turns to win the game.
Exactly. Yeah, no, so the card's not very strong.
It doesn't end the game is the problem.
Yep, the card's not very strong, but I thought I'd take it in a similar direction of where it was before.
It's better.
Yes.
I'm never picking this card.
Oh, yeah, totally not. No. All right, Plow Through the Reito. 1 and a white, instant arcane, sweep. Return any number of planes you control to their owner's hands. Target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each plane's return this way. Card's hot garbage. Holy shit! Unless it's winning the game, this card's so bad.
So this is your poor man's the other card.
Yeah.
You use this to win the game
Charge
by
the Araba.
Yeah, Araba. It's really bad. But
it's
you
so bad.
Play it when you wanted to win the game.
If you win the game, it's great. Otherwise, you're going you can't use this as a combat trick.
No.
Because returning those planes to your hand puts you so far behind on tempo, and you got to replay them. You have so much less mana.
You can play it as a +1/+1 combat trick sometimes if you need to.
1 and a white. Return a planes to your hand +1/+1.
No. You're playing it to kill people. And then
bad.
you'll accidentally be like, it's really good here as a combat trick.
That's
I guess
true.
I'll use it.
That's true. So anyway, we didn't do that.
Okay. White +2, target creature you control gets +2/+2 on your turn. Like that. I like those combat tricks that are really cheap and +2/+2. Big fan. This one also has a sweep. So whenever you cast this, you can return 2 permanents you control to your owner's hand and copy it. great card in my
Yep,
opinion.
return whatever permanents you want. I think this is one of those situations where the card, you'll only sweep when the things you're bringing. You'll generally only sweep when the things you're bringing back are good to bring back, or if it's literally no cost.
Yeah, you'll usually play this card because of that, though. That's what I'm thinking.
Yep,
I think the 1 mana give +2/+2 to something. Although I do like that as a combat trick. It's not great. It's pretty weak, but it does win combats. So you're gonna play this mostly in decks where sweeping is really what you're looking for.
Yep.
You're wanting these ETBs to happen again.
Absolutely.
And then it'll just get like that much better.
Yep.
Yeah, playable in those decks only.
Next is Presence of the Wise, 2 white sorcery. You gain 2 life for each card in your hand. Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks. Good design,
Wise.
bro. Thanks.
The Wise is so nice to
God,
us.
love the Wise people. Okay, yeah, no, fuck this card's terrible. Don't play it.
Please.
Next.
Presence of the Wise is now a 2 white tribal sorcery spirit. Wow.
Oh, I did add it.
I like this one.
There was a spirit there. That's the wise person.
Yeah, there's. All right. It has sweep. We talked about what sweep was last hand. Last card. Draw a card, then gain life equal to the number of cards in your hand. So you gain less life. I don't know, man. That sounds like a nerf. But we draw 1 card, or we sweep to draw 2 cards and then gain some life. I think this card's very bad. I think this card can be played in sweep decks if you really needed to. Yeah, I don't know.
Yep, seems good.
Yep.
Well, not. I like this version of it though.
Me too.
Because, like I said before, I was trying to go in line with what they did, but make it better, more interesting, and play better. So if you pick this, I do think it will work decently, but it's expensive and a sorcery.
So I don't know if you know about the card Cash. What's it called? Hidden Cash or
the rebound one?
Rebound one. Yeah, that's what it feels like, and it feels worse by a lot. I would just try to make the cheaper and this be great. Like 1, 2 white. I'd like this card a lot.
Okay, sure, that makes sense. Yeah, already. I think you're completely right, and the only reason I probably didn't do that was because I was thinking of it happening immediately.
Yep.
And it's with the sweep value, but the sweep value should never be seen on a card as a bonus. It should be treated as a cost so that it plays better.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. It should be 1 white, but I did it this way because I was thinking. Yep. Promise of Bunrai, 2 and a white. This card is actually very good, and it saw a decent amount of play in early Modern. Obviously not anymore, but it did in early Modern because of the sheer number of creatures you got. It's whenever a creature you control dies, you can sacrifice this and make 4 1/1 spirit tokens. That's the best rate of any like token maker that they had at the time.
Yeah, 1 card make 4 tokens is huge.
Pretty good.
There's a reason Lingering Souls is bonkers.
Yeah, exactly. So that card saw play in Modern while Black-White Spirits was playable.
Black-White tokens, yeah.
We didn't really change it, but we did make it the green-white card.
So now it's 1 green-white for a tribal enchantment. Now it's a spirit. I like that.
You can get it back after it sacrifices with Soul Shift.
Soul Shift. That's a really cool idea. And then whenever creature you control dies, sacrifice this if you do create 4
text is the
spirit
same.
tokens. Same text. Yeah, I like this card. I don't think it's great. But like you can build decks that are really good with it. You said that the other colors have sacrifice effects. I know this is green and white, which kind of makes that rough.
Yeah.
If you can go 3 colors with this, get some sacrifice effects going, I like it a lot better.
Yeah.
Because then you can sacrifice your Soul Shifters, bring this back, and
you
also
can
use these 1/1s to use your sacrifice effects.
Yeah, you can purposely get those 4 honor triggers all at once.
If the cards also sacrifice permanents.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wait, permanents. Why would you want to sacrifice this?
Oh, you don't want to sacrifice this. Sacrifice a creature, get this trigger.
Yeah,
I knew what I was saying first. I didn't mean it.
You're fine. All right. Pure Intentions, white. I don't even think the design I did for this was very good either, but whatever. This card's bad. Whenever it's instant or arcane, whenever a spell or ability an opponent controls causes you to discard cards this turn, return those cards from your graveyard to your hand. Whenever a spell or ability will cause you to discard this, you put it back in your hand. That's it. At end of turn.
So when they cast their Raven's Crime, you discard your Pure Intentions and it comes back to your hand.
It's just bad.
Woo!
My redesign is
white, tribal instant spirit. Until end of turn, you gain hexproof, and spells and abilities your opponents control cannot cause you to discard cards or sacrifice permanents. Splice for white. Yeah, I think this card is bad as well, but it does the job that we're looking to do better.
Yep.
The splice is weird. I don't know.
Cheap splice so you can trigger stuff.
Oh, yeah, we can always cheap splice.
And it gives you hexproof for that, so just like whatever.
Yeah, and I mean, the sacrifice permanence thing will come up probably. Yeah. This card is not pickable, I don't think, usually, but like if somehow you have a good deck that wants to see a lot of spirits, like wants to reveal them a lot, this is only 1 mana.
If your opponent's got a lot of those discard cards that are in black, because there are a lot of them.
Yeah, but like this only costs 1 mana to reveal for the splice, so I could see a world where that's good enough.
So yeah, and when I did this design for it, I was torn between making a whole new card and keeping something that can stop some of the more disruptive effects from other colors, and I went with keeping something that can stop disruptive effects.
Yeah.
So, Quiet Purity, white, instant arcane, destroy target enchantment. It's fine.
Hate this card, honestly.
Yep, it's fine. We kept it the same though because
it's our third destroy enchantment card in white. I don't like it.
in a 617 card cube.
Yeah, why can't it destroy artifacts too or something, huh?
We already have one of those.
Do we?
Yes, we have Clean Fall. We turned it into a disenchant.
Oh, you did, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Hate
so
it.
yeah, you can hate this. I totally understand that, but it's just the what is it called? Erase or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that.
Never
But it's
picked
a spirit.
I know the word. I don't remember. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's just there to be a safety valve.
Demystify. There we go.
Demystify. It's a safety valve card. It's fine. You're probably not picking it, but it's fine. Reciprocate. White. Remove from the game target creature that dealt damage to you this turn. Instant.
I love this card. It is not very good. I love this card.
It's removal, but it only works if the creature hurt you.
It's only 1 mana.
So we changed it.
Exile target creature that dealt damage this turn. This card's really good.
Yeah. So it doesn't have to just deal
Whoa.
damage to you. Dealt damage to anything. That's what we went with.
So this is
One
like...
more mana though, but we wanted to.
Okay, I didn't see that. Good.
Yeah, we wanted removal that was playable.
Yeah, okay, I like this a lot better. I thought it was 1 mana still.
No, it's
Okay.
2 mana now.
I mean, that's not that big of a difference actually in limited that much for what the situation we're talking about, but it is double the mana.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, I like this card a lot. It'll work a lot well whenever you like have somebody attack into you with a big idiot and you're just like chump block it and then kill it because they dealt damage to your token and you're like, all right.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's good. You get 2 for 1, but you get to get rid of their best thing, you know. And sometimes it's not 2 for 1 depending on how you play it.
If it hits you, it's not 2 for 1, but you do lose all that. But
Or you play something with a big butt that has to block, you know.
yeah, so it still has the reciprocate value, but adds extra text.
Yep, I like it a lot.
Essentially.
I think it's a good card.
Reverence, 2 white, creatures with power 2 or less can't attack. It's a version of Moat. It's probably annoying. Too bad we kept it the same.
Oh, power 2 or less can't attack you. Yeah, I don't like this card at all.
Yep, totally understandable. I think it was one of those situations where I wanted to keep it like Ghost Quarter.
Yeah.
Or not Ghost Quarter, Ghostly Prison.
Ghostly Prison, yeah, it's just annoying to deal with, and
But
I mean,
here's what
I guess
cards
we have
like-
so many enchantment removals.
Well, not only enchantment removal, but think about this. You have these prison cards,
Yeah,
and you have Enduring Ideal.
sure.
We
Okay.
did want it to do. We wanted to give you something to get. So we left these in.
Sure.
Reverse the Sand, 6 white. Redistribute any number of players' life totals. This card is hot trash garbage in anything ever. It's never good. Not in a multiplayer format. Not ever.
I thought people liked this in multiplayer. I didn't know. I don't.
No, they
multiplayer.
play Axis of Mortality, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
2 less mana and an instant.
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's an instant. And it just switches 2 players, but it's way better.
Yeah.
And not good either, but
Yeah.
like. So we made a completely new card. But that keeps the spirit of this.
3 white for a sorcery. Choose target opponent. You and that player exchange life totals and exile the cards in your hands. As long as those cards remain exiled, you and that player may play cards the other player exiled this way. You may each spend mana as though it were any type to cast spells this way. So for just your hand, you get to share fate.
Yeah.
But-
And your life totals, you swap them.
Sure. So I like this kind of card. It's not good at all. Usually, by the time you get to 5 mana, in limited especially, you're not going to be finding good cards in your own hands except for the bombs. So you have to get very lucky for this card to be good.
Sure.
But that's okay.
Yeah, I think the main point of this is it's really bad unless you were stupid aggressive and you have nothing left in hand.
And then you jam, and then you get to like 2 or 3 cards out of your opponent's hand, but you
To
go
swap life totals,
Yeah,
yep.
that sucks.
That's the cost you're paying.
That's terrible. I hate that.
Yeah, I thought
this card's not good for limited. I like it.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. That's what we wanted. All right, next one is Runetail Kitsune Ascendant, 2 and a white for a 2/2. If you have 30 more or more life, flip it. And it turns into this enchantment, which is Runetail's Essence. Prevent all damage that will be dealt to creatures you control.
I don't like that old card. I don't even remember how it worked.
People
in
played
Limited 'cause
it.
it's a rare.
People definitely played this card because that flip side meant your creatures weren't
I
dying
think
in
it's good
combat.
in EDH or something.
Something along those lines. We kept it similar, actually.
Okay, 2 and a white for a 2/3 lifelink. When you have 10 life more than your starting life total, so the better wording.
Yep.
Transform it. Sounds good. I like it being lifelink. I think that's really nice.
Kept the same.
And then prevent all damage to the creatures you control. Yeah, I like the card. The effect is useful in EDH in particular. They have a few cards like that people have combos with and stuff like that. So, I don't know. If this one's better in limited, 2/3 lifelink is actually fine.
Yep.
It's not a May transform. Sad.
I guess I could turn it into one then.
No, you don't have to. It's fine.
Samurai Enforcers is 4 white for a 4/4 Bushido 2.
I'd like to vomit. This card's playable in that limited. It's so bad.
Yeah. 4 power creature. Where are those? Those
Yeah,
don't exist.
exactly.
So you're just like, I guess I'll play this card.
They can't block either.
So you're like, I guess I do hit for 4.
I hate it.
It's indicative of how bad the format was.
Yeah, exactly.
That this card was probably pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we did this.
All right, 3 white for a 4/4. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. This card's fine. 5-mana 4/4s are nice, usually, in limited. Like, they're not great half the time, but this one looks nice, gets bigger, you know. I won't pick this highly, it's good filler.
No, it's good filler. It's good. You don't have enough big creatures in your white
game,
weenie deck. Just put this in. Samurai the Pale Curtain, white for a 2/2 Bushido 1. If a permanent would be put into a graveyard, remove it from the game instead, which is exile. Fine. It's a fine card.
This card, in Modern, for about a month, was the best card ever.
Yeah, for about one single month.
This
during
card was
Hogak.
really good against Hogak, yeah.
Yeah. The good old days. It was adorable. There's a creature you could search up that had graveyard hate that you didn't have to pay mana for.
And it was just the right kind of graveyard. Just the right kind of graveyard.
Just the right kind of graveyard hate. We did not change it very much.
Okay, white for a 2/2. If a permanent card would be put into a graveyard, exile it instead. It's the same. And then Honor. +1/+1. Yep. So it's the same, but we turned the Bushido into Honor.
Yep.
Fine. I like the 2-mana 2/2s with Honor. The white kind of hurts just like it does on the hands.
Yep.
But
that's true.
It's tempo if you can do it.
Yep, and we left that card because graveyard hate. You kind of do actually want it with Soul Shift and all that.
Sure.
It's just important to have these kinds of cards.
This stops Soul Shift completely. You cannot Soul Shift while this is in play. I like that.
Scour, 2 white, remove target enchantment from the game, and extract all of them from their hand library. So you exile all copies of the same one. Clearly,
another enchantment removal card,
so
Johnny.
clearly, in Limited, this does nothing because there's only one copy in Cube.
In our Cube, yeah.
So we changed it.
Oh, thank goodness. It doesn't remove only enchantments. 1 white sorcery. Exile target non-land permanent. Its controller draws a card. I like these kinds of cards. They're usually pretty weak, but I play them anyways. They get rid of bombs, you know.
Yep.
They do what you need them to half the time.
This card is worse than it looks.
Yeah, this card is usually pretty bad.
Because giving them that card actually really matters.
Yeah, you get 2 for 1. You're playing this card.
But it's removal, and sometimes you're really going to need an answer.
Yeah. I play these cards more than I probably should.
Yep. Sensei Golden Tail is 1 white for a 2/1 Bushido 1. You can pay 1 white, tap it, to essentially give something Bushido 1 and make it a samurai. Permanently.
Yeah, you put a training counter on it, and that training counter says it's those things.
Yep. Something to remember is you can put more than one counter on something, and it'll get more Bushido triggers.
It'll have Bushido 1 and Bushido 1.
Yep, that's how it works, so that's interesting.
But you can only use that ability as a sorcery.
This card was fine, probably, in its limited.
Yeah, it was good.
Just lets you keep making things impossible to block or really good at blocking.
Yeah.
And that's just how Bushido works. New one is completely different.
2/1, 1 white. Honor, all of your creatures get a +1/+1 whenever another creature enters battlefield under your control. Yeah, I like this kind of card. It's fine. You're going wide with Honor decks anyways.
Yep.
Most of the
Seems
time.
pretty good. Kept in the spirit of making your other guys do the Bushido thing, but instead it's just like a way simpler text to do Honor.
Yeah, exactly. Way easy.
Yep. Shinin of Stars Light, 2 white for a 2/1 first strike. You can pay 1 white to discard it to give something first strike until end turn. I do really like these versions of Channel.
Okay, this one in particular I like a lot because first strike on an instant speed effect that they cannot counter. You just discard it, goes bam. That's pretty
Really
good.
strong. Really
pretty
strong.
good.
I like this card decently.
I think its stats are bad, and that's about it.
Yeah, it was probably pretty good actually in its limited format. So.
I don't remember.
But the new one is
1 white, 1/1. Whenever it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 spirit. 2 white for its channel cost to make 3 spirits. All right, yeah, this is 2 creatures or 3 creatures, depending on how much you pay. I think we're almost always choosing the 2 creature option. It's just always, it's almost always better.
Unless you just have extra mana.
Instant speed, though. It is instant speed to give you 3.
Exactly.
This is interesting. This gives you a lot of choices.
I thought there was enough combat tricks. I didn't need more combat tricks, so I went with this.
Especially one that doesn't have any pumps.
And I wanted more cards in this design space so that the Honor decks could have more ways to break.
Yeah, there's a cheap Honor card, or cheap Honor card, cheap sweep card. This is good. This is good. Also, this provides both parts of a sweep if you need to sweep rather than get the value out of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Shining Shoal is X white. You can remove a white card in your hand from the game to be X instead of paying this mana cost. The next X damage that a source of your choice would deal to you or a creature you control this turn is dealt to target creature or player instead. It redirects damage. These kind of preventing effects are generally more powerful because they're stopping something of yours from dying or getting hurt and killing one of theirs, so you're actually getting like a 2-for-1.
They still do this kind of effect sometimes.
Yeah, because it's actually good. This is actually powerful. The old effects like this, all the old shoals were like this. They had X's. They were X color, and you got the converted mana cost as X if you wanted to play it for free. But we are not doing that anymore.
All right, so you changed this yesterday, eh?
Yes, I did change these yesterday.
2 white tribal instant spirit. You may exile a white card in your hand as you cast Shining Shoal. If you do, it becomes a Phyrexian problem, and it costs white.
Yeah, to exile a white card.
Oh, white? Oh, never mind. Not a Phyrexian problem. Never mind. I lied to you.
So here's what these used to say. Every single one of these shoals almost was exact same text, except for instead of it saying costs white less to cast, it just said it was free.
Okay. So I see. Okay. So exile a white card. If you do, it costs white less. The next time a source of your choice would deal damage this turn, deal that damage to any target of your choice instead. Okay, so that would be very strong as a force, like you were saying, like as a force of Shining Shoal. And I think it's weak the other way, but not crazy weak. I wouldn't play this card most of the time. It's too situational, but I like it. I like this kind of effect a lot. I kind of wish it was free.
Yep. I was thinking that also a lot of times what this is going to be is that you build up this hand of cards, but maybe you're not playing as much lands, or you are paying for other things, and it'll allow you to use the fact that you have such a large hand to make this card better, like the old Shoals, but just in a more reasonable way than the old Shoals did.
Okay, I think it could be free, but I understand.
Oh, this one could. Yeah, this
the
one
rest
could be
of them
free.
probably could.
That was the thing.
Okay.
So this one got nerfed really hard because some of the other ones were broken.
Okay, I got you.
Specifically the green one.
Okay.
All right. The green. So.
Silent Zubaira.
Yeah, you look, they're the same guy.
It's the same guy.
Same guy. All right. So old Zuberas have a cool ability. So 1 and a white for a 1/2. Whenever it dies, you gain 2 life for each Zubera that died this turn. So if you had a bunch of Zuberas die, you get a bunch of cool triggers. All of them are cool. There's one for each color. They're a very fun mechanic. But because this is built for a cube, so there's only going to be 1 copy of each card, I had to change them completely. But I would not have changed them if this was for constructed, because I like the Zuberas and think they're fine the way they were, but I did change them. So now they're this.
It is a 1 and a white 1/2, just like before. And whenever you cast or reveal Silent Chant Zubera, you gain 3 life. Because there just aren't enough other Zuberas to play into it, I get that.
Yep.
This card is probably weaker than the other ones, and that's pretty cool, because gaining life sucks, We're not a fan.
Yeah.
But,
But
whatever.
it fits into, you're revealing this with all your reveal abilities and whatever else you're doing. It uses that text, but only for itself.
I'd call this pretty bad filler. There are going to be a couple of decks you might play it in.
Like an ETB.
Yeah.
So you can bounce it with all your bounce stuff and get it again. This one's the weakest one, but all the other Zuberas for each other color work the same way, but with a different ability you get.
Yeah, I think that this deck would be good in an honor deck, actually, that you're racing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's still not good because it's a 2-mana 1/2.
Yeah.
But you're going to sweep with it. You're going to do other things with it. I think this card is fine. And I'm really excited to see the other 4.
Yeah, imagine the text is, enters the battlefield, do this. Yeah. But better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, we always like those kind of cards. We usually want this to be like a 1/3 if we can, but it's okay.
But we didn't do it for whatever, the reasons. Silverstorm Samurai is 4 white for a 3/3 flash. You can play it at any time. Bushido 1. The idea is you ambush something and kill a 3/3 with it, because it's got Bushido, so it's going to get that +1/+1. God, it's so expensive for how small it is. It's really bad.
Yep.
The card was probably bad, actually.
Bad.
No, it was probably pretty bad.
You get to eat 1 creature, maybe.
And it's a tiny
and it's
creature.
6 mana to do it.
It's for a 3/3. Ugh. Anyway, so we got, instead,
4 mana, so 2 white for a 2/2 flash. Whenever it enters the battlefield, untap all creatures you control to get +1/+1 until end of turn. We've had cards like this in the past, and I usually really like them. They're not always amazing. The flying ones are the good ones, and they're usually very aggressive. The flash on it would not have mattered if it was that kind of card. So this one is a little bit more defensive because of that, but it's also
aggressive,
in an aggressive
but blows
deck.
out. Yeah.
I think it's a defensive card in an aggressive deck that does do both things.
Yep.
So you can attack with this and play it and untap everything, or you can block with them when they thought you couldn't. This seems very fun and probably playable and not high pick and good.
Yep, sounds good to me. Okay, Spiritual Visit is white for instant arcane. Put a 1/1 spirit into play. Splice an arcane white.
I like this card a lot. I don't think it was very good because of how blocking that set was. This card could not get any wide enough for it to matter.
And if you're spending mana, you should spend it on better blockers that don't die.
Yeah, exactly. You could splice this into a couple arcane spells, but you're not gonna get that many out of them. So.
But however, we didn't change it because it's so much better in this set.
I think it is a fair amount better than this set. I still don't think it's amazing.
Yeah.
But our honor is mostly what we're happy about with this.
Yep.
So every time we can splice this, we're getting real value out of it. And even when we can't, 1 mana 1/1 is not the worst.
Especially instant speed.
Instant speed. Yep. This is fine. It's not great.
Split Tail Miko, 1 and a white for a 1/1. Tap, prevent the next 2 damage.
Okay, this card's broken.
It's broken, and I fucking hate these cards.
Yep, this card's really good. So we were talking about all the idiot preventers in the past and how they interact and everything. The math on this card is so stupid. You cannot almost ever lose combat when this card's in play. It's really, really dumb.
That's why they make you pay mana for it. It's bad design and not
very
fun.
bad design, yeah.
So we did this.
1 and a white for a 2/2. Whenever it enters the battlefield, you may return another creature you control to its under hand. We've had cards like this in other formats,
and they're
limited,
just fine.
and they're usually fine. If you have enough ETBs, they get better. And that's what we've got.
That's what it's doing.
This card is pretty good filler. Good filler.
Good filler. Takano Samurai General is 5 and a white for a 3/3 Bushido 2. Each other samurai you control gets +1/+1 for each point of Bushido it has. This card's annoying and not good, and the thing about it is, right, that they thought they were being clever, because it's like you're getting double Bushido, but it's actually like some of it's permanent, now it can attack well. The thing is like, A, samurais don't mean anything, and B, you're still not able to kill people very easily. You need to pay 6 mana for this 3/3. Like,
yeah, so creature on its own is very bad, so you have to have several samurai for it to be worth it. When you do the thing, card's great. You don't usually do the thing.
Yep. And it only gives them +1/+1 if they have Bushido.
Yep.
So there are samurais without Bushido, so it's like not even really a samurai lord. It's a Bushido samurai lord.
Dude, what kind of samurai doesn't follow the Bushido code?
I hate it. It's so fucking stupid. Anyway.
All right, now we got a 5 and a white 4/4 with honor. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, all your creatures get +2/+2 until end turn. This card's really good, but also it's 6 mana in the aggressive deck. It's kind of frustrating because you're going to have already dumped your hand probably. So there are going to be decks, I think, that are going to be honor-based slow decks that will want this more than the honor-heavy fast decks. Yep. But you can still play this as your top end and then honor-heavy fast decks.
Because if you're just like, one creature, you're
like,
pumping
all
your
right,
whole
top
team.
deck a creature, it's in play, and now my guys attack. I've got a lot of them, you know. Yeah. I think you'll play this in most of your white decks, but it's not amazing, actually.
Yep. It'll close out games, but you gotta do the thing. You gotta work for it, and it's awkwardly working against the super aggressive decks.
Yeah.
Tekino's Cavalry is 3 and a white for a 1/1 Bushido 1. I don't like that. I really don't like this.
What's a little mathy, like you said?
Okay, so the text down there is actually fine. Well, it's a spirit. Never mind. This card sucks. This card's so bad.
This card's really bad.
Okay, it's tap, deals 1 damage to target attacker blocking spirit. The stat, 4 mana 1/1, just so bad. Hey, how's it going? My brain started melting. Hey, Mike. We love you.
I think he was probably talking about the prevent guy that was mathy.
True. No, you're right about it being mathy, but I just mean it's nice to see you here. Okay, so we did this.
Maybe not. He might have been talking about something else. I'm not sure how long this delay is. Either way, 3 and a white for a 1/4. Honor, whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control. Takano's Cavalry gets +1/+1 until end turn. The normal honor +1/+1. Tap, it deals damage equal to its power to target attacking or blocking creature. I really like those kinds of effects that like get better when your creature's bigger. You know, you tap, bank, bank. This particular one, this effect, so I think Johnny was trying to say that effect on the bottom usually would be pretty good, but it happened to say Spirit.
Yeah.
This one doesn't. I like that.
It's very strong.
If you play some honor stuff, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this is actually a pretty bad card.
Yep.
So the problem with it is that the size of it only gets bigger whenever you play dudes. So that will be on your turn.
Speed. Yep.
So then you go to attack, and they're like, I know how big your cavalry is. I know not to block. So it's good because it forces them not to block, but that's all it does.
Right, and the part of this is also so that it's not shutting out all attacking.
Right, so it's good because that kind of effect in the past has shut out attacking. Like you're stopping movement all around, and you don't want to promote blocking only. That's why everyone hates blocks now. Magic doesn't give us blockers.
Yeah, no, they just, what's a block?
But yeah, so this card's pretty bad, I think, and it's a lot better than the old one.
Yep. Tallowisp, 1 and white for 1/3. Whenever you play a Spirit or Arcane spell, search your library for an aura card, reveal it, put it in your hand, shuffle your library. Card's cool. Very cool. Really hard to actually have, though, because you need auras and spirits to make it work, but the rate is actually good, and that's pretty cool. Like, when you're doing it, just like get a card that's an aura. If you have this, it's great, but will you have it? No.
Yeah, that's the thing, is this card was good if you had 2 or 3 auras in your deck and a fair amount of Spirit Arcanes, and it just, like, was really hard to come together, but it's a 2 mana 1/3, so it wasn't the worst rate to put in a deck. I liked Tallowisp and Limited. I thought it was fine.
Thank you, Mike. I really like these redesigns too. The full set is in the description. It's in a Google Drive folder with all 617 cards. So
we're also probably going to try to put it on Cubecobra.
Yep, probably going to try and put it on Cubecobra if that's a thing we're allowed to do with custom designs.
We'll see.
All right. So I didn't change it. I did change the trigger to whenever you cast a spirit spell or reveal a spirit card, but it still gets an aura, still does the same thing. The point is that it's similar to the old version.
I didn't expect you to not change this. I'm glad.
There's a very unlikely deck of auras that is there, because there are enough auras to make one of those. Like the Genjus are auras, and there's a bunch of aura removal, all that. There are a decent number of buffs in auras, so you could do it if you're playing the enchantments decks.
Yeah.
But it's hard to do, like really hard to do.
Yeah. So I like that you didn't change it.
But here's another thing about it, right? If you're playing Spirits deck and you have 2 auras in your deck, this card's good.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. That's what I was saying about the old one. Same situation. Is if you're playing a Spirit and Arcane deck or a spirits deck or whatever, and you have 1 or 2 auras, and you're like, it's good.
Got like a Genju and a Cage of Hands. This card's amazing.
Yeah, just a Cage of Hands, honestly.
Yeah, true. Just if this could get Cage of Hands on the first trigger and that's it, you're good.
You're good.
All right, Tarashi's Cry, 3 and a white, sorcery arcane, tap up to 3 target creatures.
Hate it.
Hate it. Card's terrible. It's
I don't
like
want to talk about it.
it should really tap all creatures your opponents control, but
And even then, I'm like, I can't.
it's a sorcery too, so it's only attack. It's just bad.
Yeah. All right, 2 and a white now for a tribal sorcery spirit. Forecast 1 and a white. Reveal it. Tap target creature. Damn. And now it also taps all 3 creatures. Sorcery though, still kind of sad. I wish this was an instant, but it's maybe
The
too
point
good,
is the
maybe too good.
forecast. Yeah, we're trying to
Yeah.
keep it off of that.
And the forecast is also like. So we talked about how tapping works in limited a little bit. It's usually pretty good if you can repeat it. So this card repeats it over and over again. I like it, but not being able to use it on defense is kind of annoying.
Yeah,
I think
for
this
sure.
card is low pick.
Totally understandable. Yep. Alrighty. Tarashi's Grasp, 2 and a white, sorcery arcane, destroy target artifact or enchantment. You gain life equal to its converted mana cost.
How many naturalizes are you going to show me?
There's 617 cards in I'll keep reminding you that. Anyways, we didn't change it.
Oh, I hate it. Okay, whatever. I really don't like this card. It is a spirit, which is nice. If you're going to play a... what do you call it? Wait. What?
What?
Dang it. This is their second spirit. The other one was a spirit too. The first one was a spirit too.
Yeah.
Damn, I hate this. Okay.
Anyway, Tarashi's Verdict, 1 and a white, destroy target attacking creature. It's an instant, arcane. Destroy target attacking creature with power 3 or less.
I've never seen this card. I thought I knew this whole entire set.
This card's probably okay.
It's fine, yeah.
It's so limited though. It's
Hit
like
the flyer.
yeah, hits a flyer. It's like gotta hit
anything.
attacking creature with power 3 or less.
Yeah, I think this is playable.
Yeah, but we changed it.
Destroy target tapped creature instead at a sorcery speed. Spirit. Sure. This is worse, but I get it, and also better, obviously.
Yep, I think that I wanted it to be more fight.
Okay,
kill
yeah, this
more
would have been
creatures.
worse in that format.
Yes.
In our format, I think
it's better.
it's a little better. It's
Well,
still not
no,
great.
it's not better. It's I prefer it.
Yeah, I definitely
Because
prefer it.
you're gonna get hit a lot more of the time because it can't kill it before you get hit.
Right.
But it'll kill more creatures, and that's what I care about more.
Yeah, I agree.
There's not.
You also have a fair amount of tapping. Like it combos with the
yeah,
forecast guy.
That's another thing that I think I thought about when I made it, but didn't think
I
about
believe
when
you
we were
because you have a
talking.
fair amount of tapping stuff.
Okay, Tori Watchward. This is probably the worst Soul Shift. 4 and a white for a 3/3 Vigilance, Soul Shift 4. I'm just gonna show you. I struggled with making this card anything else.
I am fine with this. It's pretty good. Vigilance was a lot better back then than it is now.
Yeah.
Like the way it worked was stronger because creatures just sucked so bad.
Yeah.
A creature of this size being able to have Vigilance was
Pretty good back then. Yeah.
A 4/3 Vigilance of this size, I think this is going to be bad.
Yeah.
Again, but it'll be playable sometimes.
Every time I tried to do something else, I didn't like it. Like even just
Yeah.
like a 4/4, I didn't.
4/4 is
like
way
that.
too good, I think.
It just didn't seem right.
Yeah.
So we went with this. This was the design I went with.
This seems playable sometimes.
Vassal's Duty, 3 and a white for an enchantment. That's 1. The next 1 damage that we dealt to target legendary creature you control is dealt to you instead.
Whoa! Whoa, buddy! Whoa!
Slow down. The power is
the
just
power creep.
overwhelming.
So we have to pay a mana for every single damage.
And we take it.
And we still take it, and this costs us 4 mana to play.
And we only get to stop damage from legendaries.
Dealt 2 legendaries. Sorry, not from legendaries.
Right.
Oh, man.
Jesus
All right,
Christ.
what's this? 2 and a white. Tap an untapped non-legendary creature you control. Target legendary permanent gains indestructible until end of turn. Okay. 2 and a white. Target creature you control becomes legend. Oh, okay.
You see what I'm doing there?
All right, so you tap non-legendaries. Your legendaries become indestructible, and you pay 3 mana to give something legendary. Okay. This
you
card's
can't-
expensive.
And you can't use it on the same creature because if you turn it legendary, it can no longer activate that ability.
Right.
And, like,
They both have to be concurrently non-legendary and legendary in order for it to work at all.
Yes.
Because otherwise you can't target if this one's not.
Yep.
And yeah.
I don't think it's very good. I just think it's a way better design.
This is way better design. This is maybe playable. It's just a lot of mana.
Yep, and a lot of
The thing about
resources
this,
too.
you know what?
'cause
The thing
you
about
need-
this is, if you got enough legendaries, I like this card.
Yes, I agree.
That's where it is. And when you don't, it's whatever. But even if you have enough legendaries in your deck and you don't draw them, you can still do something with it.
Yes, exactly. That's the idea. That's the idea. All right, Vigilance.
Okay, I forgot about this card.
Yeah. White enchant creature. They got Vigilance. Yeah, you good?
Back heavy, I guess. Whenever I got
Truth. So it's got Vigilance.
Yeah, it does.
And it still does.
Oh, but it got +1/+1 too.
There's not... Look, the card's named Vigilance.
What else are you
I
supposed to
didn't
do?
have a choice.
I
I
can't
was
believe
like,
they did that.
what else can I do? I guess +1/+1.
I can't believe they did that.
And that
What am I
doesn't
saying?
feel bad.
Yeah, this is good. This is fine. I like +1/+1 Vigilance. I like an aura. You know, this card's bad. I'm not going to play it most of the time.
Yeah, but it's like, this is what I had to do.
Yeah, this is good.
I wasn't given a choice.
No, you were not.
Ward of Piety. 1 and a white enchant creature. It's aura. 1 and a white. The next 1 damage will be dealt to enchanted creature. This turn is dealt to target creature or player instead. That
Expensive, but really
powerful. Powerful, but expensive.
Yeah. Well, the problem is always just like for each damage, I gotta pay so much mana.
Yeah, you gotta pay so much mana. But this one at least is a powerful effect.
Yeah. All right. Now 2 and a white for an enchant creature aura. Whenever enchanted creature is dealt damage, you may have Word of Piety deal that much to any target. Okay. In addition.
Yep.
As long as you have 6 or more cards in your hand, it has indestructible. Man, this card is great. I think. Right.
I mean,
it's an aura though.
How often you can? It's an aura. How often you can have indestructible? It turns into a stuffy doll, which is a strong effect, but
okay, it's not actually great. I lied to you, but man, I love this card.
Me too. I thought it was a really fun design. I don't even think it's that great.
Yeah. I think you can make it good though.
Yeah, sure. It's fun and good-ish sometimes.
Yeah. It's only goodish sometimes, but I like that card a lot.
Me too.
Good redesign.
To take this annoying and then make it, oh, that's cool.
It's similar plan. You know.
See, the auras. There are way more auras than you think there are in this.
Yeah, block. So you can go get them. You can build a. I'm sure there's a way to like another aura in the set that's good. So you go like Talowith, go get my Ward of Piety, and get this other aura that makes it work somehow. Oh baby, look at me.
Oh baby, a triple. Waxmane Baku, 2 and a white for a 2/2. Whenever you play a Spirit or Arcane spell, you may put a key counter on this. 1, remove X key counters, tap X creatures. So here's the thing: the Bakus were all good.
Yeah,
they were. Every single one was really.
The
good.
green one was bad.
Oh right.
In limited.
So,
but I do like them.
So they were almost all good. So most of them saw very little change, or it was just a lot of formatting change.
Yeah. So now it does the thing with the reveal or cast.
And it's otherwise the same.
1 tap X target creatures. Man, this card's really good.
Really good. Just
really good. This one's really good.
Yep.
I like this one.
They're ones you first pick because not first pick, but just like close to that because like all the Bakus are good, and I wanted to keep them good because I like it. They were exciting to play with.
Yeah, so. I love the Bakus.
All right, Yomiji, who bars the way, 5 white for a 4/4. Whenever a legendary permanent other than this dies, return it to its owner's hand. It's 7 mana for a 4/4.
I hate this card.
I hate this.
I just hate all the legendary stuff. Like, there's more legendary than I remember. I think it's because it's all 3 sets.
And it just doesn't work.
But I'm saying there are more legendary cards than I remember. But there's still not enough, I don't think. And it's still like just so specific and rough, and they have to die after Yomiji's in play.
It's just you're not going to put it into play. You're not playing this card.
Yeah,
it's not happening. It's bad.
It's a 4/4. Okay, 5 white for a 6/6. Yeah, legendary spirit. At the beginning of each end step, return to your hand all creature cards that in your graveyard that died this turn. So it's very similar, but it hits all creatures instead of just legends. And you can play this after they die. Yep. You can make a bad attack that kind of removes some of their creatures and maybe gets through for a little bit or something, and then play this second main, and you're like, all right, I got him back for next turn.
7 mana is a lot, but...
And I have a 6/6 blocker for whatever you think you're going to come back with.
Yep, it does the thing that big 7 mana creatures do in Magic.
Yeah, this is good. I think this card is good. Pick it relatively early, it's fine.
Yep. Yosei, the Morning Star, 4 white, 5/5 flying. Whenever it dies, target player skips their next untap step, and you can tap 5 permanents they control. Busto.
Completely broken. This card was mostly just broken because of 6 mana 5/5 flyer unlimited, but the other part of it is like really good in certain decks. Like there's a standard deck that was built around it, you know.
We didn't change it at all.
Yeah.
All of the dragon spirits, these ones, the cycle, are very similar. The only change that's
probably. Yeah.
The only he's same text. The only change that some of them had is their mana costs. I made all of them 4 pip. It made no sense to me that there were some that were 5 in a pip and some that were like 3 pip.
Yeah, I agree.
That makes no sense when their effects don't reflect that.
They were all still 6 mana originally, right?
Yeah, they're all 6 mana, all 6 mana, 5/5 flying. It made no sense why. I don't know why they were doing it. So I made them all this. But otherwise, I think all their effects are exactly the same because they're good.
Yeah, I think they were all good.
All right, that's white. It is very late. So what do you want to do?
I'm okay to leave now. We can restart this again another day, or we can do blue and restart this another day. I don't want to do all of them.
So here's
for damn sure.
Here's what I'm thinking. Right, we've got blue. We could do blue, and then there is red, green, and black, and multicolored and artifact. So we can do
Intro in white.
We can do black, red the next time.
Okay.
And then we can do the rest of the cards the third time. We can do it in 3 installments.
Okay.
Or if we do it early enough, I don't know if we can do it early enough.
Probably.
We can do all of them, the rest of them after. We can just do blue right now and then do the rest of the next time.
If I could leave right now, I'd be happier, but I don't know how to make all that work. And I know I would be sad to only have done the white ones before leaving.
Well, we can go a little faster with blue.
Okay.
Do our best to go a little faster with blue and then leave after blue. Is that okay?
Maybe.
It'll make the other sessions more even.
It will. It'll make more sense. I just want to be able to eat before I get home. Or on my way home or something like that. Like, get something if possible.
True.
So what time is it? It's 10:30-ish. How long did the white take us? 2 hours?
Yeah, about 2 hours.
Man, that's really bad.
Yeah. Well, we did go very slow at first.
We did, and I like talking about these cards a lot. I'd like to just finish this another day and try to do all of it. Like, I think we could do all of it depending on what day we do it, how early it is. Let's try and schedule the next one right now, actually. Sorry.
No, you're good. No, that's totally cool.
Okay.
I'm having a very good time.
Me too.
So I'm cool with making sure we just do it another day and it's still good.
Yeah. Okay. So I have plans on Friday at that time of day. What days do you have? Saturday?
Yeah, I'm off Saturday, Sunday, and weekdays I'm off at 4.
Okay.
But also, if there's another day you prefer, I can ask for PTO. And I don't have a problem doing that.
Okay. I may want to try this Saturday.
This Saturday? Am I doing anything this Saturday? Trini would know. Trini would know if we're doing anything this Saturday.
Okay. Well, we can talk to her after we're done with this.
She is asleep right now.
Okay. Well, we cannot talk to her after we are done with this. We can talk to her tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to leave. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, I just want to be able to be home. And
Yeah.
I had a long day.
No, you're good. I actually had such a good time with just doing this that I'm okay with splitting it up and not finishing it all at once.
Yeah,
That's totally cool.
It just took a lot longer than we expected.
Yep.
We thought we'd be done with all of this in 4 or 5 hours. It did not work out.
Didn't happen that way. No, that's okay. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Well, thanks for viewing.
Yeah, thanks for if I don't know, yeah, people will also watch the VODs. Actually, I expect people to watch the VODs more than the actual stream.
For sure.
Because
that's the point.
I like this kind of content, and I know there's a lot of people that like this kind of content.
And I would never watch a VOD of it. Or I would only watch a VOD of it.
Yeah, with the stream you come in the middle of it and you're like, ah.
Yeah,
so anyway, so anyone who's watching this part of the VOD, which would be this is the first VOD, there'll probably be multiple VODs. If you have any suggestions of sets you think I should redesign and do again for cube format, let me know which ones. I am currently working on Homelands in addition to this.
Yep.
I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's very weird and awkward.
We'll do the same kind of thing for Homelands whenever he finishes it. Yeah.
It's hard. It's so much harder than this. There's 617 slots in this one. There are only 140.
We're going to bump those numbers up somehow.
No. I mean, I have to do
cube.
Oh, for the cube. Oh, well, no, yeah.
Do multiples. And...
Oh, so with the Homeland one, it is rarity. It is so 4 copies of each common, 2 copies of each uncommon, 1 copy of each rare.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. I like that.
It's
I don't know if we'll print that one. Depends how good it is.